This is the time. The time when dreams come true and legends are born.
Oh my word!
This is the place.
Some seriously spicy stuff. An absolute masterclass!
The place where teams from across the globe come to battle it out for their shot at glory.
Oh, you're kidding!
And a piece of up to $2 million in prizing.
No pressure, guys. No pressure.
This is the feeling.
It's beautiful!
The once-in-a-lifetime feeling of lifting the trophy at the Brawl Stars World Finals.
Here comes the push. Here's the damage. This is now the crunch time.
This is the game.
Immediately taken down.
Still not going to fall. He refuses to die.
The game you love. This is the Brawl Stars Championship. Let's get ready to brawl.
And welcome back, folks, to the Brawl Stars Championship, of course, powered by the Snapdragon Pro Series. It's time for North America, our final region to decide a monthly Final Four. I'm Mitch Leslie. I'm joined here by Ready, Set, and, of course, Kenny Casts. What is up, guys? We hung out a little bit for our APAC region the other night. That was fun, burning the midnight oil, seeing some great Brawl Stars. Ready, Set, we're back with NA today. I'm sure expectations for this region, as always, are high.
Oh, it's so awesome, especially with everything reconvening East and West now meeting in Dallas, Texas, at least digitally. So that's bound to be a fun time. I missed NA. It's going to be back for this year.
You're hosting a bunch of the players over at your place recently, just hanging out, getting all the juicy intel. What do you got for us?
You know, I don't want to reveal any secrets. It's not like they told me anything anyway. I'm no narc, but I also don't want to tell on anyone. You know, we'll leave it till after all the games have been played to reveal.
Got it, no narco. Good to know. All right, let's keep moving down the line. Kenny, good to have you back, man. North America, obviously, always high expectations for this region, and we saw their delegates perform admirably last year at the World Finals. We've had our monthly qualifiers already, of course. Anyone stand out to you outside of STMN somehow not qualifying for the monthly finals?
You know, month number one, it's a beast, and the beast unfortunately claimed a victim this time. It had to be LG or STMN, and STMN unfortunately fell short this time, but I expect great things ahead for this team. I think it's a team we're going to see a lot in future months, and I feel very sorry for the upper bracket team that's going to have to deal with STMN next month because of the new seeding.
That's right. That's worth bearing in mind here. Let's move on, though, and talk about today's format. We will be playing the Power Match format as per usual, with 8 teams in a single elimination bracket. And, of course, the change from last year is that every match is a best of 5, from quarterfinals all the way through to the grand finals. And that means we'll be running a couple of quarterfinals off stream here. Here on the main stream, we'll be starting with Space Station Gaming versus One Carlos team, and then West Coast versus Luminosity over on the B stream. I think with Sunny and F. You'll have Tribe Gaming and Real Dudes, and remaining 7 going up against Real Ones. Let's get established here and talk a little bit about this Space Station Gaming squad, who again, so Chazmac and A Core getting picked up now, brought into the fold, and Space Station once again ready, set, making their return to competitive Brawl.
It's so nice to see such a large org come back to Brawl Stars and pick up this team, because I think they're an incredibly deserving team following their performance last year. They managed to take some very important games off of another front runner in their region, Tribe Gaming. They made it all the way to LCQ as well, falling just short of going to the World Finals. By just short, I do mean that they lost both of their group stages matches. It was a bit of a tragedy, but they're back with a big deal org, so I'm excited to see what they can accomplish this year.
Now, let's talk a little bit about our predictions, but before we get there, you can make your predictions. In fact, hopefully you already have at event.brawlstars.com. That's the place to be watching all of the Brawl Stars Championship action this year. You'll also have a chance to get yourself some great loot. Just every now and then it'll pop up. You'll have a chance to claim some stuff and also vote on your MVPs. For us, we're pretty aligned for these first quarterfinal matches here. Expecting Tribe Gaming, Space Station, remaining 7, and Luminosity all to go through. Reddy has already teased a little bit that he expects his predictions for the semis to be a little different to ours, though.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a little insider trading. In fairness, he was interacting with players in person the other day. So I think in fairness, Mitch, we're all right. I think we're going to get through it. But yeah, I'm very open to being wrong, to being surprised. And I think just by looking at these 4 teams here, a lot of really good contenders that were here last year now returning this year for even more action. But this time, East and West combined, everybody gets to compete for only one title.
Well, let's turn around and now set our sights on this first quarter-final match. Before we let you go, Ready, Set, you obviously made a pretty strong prediction in Space Station Gaming's direction, but Juan Carlos' team is full of veterans of the Brawl Stars scene at the top level here. Just how close or otherwise do you expect this to be?
I don't expect it to be super close. I do want to remind everyone, coming to this with the context that Space Station Gaming, I think their biggest sort of op on this side of the bracket is Tribe Gaming. I think that's where they've really set their sights, but they're going to have to divide their attention 50-50 because Juan Carlos' team is a respectable roster of players.
Yeah, I mean, again, we have seen, Juan Carlos himself, of course, second best, I think, is on that team. Quite a few players that are well-known around the Brawl world here. So, we'll say goodbye to Ready for a moment and jump into this match. Space Station Gaming take on Juan Carlos' team, of course, the latter featuring Juan Carlos, Payne, of course, second best. But here, Toast, RBM, and Fade. This is a team that is no stranger to Kenny to playing in these monthly finals. Always a threat here. Space Station Gaming seeing that, bring them into the fold, and now have high expectations, I'm sure.
I think expectations for them are to grab one of those world spots. They were just short of it last year. They went to LCQ through the NA East region, but now NA only has 2 guaranteed world spots and a couple extra from LCQ. The pressure is going to be really high for these guys once again this year. They're expanding in competition, but they proved they could consistently take on top teams like Tribe Gaming, who had a great run at the World Finals. The ceiling is very high for these guys. Awesome to see them get picked up by an org. I think they're very deserving of that. But Juan Carlos' team, no slouches whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Juan Carlos, who knows, on that Chasmac NA core. Payne, of course, on that Vatra Gaming roster that, actually, put on a pretty good showing and featured at Worlds for a time. And, of course, second best with a long stint on that IX Gaming roster all the way back to 2020. Then after that, on that Untamable Beasts team that had some pretty good showings. Again, in that August monthly finals, they managed to make it to 3rd, 4th place there, falling to that Chasmac squad here. So we expect this team to be a threat. We expect them to definitely be a factor here. Payne on your screen right here. A player well worth looking out for this entire roster. Again, with 2 Mexican individuals and 1 hailing from the United States. Definitely no slouches at all. We're going to kick it off with Brawl Ball to start with, Kenny. Pinball Dreams is our first destination.
Yeah, I'm going to be hopping into Brawl Ball to kick things off, and Larry and Lori are the first that come to mind in terms of just consistently seeing them in practices across the weekend. Cordelia is one that gets kind of sneaky here too, due to the fact that we do see a lot of tanks here. Cordelia is going to be an answer for that. Charlie going to be an answer for that. So those are a couple popular ones that we've seen this weekend in North America practices, and if you're just playing at home, there's some really solid brawlers right now, which makes sense why I would see them possibly enter that ban stage.
And no surprise to see Dynamite here banned away, Cordelius taken out. Larry and Lori are available here, as Sandy, of course, is just a real pain to deal with, especially Rude Sands revealing the position of opponents, and Willow is just, well, very, very good in general. We have a Nita pick here for Toast, which we do see, of course, sometimes in Brawl Ball. Fofur making it really hard to get through that bear. So worth keeping an eye on is Charlie. Again, a very hotly contested brawler taken away here by Juan Carlos' team.
Yeah, Charlie is a must grab for me if you can get to her. I just think it prevents any ideas of tanks, and the Cocoon is just such a huge threat onto the enemy team. Stu, a very fun pick here, though. I don't love it into something like Bruce the Bear necessarily, but I think they can avoid that matchup enough, or maybe possibly deal with the range of somebody like Charlie into Nita to where Nita's not as much of a threat, and it's going to let Stu shine here. Do love to see that brawler, just a high-flying offense, and RBM picking up Ash. Okay. We haven't seen much, but it's a classic RBM pick. They're combining this with Max as well for a little speed and aggression. Max is in such a solid spot in the game right now after that buff she got.
I think earlier today we saw Lena pick up the Ash here in some of those SK Gaming matches over in EMEA. Definitely a little bit of a niche pick, but in the right hands, very, very powerful here. A very tanky setup here for Space Station Gaming. Maybe no surprise when RBM often comes out on picks like this. So, Juan Carlos, they have a conundrum now to unravel. They're going to answer with something of their own, something a bit tanky, something that hits real hard. It's going to be Buzz to round out their setup.
Ooh, we got some fun already starting off. Love to see Buzz, love to see Ash. Buzz a little more popular now that he's got a hypercharge, but nonetheless, just kind of some classic Brawl Stars coming in from our left-hand end. Some iconic ones going in the right. Buzz and NA pick kind of fuel for sure. So there's going to be some fireworks flying to kick things off here as we break down our very first match of North America in 2024.
Here it is, Space Station Gaming versus Juan Carlos team kicking it off on Pinball Dreams. Already RBM wants to trade with second best. They should be able to force him out of that left-hand side, and Juan Carlos will keep Fade at arm's length. Very much outranges the Nita here. Tough for Fade to really build up any supercharge. You'll see speed gadget being used, of course, as Fade wants to close the gap as much as possible. RBM gets caught, though. Torpedo throw from second best hits the mark.
It's going to be a battle on the left-hand in. Second best claiming the best of it, and of course an iconic Protesto pin coming in from him. Always feels like he has that thing on a timer, constantly thumbs downing the enemy side. He's going to be looking to get a pickup as well, along with a victory in this set alongside those pins too. So when Carlos rotates to this left-hand side, I think trying to take advantage of the lane. Full arsenal of supers for this red side as well, so they could be putting it to use here on offense.
Yeah, you're right. Well, Carlos does not want to let Fade play the game right now. Switching across into the Nita matchup. Here's a Cocoon. Catches Toads for a time. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the Max, but Payne walks straight past them. And that'll be Juan Carlos' team with that first goal of the match.
That was just a glimpse of what the red roster can do. They've got a stun from Buzz, a cocoon from Juan Carlos. That's so many brawlers to take out of the equation immediately. And now 2 hypercharges being popped at once as well. Second best diving in. The lifeguard popping off now. It's just a lone Toast in the mid. Payne dribbling. Second best flanking right-hand side. Looking for positioning here as Fade and RBM return to the fray.
They tried to end the game here and there. Juan Carlos' team very aggressive. Even Juan Carlos himself popping that hypercharge with that super available just for those raw stats. Here comes Bruce. Payne has to give it a bit of room and dash back now. RBM lets the little helpers go, and second best gets clobbered. Payne has to respect this and give some distances. Toast now gets a slightly better matchup against the Charlie. The Spider League to be dealt with pretty comfortably. And here comes Space Station Gaming. 34 seconds to find a score.
A surge from SSG, especially from Max coming in, but it's not really enough to get anything going here. Second best, throwing the thumbs down, the pass forward, and Toast looking for this ball. RBM climbing his way up, the garbage man trying to do his best into the lifeguard of Brawl Stars, of Brawl Rapids, and it's just not enough here. Payne, a lone soldier. Fade trying to work his way up. They have to find a goal here. A stun goes through, healing himself up and dribbling up the middle. 3 brawlers standing, and a hypercharge from second best will shut down any idea of Space Station Gaming grabbing a goal. It's going to be Juan Carlos's team taking game number 1.
It is crazy to see just how much it took to try and bring the Buzz down. 1 versus 2 into the Buzz, and the Ashes even had to use a super, and they still got clobbered. They were so low once they managed to find that 2v1. As soon as the Buzz comes back off for respawn, there's a hypercharge use, and all of a sudden we're off to the races. A very, very strong composition here from Juan Carlos's team.
Strong performance. The extra spawner is certainly going to help. I love the stun coming in from Buzz. I think that's actually a very solid matchup into somebody like Ash, especially when you're a one-on-one as tanks. I do think it's actually advantage Buzz a little bit as his shot can pierce through the spawners even if they did appear on the map. But positioning certainly favoring SSG. Second best eradicated right there. Speed going through as well. Juan Carlos trying to fend off multiple brawlers. A kick forward, a clearing of the goal, and RBM with a bucket early.
Much better look here for Space Station Gaming. A great opener. Payne getting absolutely exploited, being forced away from the action as Juan Carlos got gobbled up on the right. Great opener. Speed zone here deployed by Payne. Going to be very hard to remove this now. Cocoon here. RBM caught up in that second best. Going to just finish the job.
That's a free kill along with a Buzz stun. There's just nothing you can do in that spot. All they have to do is land that initial super with Charlie, and it's just going to put him in such good positioning. But now SSG taking a stab at some positioning of their own. A kick upward on this right-hand side. Second best diving in, trying to make a connection. It'll be a trade ultimately, so this will leave it down to a 2v2. Bruce the Bear would make it a 3v2, and Fade just kind of hovering over that button. Not electing to use it quite yet, but I'm sure they're going to have to here in a moment.
Payne's trying to get some attention here in mid, but Toast was mostly only having eyes for Juan Carlos there. The ball's going to be stashed for the time being. Fade hovers that Bruce deployment here as is the let's go from Toast. Up we come. Cocoon, again, going to be catching out one of those Space Station Gaming players as Toast has to back away, and Fade. Both tanks here, really, from Space Station struggle under that Charlie super. And here's the equalizer from Juan Carlos' team.
A really interesting interaction there, too. Bruce the Bear was forced to claw at the Cocoon as well. It even distracted Bruce, the spawner on the field. I just think it goes to show how valuable Charlie can be. One landed super can be a game changer and almost a guaranteed kill at a professional level as second best decides to use the hypercharge here. Stun after stun. RBM gonna fall victim here as Toast tries to fend off Payne. Payne gets taken down. Toast one up, looks for a dribble, can't get it. Juan Carlos team with the goal and the set win as well.
That ended up being pretty darn ugly for Space Station Gaming. The Buzz completely ran away with the game. And I love that you mentioned the tech. You know, the fact that Bruce will attack the most proximate target, whether it's a brawler or a brawler inside a Cocoon. And yeah, I wouldn't be pleased about that at all if I was Toast and squad. Not how you want to open here. A lot of us had heavily predicted Space Station Gaming to win, and many of you at home also. But with so many powerful picks here, I mean, the Stu didn't even really have to be a huge difference maker. It was about the Charlie, it was about the Buzz. Quite a one-sided first set here in this quarterfinal.
Yeah, an early goal there in game number 2 from Space Station Gaming, but otherwise, I just feel like the composition was a little bit safer coming in from the enemy side. Keep in mind, too, as iconic as Ash is for this team, RBM, we know him, we love him for that brawler. At least in the monthly qualifiers globally, it had a 0% win rate. It is a little bit of a bold call. There are a lot of other tanks in the game that are going to be more popular in this spot. Buzz, I think, has a really good matchup into somebody like Ash, at least in that 1-in-1 interaction as a tank. I don't know. I feel like I like the Max. I don't mind the Nita. It makes sense to go into other enemy tanks as well, but I just feel like that one was a little more unorthodox compared to what we've seen in other regions, what I've seen in practices, and it just didn't happen to work out there. I don't know.
And of course, in comparison, Buzz has a 60% win rate here, so very favored, very coveted pick to try and go for, and it was the last pick. Don't forget, for Juan Carlos' team. For those also who want to keep track at home, or maybe already are, we are up to 17 protestos from second best in that first set alone. I'm thinking triple digits is where we're aiming for after this series.
No, that's the kind of stats I like to keep track of. 17 protestos in one set. I'm telling you, he's got it on a timer. He's just incorporated it in the gameplay. It's incredible how many times second best pops that. And I think we got to put a little more respect on this team's name as well. You know, you see the logo of Space Station Gaming. You buy into the hype of what this team did last year, the year before, the success they had. But the core of Juan Carlos and Payne, and then adding in second best, these are all talented players who have certainly had success in their own right, whether it's going to World Finals in 2022, second best always being around last year in NA East. I think this is definitely a squad that can compete on any given month.
Fun fact here from Nighttime. The record for second best protestos over the course of a tournament is 150-ish. So that's what we're aiming for here. My goodness. I mean, you have the level of mechanical skill to play the game like that. Also, we're smashing that pin as soon as it comes off cooldown. You've got my respect. Over to Split here. Of course, Hot Zone is our second game type, and Angelo already snapped up by Toast.
I think he has to be. Angelo's been the most banned brawler all weekend long coming into NA. It just makes sense that you want to grab him. An interesting combination that we saw earlier in the weekend too was Angelo combined with Colt. Kind of reminds me of the old B and Colt combination on this map in particular. You're going to use Colt's wall break capabilities to open up that map, bring in a sharpshooter like B. And I know Space Station Gaming, especially with Toast loving that B brawler, is definitely somebody that could try and utilize a strategy like that. But Juan Carlos, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That team is going for Stu and Charlie once again.
Yeah, I mean, again, powerful in Brawl Ball, but Stu is really hard to get off of a point. He's very hard to track at a close range, and that's really where he's going to be shining. Okay, the Griff going to be knocked up here for RBM, so potentially some wall break ability. And again, pick a card, a very powerful super if people are grouped up. We're going to round this one out with a Buster.
And Fade playing the Buster, that's something that he's definitely known for as well. And Griff with the piggy bank definitely kind of fits the mold of some of the combinations that I was kind of talking about with something like a Colt B, a Colt Angelo, all kind of in the same realm. And I think just based on the spot that Griff's in the game, actually makes a lot of sense to go with him as a brawler. That super can be lethal. But Juan Carlos's team, not afraid to get tanky nonetheless. It's going to be a Rosa pick. It's going to be an interesting one too. I think having Charlie go into something like a Fade, obviously if Fade has the reflection out, there's nothing really he can do to hit them with incoming projectiles, but otherwise, typically Charlie's going to be really good into tanks. I think pairing that with the Rosa is going to be a fun combination to watch.
Yeah, interesting to see the Rosa come out here. In the past, we've actually seen Rosa just dive onto the defender's side of the map and try and wrap around. Very aggressive, of course, and that's worth keeping in mind, of course. Is it going to be unfriendly bushes? I'd be sort of surprised to see that gadget picked up here.
I'm curious to see what kind of tech they go for. I'm assuming they're going to want to just expand the map a little bit.
Yeah.
The more grass that they can give, the more coverage exactly. They're going to want some coverage for themselves. They want some extra ability to kind of get Rose up the map more quickly, to hide her, all that jazz. So I think they're going to try quietly kind of expand themselves to take more control of the map.
Payne struggling in the 1v2 lane here, and yeah, Toast and RBM just want to collapse. Second best getting those numbers up. We'd love to see it. Fade doesn't really have anywhere to go here. Up close is definitely going to be Rosa favored in that matchup, and Montage doesn't do squat against her. RBM runs headlong into Juan Carlos, who, of course, the fire rate of Charlie goes up precipitously when your opponent is right in front of you. So we're going to split the map here, but Space Station have a slim lead.
Toast with a perfect demonstration of why I think Angelo is so strong right now. He's just hovering over his heels. He gets a big pickup on the Pain, who's landing several shots, and all Toast needs is one really charged up bullet, an arrow in the heart of Stu to get that takedown there. Juan Carlos taking over on the right hand in, though, to try and tie things up. The extra spawners gonna help on defense as Toast pierces right through it. Pain second best on the left hand in. A big fight going down as Fade gets a massive pull. Pairing this with RBM's heavy DPS is so much to handle right now, and for now they're gonna hold on to just about a 4% lead.
Yeah, with that montage up, if you're able to pull the Stu in and they can't get any damage, they cannot super away. They're guaranteed to get picked off. Here comes Juan Carlos, though. I like the slow field picked up here, star power-wise. That is dirty. RBM gets flattened and Space Station Gaming are 3% away, but they are nowhere near the point.
And you saw Toast immediately change what he wanted to do. They're waiting on Fade and RBM. He had to play defense for a second. They have to keep them off this point entirely. And Fade slowly clawing his way up, does barely squeak by. Impressive stuff right there to just get your team pushed through those final percentage points. It was a narrow margin, but they made it work. And I think that goes to show how successful that Buster Super can really be. You're trying to just push the enemies back and get yourself onto that hot zone. And I think that makes sense why we see a 67% win rate across the board on monthly qualifiers with this brawler.
And it's good here. I mean, Buster spent a lot of time playing into the Stu, and Charlie, of course, getting nullified as well by montage. See RBM here deploy the piggy bank just to blow up some of that wall, give you a little bit room to play off the point if you're someone like Toast. Spain has to find a way in. Grow light here, just proliferating the grass. The second best is going to be hard to spot here. Fade can't really do too much. I think he's hoping to maybe head over to some teammates. Playing the solo lane means you're not charging that super.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're going to see him slowly kind of rotate Fade over here. I think just better to do something than nothing, right? He's kind of just there to be a threat standing beside, and they're going to let RBM swap over to this left-hand lane. Piggy Bank going to break this wide open, going to be easier to
so
take on Rosa as well, and so much better from SSG. I think this is going to allow them to take over both lanes.
Yeah, RBM getting to cycle the super there is absolutely massive. And Toast is in a decent spot right now. Can sit back, accrue some of that percentage and just wait. And yep, now we just collapse onto the left-hand side. It's going to be dangerous for Juan Carlos' team. Another Griff Super is going to force Pain right on back to speed zone. Not really helping to dodge these projectiles when you've got to walk through a choke. Juan Carlos trying to collapse here. He realizes defense is the best offense right now for Juan Carlos' team, and they are well behind.
Perfectly timed super from second best, but Toast with the long-range snipe. Now Pain left all alone. RBM throwing out the money to try and get him off this point. Just alone Juan Carlos here, and there's not a lot he can do. An impressive bounce back here from Space Station Gaming. Fade flexing a little extra at the end, and it's going to be the blue side tying things up here.
Not too bad. Space Station Gaming know they've got a long road today, and their first opponent has already given them a lot of trouble in this game. Being able to sneak a set back here is pretty darn massive, and hopefully their drafts stay squeaky clean from here on out. Juan Carlos' team have had some powerful picks, right? Again, going for the Stu, going for the Charlie. They don't pay off this time. The Buster gets picked. You'll notice they've been banning Jackie aggressively here. Really try and set up for Buster picks that cannot be answered.
I think Buster ended up being a perfect selection, to be honest. I feel like both sides kind of brought a lot of different components to make this really shine. I think Angelo is just that guy right now. He's honestly one of the best, if not the best, brawlers in a professional's hands. You could see how much damage he was dealing. He's got the long range, he's got the speed, and not to mention, too, in a mode like Hot Zone, I know this isn't maybe necessarily the longest range map, but they pair that with the piggy bank. He kind of steps back here once they take control of their own point. He can play a lot better of defense. I just think being able to have those long range snipes while somebody like Fade is up close, punching the enemy side in the mouth, it just synergizes so well together.
Yeah, I mean, slow-mo replay, extremely powerful. Clear spiderlings there. Fade can do it quite comfortably, whereas Toast obviously is put under more pressure by that. And RBM cycling two supers in one of these fights on the left-hand side absolutely blew apart Juan Carlos' team. Really don't want to underestimate the raw damage that Griff can put out at mid-range.
Yeah, just looking at 391 DPS from RPM. You can see it in the kill category too. I mean, 744 on the left-hand side, and the best they could see from the enemy side was second best with a 4-piece of his own. I think that one was just clearly in SSG's favor for the most part. You know, we had some close calls like in game number 1 there, but once game number 2 came around, they got their own side secured. They had enough frags to get themselves some space to just pick up some easy hot zone percentages. I think we're gonna have to see Juan Carlos's team bounce back here, but they were very convincing in set number 1, so I'm kind of conflicted on how to feel here as we go into a set 3.
Double swoosh, it's gem grab time, folks. Rosa and Amber, very hotly contested brawlers here. Obviously, those throwers are also frightening. Larry and Laurie expect to, see at least be picked or banned, or maybe some consideration. Jesse really good on this map. Let's see what our bans end up being. Okay, so we have Sandy, Angelo, Amber, Charlie, Poco, and Stu.
It's kind of funny to me that Charlie and Stu are the ones banned for Juan Carlos's team. They're the only team that's played him so far, but they are able to pick up Larry and Lori, which I do understand. Larry and Lori's win rate this weekend hasn't been the best in the world, but I still think there's no doubt that it's a very solid brawler and a very frustrating one to deal with. We saw Nito a little bit earlier has Bruce the Bear as a sidekick. Well, Larry has Lori, and I think that's what makes this thrower in particular just that much better than the others.
Yeah, what's the count now? 11 nerfs, was it?
Yeah, I made 15, 20. It's some really high, Uber. It's a lot.
It's a large number.
It's a large number, and we finally kind of settled in at a point where I don't think he's winning 100% of his matches. I mean, this weekend he certainly hasn't, but he's still shown up enough to the point where pro players are clearly valuing him.
Yeah, obviously having a heal available to you when Lori is out is a big deal, and that shotgun damage, even while nerfed, is quite powerful. 71% win rate for Larry and Lori on double swoosh, so very powerful, very contested brawler. Juan Carlos are trying to focus down RBM and ban like this Poco enabler for a tankier strat, I think. That doesn't seem to be the plan, though, from Space Station. Cordelius and Max get locked in first.
So Cordelia is going to be able to kind of prevent any tanks coming out from the enemy end. Obviously, Juan Carlos's team kind of swerving off that idea. They're going to go into Surge to try and possibly prevent tanks of their own. I love the Max combination here, too. I think Max is going to be able to bring a lot of extra momentum to a team. We saw what they could do earlier. It didn't work out, but I still believe in Max in general. I think especially for Gym Grab, we've seen over the years of Brawl Stars, combinations like Max Sandy, Max Amber, Max Jean. There's a lot of things that Max can synergize really well with, especially in this game mode to retake gyms, to get a last-second takedown. There's just a lot of good things you can bring to the table on this map with Max.
Absolutely. I mean, more specifically, right? Like, you know, the Jean is very good at just giving you that vision with the vision gear. Like, you're very easy to light up people hiding in the bushes and make it easy to line them up. Amber just clears the bushes straight up and is very powerful. And she's been, yeah, since 2020, really hotly contested on this map. So Max is the centerpiece for those compositions, and then you can really add a bit of your personal flair around them. Ooh, okay, the Gale picked up for Fade. I bet you're pleased, Kenny.
My heart's happy. I'm just trying to piece together what they're looking for here. I do think that somebody like a Gale Lane on this right-hand side, in terms of what we're matching up against, normally it would not be a go-to for me. You know, we see Amber in the ban stage, so that Max Amber combination can't really work to get control. We've seen historically Im's kind of be that spot. Sandy, of course, in the ban stage. So the Max combination's kind of limited here in what they can do. But I do think Gale has a little bit extra range. The slowdown or the stun could be useful for making a big play for gyms as well. So kind of curious to see how this goes down and who actually ends up playing mid here for Juan Carlos's team.
Fade can scout the right-hand side bush pretty well with the width of the Gale projectile, but is being very careful about stepping into the grass properly. Toast, obviously your gem carrier here for Space Station, and it'll be the Surge for Juan Carlos' team as RBM is trying to stave them off. That short range can be a little bit of an issue, but going up against Nita, you're pretty evenly matched in that regard. Fade falls on the right, RBM falls on the left, and Toast is getting out.
This could be a scary position too. Juan Carlos and Second Best have extra spawners as well, so if they have positioning and they're charging those supers, now it turns into a 5v3. SSG already kind of overrun here as RBM tries to dive in. Taking somebody to Shadow Realm is a huge way to remove that obstacle though, but he's going to drop down right in the enemy hands. As a result though, SSG able to take control of the map a little bit. A big slowdown coming in from Gale to line up those shots, and I imagine he's running a vision gear as well, possibly along with this speed gear to make sure they know exactly what's going on in the map.
Yeah, really important on these heavily forested maps. RBM, I see the strategy a little bit more now. He's playing Cordelius as if he were a tank, diving in, committing on a certain brawler, take them out, and then what happens after that doesn't really matter. That aggressive play yielded the gem lead to Space Station Gaming, and that's going to be just the trade. Juan Carlos falls here. Fade starting to feel a little bit of pressure as Payne gets his 6th.
Gym count very even right now as RBM drags Second Best down to the Shadow Realm. Up top, Fade going to be fighting on this left hand in. Toast circling around the middle, just trying to avoid Second Best when he pops out. It's going to be a free kill for Fade though. A hop from RBM connects with Juan Carlos, but not enough for a takedown, and it actually charges up Laurie here, who gets healed by that gadget. So a back and forth, and it's going to lead to Juan Carlos's team picking up a Knight and a 2-gym lead.
So much more map control for Juan Carlos' team. Just the raw threats, I think, of Larry and Laurie has been very punishing so far. Second Best getting picked off. There's an opening here, though, for Space Station Gaming now as we head down into the last 10. Oh, dear. Payne has to get out. Space Station Gaming have the space here, but don't know if they have the option to get a gem equalization, so they've got to fully commit here. There's Payne able to use the super, but he falls. That invulnerability window not wide enough to keep the Surge alive. And now Space Station Gaming, with the heights pulled off, are getting out.
With 10 seconds to go, Toast is far away from the enemies. A Gale pushed back as well to gain some extra space here. No spawners in sight this time. A thumbs down from second best, and this time, I think it's a frustrated one from him. That's going to be a clean getaway there from SSG to steal every single one of those gems and to win the game.
I mean, why wouldn't you be frustrated? You spent the entire round almost in the lead with vastly more map control than your opponents. With Space Station Gaming, because they have that Cordelius, they use the jump gadget to get in range and start up a fight. It's a full commit from SSG and they take the round.
RBM with a quick kill there too, kind of isolates Nita in that spot at the end game there, and if you leave him there for too long, it can be a bad thing, but I think getting that kill quickly, letting Toast and Fade move forward was kind of a perfect use and timing of that super. Those are the kind of mechanisms that this composition brings. You have the Shadow Realm, you have the max speed, you have the pushback from Gale. I just think they have a lot of opportunity that if they are in a bad spot, they can overcome it because of the tech they bring to the table.
RBM instantly supering the Nita. Taking her out here, but this is really just going to slow the game down a little bit. No real opportunity to capitalize. Gadget has to be used to evade some of those surge shots. So we'll be back to a bit of a reset here with Pain 4 gems in hand.
Back and forth again, just very evenly matched. It's felt like this entire match has just been not really one-sided. We've had some big moments from both sides. RBM trying to make a big moment of his own, though.
Huge!
Tags there on the enemy side. Juan Carlos gonna pop out, see the enemy, goes down, a nice jump away.
Another!
Reinforcements coming in from SSG, and they're able to steal gems again. Every one of them now in their pockets, and this last one's gonna spawn in the mid. This could be a 10th gem for SSG.
These are the Cordelius causing all sorts of problems. Having a full commit onto the gem carrier and have that speed boost to run Pain down. What can you do from here? Second best is not healthy enough. Dragged into the Shadow Realm once more. Juan Carlos just cannot compete with the range of Space Station Gaming. And in the end, it's a clean take of the set here on Double Switch. Space Station Gaming come in with a plan, and the plan pays off.
Sigh of relief there from Toast and a smile along with it. They should be proud of themselves for that set. Game number 1, I was just talking about how this was super evenly matched, blah, blah, blah. I cursed that. Caster curse immediately. Every single one of those gems was taken from the enemy side. I felt like Juan Carlos' team were certainly in that, but SSG, just some disciplined Brawl Stars, some intelligent decision making, and never giving up on a play. I think the Cordelius was the huge X factor for me there of picking up kills at just the right time in order to just get away with all of them, using the gadget in order to hop out of harm's way, the max speed combining so well. It's an unorthodox comp. It's a little weird. None of them necessarily look like they had a synergy, but it actually worked out really well for the game mode, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the Surge is just very powerful, right? So we always see this early map control favor Juan Carlos team on the right-hand side. Having a thrower there gives Alarian Laurie like a degree of safety, and it's one of the few brawlers you can actually get away with playing in an open lane. But as the round progresses, you see slowly this map control gets taken, and then RBM can full commit, goes over the hypercharge, at second best just disintegrates. Pain, of course, getting completely pincered. Space Station Gaming really playing for the long game here, and the Gale can set you up big time. If you bring that super in, get a nice little, wall hit or slow them down. You see like Pain can't get involved, gets pushed back. That's brutal stuff.
Brutal stuff, and brutal in the kill category as well. 6, 5, and 4 on our left-hand side. Juan Carlos's team couldn't quite reach those numbers at all. I think Space Station Gaming just, once they got control, and I liked how you said it, right? They played for the long game. They can give up gems, but ultimately, if they're going to get the perfect kill to steal them all at the end anyways, it doesn't really matter, right? I think they just played the clock really well. They got it to a point where when that gem count hit, they were able to steal gems from the enemy team, and I think just being able to heist away all of the treasure from Juan Carlos's team, it just made it so tough for them to come back from that. Once you get a big steal and run it all the way back to the enemy teams, you only get 15 seconds, and it takes about 15 seconds just to get to the other side of the map.
I mean, you can't run at a Gale. You can't do anything about that. I mean, he didn't even take the twister gadget. He didn't need to. It's a bit of an open map for that, but he would just force you. It's an incredible disengaged brawler in general. Here is Bounty coming up for our next set here. It's 2-1. As it does seem the Space Station Gaming have found their space legs, and Shooting Star is where we'll have match point come up. Juan Carlos team have got to come alive.
Grom stands out to me as an interesting ban, and they pair that with Tick, and it looks like they had the first selection overall, which makes sense. They're going to try and get rid of other thrower options because they wanted the best one in their minds. They're going to take Larry and Lori here. On the other end, arguably the best sharpshooter, though. They're going to get Nani for Juan Carlos' team because they banned Angelo. Outside of Angelo, of course. I mean, Nani in general, though, just very good for this game mode, very good for this map. But Piper out of the equation as well. So kind of an interesting dichotomy we got here. One side was really trying to get the best thrower in the game, and the other grabs the best sharpshooter option.
Yeah, look, I mean, you want to eliminate the really long-range throwers, right? Tick and Grom just really outpace Larry and Lori with that ability. Meg picked up here. This is going to dissuade the all-in. If the Juan Carlos team get ahead, the Meg can really make it hard to pursue. And yeah, okay, the 8-bit here makes sense. We get a lot of value out of that damage amp. Yes, you're fairly slow here, but you have quite incredible range. And this is not a surprise, right? When Piper's off the table, Nani's not really an option. The Bell is great defensively, can set those traps up in the middle part of the map. And that Hypercharge double tap, I mean, you're just following up on your Hypercharge being almost guaranteed to hit. It's going to be very handy against Meg in mech running at you.
The only thrower I can really think of left would be somebody like Sprout, who actually has had a fair number of, a fair number of bans this weekend. That was something that kind of tipped me off as well. Sprout, top 5 in bans overall across the board coming into NA this weekend. And especially with that Hypercharge now, too, it's a brawler that's gained a little bit more steam. It's something that APAC and EMEA felt was a serious threat, whereas SA didn't necessarily feel that way as much. So kind of a balancing of how these regions are interpreting the new Hypercharges, the new balance changes, and things like that. I think Meg's going to be able to overwhelm with HP. They've got Nani on that side as well. 2 compositions that kind of balance out the long-range aspects of this map with 2 of the better throwers in the game right now.
I kind of like the idea here as well of picking the Bell and the 8-bit at the same time, right? As Bell really is quite punishing, as 8-bit wants to play around the damage amp, and Bell can double dip in terms of the damage as it bounces between the 8-bit and that amp itself. And with this pressure that Toast is able to play up mid, look at how the Sprout is forced away. Space Station get that blue star.
Strong start here. Positioning everything on this map especially. This is one that we often find at a pro level. It's not like our ladder games, right? Everybody's not trying to be a hero. They're trying to just get 1 kill at a time. And the second they take the lead, they're not over-aggressing. You see the nest eggs on the right-hand side completely covered. SSG want to make it very difficult for Juan Carlos' team to overtake the map once again. Or if they get a nice tag and SSG need to fade away, they're going to have obstacles on their way to slow them down. So I think this is really well played so far from SSG.
Yeah, you have the lead already, so set up this sort of more defensive architecture. And you see that's being intentionally cleared here by Pain. Knowing, of course, that Fate has tried to take advantage of the more aggressive positioning. And Space Station are having to back up a little bit. Here's the damage amp, though. Pain needs to respect this. Juan Carlos here trying to get this damage down at range. Toast cops a bit of that.
Good news is second best, another super in pocket. Here comes the Nani peep as well. Fade doesn't want to be connected again. He's going to try and avoid this. They're navigating it off the map right now, and off screen it does make a connection of some sort. Looked like it hit Toast, but not enough to grab a frag by any means. So second best right back to square one. They're going to have to set themselves up for one final push here with the last 30 seconds to go.
Juan Carlos doesn't really have the angle on this damage amp either. The Sprout can't quite reach it. Maybe Toast can be pressured to some degree, but you're right. It has to be an all-in at some point. Toast is low once more, takes 2 hits. Second best looking for an off angle to pressure this Larry and Lori down. Eventually the damage amp is gone, but RVM has another one to replace it. 13 seconds left, Kenny.
Space Rocks could hit the ground too to try and make this map a little bit easier to navigate. The peep coming in, connect, first kill, and it's the only one that they need. Now they're trying to run away. Response though with 2 seconds to go. Long range shot to teleport through. SSG get the last second takedown, and now we're on match point.
Yeah, that was awfully close. The peep goes in on a really important mission. Get rid of one of these brawlers, get us that lead. They got the blue star, but there was a quick response as I guess there was an overextension from the Meg on the right, knocked out of Mech, and then eventually brought down by the 8-bit and Bell. Just flew a little too close to the sun, did Juan Carlos team.
Just in the nick of time, too. I mean, that's a tough feat to try and take down the Meg robot, and then on top of that, a Meg with shield running across the map at the end. There was no way Meg was going to grab the kills with that pea shooter at that point, but more importantly, she was just trying to get out of there. A first kill already being taken down, though, in just seconds. A very different interaction here to start out game number 2, as Fade has low HP, and Nani Peep connects, and Juan Carlos team making it look much easier.
I have no idea why RBM tried to fight the Meg face up. Yeah, he kicked her out of Mech, but I mean, the Peep shooter still hits relatively hard. Pain able to get away with that elimination, and a Peep managing to hunt down Fate. Oh, that was beautiful. Okay. Yeah, return to sender damage there from second best, helping out with that pickup.
Yeah, second best really finding it in game number 2, picking up another takedown there as well. 5 stars on his head and a blue star, so that is going to have to be a focal point of SSG's strategy from here on out. But now, Juan Carlos' team can afford to play defense, and they can expand the map a little bit. Juan Carlos throwing down some space rocks here to make things a little difficult, and he has got a super and a hypercharge along with it, popping it for the extra speed, debating whether to use this in RBM. Super slow. These are easy lineup shots, and second best continuing his performance here to add a 14th star now for Juan Carlos' team.
Yeah, we might not be here for another 40 seconds at this rate. Juan Carlos, beautiful. Toast got absolutely dunked, and now it's only 4 stars to end the round. A bit of a consolation here as Fade is able to pick up the Sprout kill, but can't really push too much further up. Would love to hit a super here onto that Meg. Hypercharge available for the Bell. You can't really equalize at this point. There's what, 11, 13 stars on the map, so you can, but you need a full wipe, and it needs to be clean as a whistle. Toast is going in. Pain's going to be brought down here. 13 seconds left, and we're 5 stars the difference. We've got to be able to find a way to get this Nani, but RBM can't get the angle he's looking for. Juan Carlos is back on the field, and this one is going to be over. Pain backs away, but gets Toast, and that will be a win by star threshold here for this Juan Carlos team.
Whew. I was going to say Payne should be way more excited, but I think he knows how close that came. He's also still resting on a match point on the other end, and he's just trying to get this one to a 5th set. Stress levels at an all-time high, and you could feel it just from watching that. But you saw the ceiling of Juan Carlos' team. When they're connecting, it works so well. And Nani being able to land those sharp range shots, if second best has a game anywhere close, I'll call it 50% of what he just had. Especially considering game number 1 only had 2 total kills, I think Juan Carlos' team are in good position.
RBM getting pounded here on the right. Payne knows he can move up. Now put some pressure on Toast and allow Juan Carlos to move in for the blue star. Fade is extremely low, losing that battle slowly to the Nani. Needs to heal up for this peak comes calling. It's an easy kill for second best.
Love the strategy coming in. Second best doesn't pursue it. He knows they have enough tags and enough damage onto Bell and just sends the Nani peep from long range after it. It's such an easy way to add up stars and a reason why Nani is so popular on this map and oftentimes can counter those sharpshooters. Not to mention Return to Cinder, often a really good way to punish sharpshooters for tagging you. So now you're a threat on offense and defense. Once again, we're going to see Juan Carlos' team kind of slow down a little bit, take a more defensive approach now that they have that lead. But without a Juan Carlos super, it's a little bit harder and a little more wide open for him.
Meg super clobbered Toast and RBM there. Forced them right back. Under a minute left in the round now. A healthy lead for Juan Carlos' team. Even second best. Any one individual getting picked off here would not put Space Station in the lead in response. So we will need some form of commitment here from Space Station Gaming, but their composition's a bit more defensive than that. Fade lucky to get out with his life. Second best hoping to clip the Bell as she backs away. We're now under 30 in the round.
And Juan Carlos' team have to hold on for 24 more seconds to drag us to a set number 5. Second best, left hand in a tough situation, a lot of wide open, but Toast low HP. A complete cutoff on the left hand in as well, as now RBM has to get desperate. Fade has a super in hand, trying to connect the long range electro bolts here. Juan Carlos hypercharge manages to land the shot back and forth. They've tied it up with Blue Star. The difference, Payne goes down, Blue Star still rests with Juan Carlos, and they're gonna drag it all the way to another set. Payne can breathe.
Okay, Kenny, we're going all the way. You're gonna do me like that straight out of the gates? NA, they don't mess around out here. Juan Carlos team, beautiful work. When you get the lead with their composition, it is so hard for Space Station to take it back. The Bell can have her sidelines completely cut off by the Sprout. We saw that just towards the end of that round. And if you don't have a damage amp to work with as RBM, you can't beat the Meg, you cannot. But when you throw down that damage amp, you need to walk past it in order to be aggressive, to chase down that star deficit. But beautiful stuff, excuse me, from Juan Carlos' team. Very composed, and we start to see why that Nani is so good and Sprout is such a pain to deal with on this map.
Other regions have really prioritized Sprout. Again, overall, globally, it's been a top 5 brawler ban in general this week, and a lot of the times that's going to come from bounty sets, from KO sets. Hypercharge can make a huge difference, even if it's just adding the baseline stats and not necessarily the Hypercharge's ability itself. On top of that, too, I love Meg in general right now at a pro level because of how much HP she bolsters. It's really difficult for sharpshooters like Bell, especially if you even land that damage amplifier. It's still going to take several shots just to get you out of the robot, and then that damage amplifier modifier doesn't apply to Meg after. It's still a micro Meg on the other end that's going to have all the stars you have to take once again, and she can just recharge it back up and get back in the robot. I feel like Juan Carlos' team had a lot going for it, and especially in games 2 and 3, you could really show what that comp can do.
Fade had unbelievable mechanics on this map. My goodness, having to deal with like the mid sprout and also the Nani that, you know, outranges you. There was a lot of really artful dodging that we saw there, but yeah, thumbs up of course from Juan Carlos' team. And why not? You've got to be pleased with yourself about this. Take Space Station Gaming to a 5th set and kind of do it in style. Bounty looked very, very good for this Juan Carlos team with an incredible logo. I've just noticed the mini Protesto being held up by the taco. Thematically extremely appropriate.
Well, I think it's fair considering Juan Carlos got the team name, so I think second best needs some kind of representation, and that I guess is going to come in through the logo with the Protesto sign. He certainly made his mark in that 4th set there, though. 8 kills on the Nani Brawler. That is incredible. You could see it there, too. I felt like Space Station Gaming, they just felt timid to me. I think timid's the right word. In game number 1, they had the lead, and they didn't do too much about it. I think in fairness to them, oftentimes at a pro level, you're not going to want to overextend. You don't want to risk it because you know the enemy team can do that. I mean,
I want to cap off the analysis here by pointing out that, I mean, the Protesto diff was massive. Second best with at least 20 thumbs down. Fade, just the one Protesto. What can one do against such negativity from second best? I mean, you need to do better than that, Fade, if you want to win in that metric, not to speak even of the others.
Maybe Fade can fight back with 20 thumbs up. Maybe, does that counter out? Is that how the math
They say that one positive act, no, it takes 3 positive acts to outweigh 1 negative one. That's what they kind of say, right?
That's a lot. Yeah,
that's a lot of
60. Yeah, maybe just counter. Yeah, I think you just got to match the thumbs down then. I think that's clearly the play. I think
but it doesn't cost you anything to be nice as well. So I want to point that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it takes 3 times as much. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, okay. There's an exchange rate between positivity and negativity. Love to see it. I mean, we're all feeling pretty good here in the commentary booth, in case you can't tell. It's normal hours when normal people are awake in North America, and we've got some banger Brawl Stars to take us in now to our 5th set. That's right, the decider here as we head to knockout.
A lot of pressure on both of these teams. I feel like a little bit extra for Space Station Gaming. A big signing. Big expectations coming into another year as the same roster. I think this is going to be a toughie, and they've got a full hands with Juan Carlos' team. It's going to be RT and Brock coming in. I feel like this is pretty normal. We're going to get a Brock to break open this back spawn wall so you have easier access into the mid. You know, normally you need something like an Eve or to, God forbid, use that launch pad to get over there. That's really your only option. So I think Brock adds a little bit of versatility there. RT just a very solid brawler overall at the beginning stages when you need those long range shots, and more towards the end when the fog's closing in, you can kind of stamp the legs down like Jackie can and use an attack like that, get a little beefier. So I think that definitely works. But Juan Carlos' team going with a classic kind of combination in Gene and Max.
Yeah, Gene, of course, is just going to give you that insta-kill potential, especially if you know, stun your opponent briefly with that lamp blowout. It's just too much of a window where you can't really act at all. I love that you talk about the RT, like it's relevant at both stages of this game. And Bonnie makes another appearance, right? We saw a little bit of it at the end of our earlier broadcast, and also a lot in APAC. I didn't get a lot of success. But again, players are definitely gravitating towards it because now it's 3 shots to build that super. So much like RT, you do conditionally have that all-in potential.
I'm definitely conflicted on how to feel about Bonnie. In terms of the weekend, including the other 3 regions, it's only had about a 42% win rate, which is definitely not the best on this map. I imagine it's a little more successful in that, but I will say I do like for Knockout that it brings a little bulkiness and kind of the same logic as RT, right? In the early stages, you've got the long range capability. It's got a lot of HP, and at the end game, you can kind of get in your Leon form, throw out those grenades, and be more aggressive. But when you're in that form, you do have significantly less HP. So I feel like I like RT a little bit better in compared to a Bonnie in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, and Clyde doesn't have like an ammunition clip. It's just one shot, right? So you can't just dump all of your ammo if someone tries to close an all-in against you. It's just a scary part of the game to be in. So if there's a sense that the bot is going to be jumped on, she herself is going to have to reciprocate with that super. But we're here jumping on into out in the open. Gene has a great win rate on this map in general. It's about 63%. Obviously very powerful. Even the Vengeful Spirits can be good for securing those kills if that's the gadget you're on. And of course, Magic Puffs is the star power here. Make sure your team is topped up as well as possible.
For somebody like Gene, too, confirming kills is a huge deal. So having that extra gadget in your pocket, like you mentioned, a very big deal. And I think immediately you're seeing what Brock can bring to the table. He's now going to reveal the enemy grass, and now he's given SSG more room to work with on their own side of the map if they're the ones facing some pressure, especially considering that SSG are the ones with more sharpshooter kinds of brawlers in Bell, Brock, and RT. It's a little bit easier for them now that they've broken up the map a little bit.
Fade here, a lot of pressure being put down. Also by that is those incendiary fields. You've got to walk through the choke. You have wall break as the Brock team, so you can open up the map a little bit more and you don't have to filter through. Here we go. The gas is starting to close in here. Pain pops a super, but second best is coming forward now looking for a chance to use the magic hand, but Fade takes him down. Toast with that hypercharge is healthy enough to soak some damage, and Juan Carlos eventually has to succumb.
Impressive stuff in Space Station Gaming with map control. Hold on till the very end there, but second best does have a pull. That's certainly a game changer as well. Have to be careful about who you grab, though. RBM with no super, so at least a little safer in that front, but pretty easy one to charge, and definitely takes a sec to shred through 8,700 along with that shield gear that he's got on. Fade, of course, has the option to bounce away if he had that gadget, but since he's using the wall break, he's a little squishier, which might be part of the influence for why he runs a shield gear here instead.
Bell is so powerful against the Gene comp here. You can't get value out of magic paths, or they straight up don't work unless Gene is close to a teammate. But Toast shots bounce between proximate members of the opposition, so second best needs to avoid getting too close to Juan Carlos here and basically has to provide much more of that healing attention to Pain.
Second best and Pain certainly have all the utility in the world. A lot of supers now. Second best charging forward. Vengeful Spirits going out. Juan Carlos with a little bit of an extra damage. Oh, and just off the marker there too. They do grab the kill nonetheless. Juan Carlos diving in. They need to secure these kills, and it's a lone RBM up top.
Oh, wait.
And now all of a sudden, things got scary. It's a one-on-one situation. RBM has to...
Oh my God!
The damage amplifier adds up just a little bit extra, and SSG somehow able to clutch up.
That is ridiculous. RT, of course, benefiting from subsequent shots on the same target there, but he was so low. That actually was cracked. That was wild from RBM.
Wow. I'm with you. It's some incredible gameplay, and just you need plays like that. That's going to be a game changer right there. Rather than tying up around what looked like, it's now a Space Station gaming advantage again. Once again on match point as well. Juan Carlos's team have to now get 2 straight games here.
Look at the spacing here from second best. Again, the Bonnie has to heal up on her own after getting hit by Toast. Otherwise, you give too much value to that Bell comp. Juan Carlos, he wants to step up, but Toast doesn't really care. Shield gear and positive feedback star power making Bell actually really durable at long range.
Love the break there coming in from Brock as well. Just cutting up all of the grass. No visibility for the enemy team. They still have to work with a really awkward angle here, considering there's a cutoff in the mid there. Juan Carlos activating a little bit of a sugar rush here. They're just trying to branch out the best possible. Pain adding some extra speed as well. Second best now moving left-hand side. Juan Carlos juggling Toast. And Toast, Fade, and RBM forced to the right as the gas closes in.
Second best, a little bit low, doesn't have super. The mark on Juan Carlos. This is too much damage. Second best got to get clipped here. It's down to Pain, who's able to find one, but that is going to be it. And Space Station Gaming now on the edge of advancing to the semis.
Bell is the second most picked brawler this weekend, and it makes sense why. We're really starting to see what that damage amplifier can do. You're just able to secure kills so much easier. Hypercharge as well, essentially a free lock from that super as well, so they're going to be able to make those connections so much easier. Really loving what SSG is putting down right now.
Juan Carlos here facing down his old teammates, and is coming off on the worst end of things so far. So much map control for Space Station. No bushes for Pain to play through. Second best here trying to keep Juan Carlos in the fight. They are sitting on a magic hand here, but God, they're hard to hit when all of your opponents want to be playing at extreme range.
Fade holding on to a super here too. The Rocket Rain can provide some serious trouble. Second best with the pull. We saw him miss the magic hand a little bit earlier. They need to make every bit of their utility count. A cold call on the right-hand side because RBM's just going to stamp the foot down, secure a kill of his own, a risky launch pad play, but a response of his own, a magic hand, an opportunity for a clutch. Might be shut down, though, as RBM grabs the kill, and SSG hold on for dear life.
Man, it doesn't matter what brawler RBM is on. They have the clutch factor. I don't know why. You're diving the RT there. There must have been some kind of plan for second best, but RT very, very good. Up close and personal. Wait a minute. That whole hairline just moved. That was like tectonic movement of the hairline. Okay. Again, what else can you do but shrug and make your entire head shudder when you fall at the hands of Space Station Gaming there? A close game in general. Just not close enough. Yo, it's the boys. LG hanging out with the Space Station gang. All right. We've got some celebrities in the house here and some after-match discussion. As Luminosity, of course, waiting on their chance to advance to the semis too.
Are they literally just going to switch seats? Like, are they just going to take, oh, you guys were on camera, it's our turn now type? Like, we just started with Toast and then just slowly expanded to half the Brawl scene being in that room. There's
nothing
wild.
Wrong with a warm seat.
Hairline, by the way. Yeah. I'm not going to let that one go.
It looked like seismic movement. It was the whole darn thing shifted. I'm very impressed. I mean,
that one.
Yeah, it's so emotive, really. I was not expecting it though. That's for sure. Juan Carlos team come a long way. Based on the predictions, Kenny, not many people thought they'd be a huge factor here. I think Knockout was tough for them. Let's just be honest about that. Hypercharge there from Toast meant that Juan Carlos was always going to get marked up in those final moments here. Very, very hard for Juan Carlos team. I like this all in here though. This is absolutely unreal. They are marked. Pain is marked, but 1, 2, 3, and oh yeah. That's what we'd love to see. Bit of emotion there and a great moment from RBM.
RBM with a perfect pop-off. I mean, that was unbelievable. Just the little peaky angle on the right-hand side there to go down low, and then the damage amplifier does the rest of the work. Impressive stuff. Making the sharpshooter tags look easy, and Toast popping off with Bell as well. I think the damage amplifier was a huge contributor there. We saw RBM, he followed through, he hit the shots, but in order to put himself in that spot, Toast had to hit a super earlier on in that set. So I think that kind of all adds together, everybody piecing it together, and it leads RBM to a hero opportunity.
What? Okay. Yeah, that is pretty one-sided here when it comes down to the damage stats. And I suppose it makes sense, right, Kenny, if we think back. So much of the time, we just saw the Gene trying to heal up the rest of Juan Carlos' team. Second best has to basically get poked down constantly by the Bell. So you're doing a lot of... I loved it. The healing stats probably tell a very different story here, but when push came to shove, when the all-ins happened, Space Station Gaming really pushed it over to the top with their unreal levels of damage. And yeah, RBM, undisputably an MVP here. What a showing.
He's got my vote. I mean, that play could have separated a little extra panic on the side of SSG. Otherwise, the set was going pretty cleanly, I might add. That was probably one of the more instrumental, easier making looking clinics that they've put on for today. We had some other sets that were back and forth, but RBM's one individual play there, I think definitely a play of the take candidate, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, great showing overall. And we know that there was a very specific play style that they were trying to aim for, of course, Space Station Gaming, with some of their bans. A little bit telegraphed, perhaps. We even saw them really struggle on Brawl Ball. So great recovery over the course of the series. And remember, you can vote for your MVP over at event.brawlstars.com. That's a great way to get involved in the show. Yeah, sorry, you can get in the show. We might even just kick Ready, Set, Off and put one of you in his chair if you get enough of those predictions right. That's kind of what's on the line here. Again, what do you think? Come join us here. Stay with us at the very least, ladies and gentlemen, over on that event side. We're going to go to a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to jump into our fourth quarter-final game. It's West Coast FA versus Luminosity.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship, powered by Samsung Galaxy, is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
And we are here, of course, still at the Brawl Stars Championship, powered by the Snapdragon Pro Series. We've had one quarterfinal down. Quite an explosive matchup between Juan Carlos team and Space Station Gaming Ready. You had a chance, of course, to check that out, and you also probably had a chance to go and see what was going on the B stream. What's the report so far?
Report says Tribe Gaming goes 3-0 versus Real Dudes. And of course, I'm not just reading that off. I did get the chance to watch the whole thing. And unfortunately, folks, it was not even close. Got to respect the effort that Real Dudes put in here. But this is Tribe Gaming that we're talking about, a world's class roster now advancing on to the semifinals.
Okay, 3-0 for Tribe Gaming. Yep, they're looking pretty good. That Space Station Tribe matchup is going to be pretty sweet. But let's look down towards the lower end of the bracket. Looks like remaining 7 are about to advance through, Kenny. Let's talk West Coast and Luminosity. These two teams really familiar with each other. West Coast, even though they're a free agent, have been under this banner for a little while themselves. It's Alec, Chepo, and Shine versus Patchy, Chino, and Charles.
These guys are no strangers, especially when it comes to playing against each other. These were two West Coast teams, obviously in the name on our left-hand end, but NA West teams last year, of course, playing against each other in a lot of monthly finals. Chepo and Shine have certainly taken on Luminosity Gaming a ton. LG, of course, were the successors of that region. They did go on to World Finals with a guaranteed spot, STMN, of course, being second. So these guys fell just short of that, but they were certainly a premier team in that region last year.
And here is your West Coast team. Let's have a look across the aisle at their opponents today. A team that really needs no introduction. It's Luminosity Gaming, falling to 5th to 8th in that 2023 Brawl Stars World Finals. I think expectations for this team are actually really high, but they end up falling to Zeta Division in those quarterfinals. Of course, Zeta, the eventual winners, our eventual world champions there in 2023. Here are your Luminosity guys here. They got off to a hot start last year under the name of Dog Walkers, and now they're staying under this org. They've now had that international experience under their belt, ready, set. You've obviously had a chance to hang out with them a little bit recently. How are you feeling about them now as we reset for another year of NABSC?
I think that Luminosity are looking fairly strong. Even in just this matchup versus West Coast, I think they're amped up for another good year. I got the chance to sort of go to batting practice, so to speak, and watch how they communicate in the scrims. This is a team that is known for playing really, really well on game day, and I saw them in the scrims, and they look pretty good. So that compounded, I think, is a recipe for success.
Now, again, I don't know how you're feeling about this one, Kenny, in general, because we make our predictions, but we kind of don't predict our score lines very much. So West Coast FA, a pretty sick team. Definitely known quantity here. We're talking about players that, you know, when it has come to those, you know, monthly finals, they've always, you know, put up a good fight. Especially, always a factor here. They always make it through their qualifiers. They did pretty comfortably this time around as well. They've also been a feature in the past of the Snapdragon Pro Series. So how do you think they perform here up against this Luminosity squad, and where should our expectations kind of be?
All three of these guys have had great success. I mean, you mentioned some of their past accolades for sure. Luminosity's been very successful against this crew in general, though. Last year, Luminosity did not miss a beat against specifically West Coast. I mean, we had Alec in the mix too, who's played with these guys in the past as well. I think it's a very solid team. I feel like Luminosity are going to be very hungry, especially in a month number 1 where they've all joined together. They're all in the same room, and I just love the way they kind of interact with each other. These guys eat, breathe, and sleep Brawl Stars. I feel like if I have to pick between a 3-0 and a 3-2 kind of score line, I'm leaning closer to a Luminosity 3-0 kind of feel, just based on the past, based on how they ended last year, how hungry these guys are for success. I don't know. I feel like this could be a good day for Luminosity.
All right, Kenny, well, we'll let you go now, give you a chance to enjoy the games and have a look at the B stream for us here. West Coast FA Luminosity. To dig a little bit further into the story as this series develops, I think people had higher hopes for Luminosity at the World Finals. They probably expected them to be the better NA team, but STMN were the team with that LAN experience. That's what really mattered. But now they have a chance to run it back. You better believe Luminosity have their sights set on another global performance as we head towards the end of the year. Obviously, you at home expecting Luminosity to be in a strong position here. Ready, set, can't argue with that, mate. We're headed to Bell's Rock up first.
All right, let's talk picks bans on this map. We already have some bans coming in, but as well as the picks, what is really valuable here on Bell's Rock? I'm looking at the long-range meta. We're talking Angelo, maybe a little bit of Leon, some Charlie, a little bit of the funny thrower that has entered the game in the last few months and has disrupted everything. Of course, I'm talking about Larry. We see a first pick of Gray, which I really like. I think that prevents an effective last pick of a thrower for West Coast FA. Gray also is just a good brawler when it comes to being an assassin for a map where you need to be hanging out behind walls and then pounce at the right moment.
Mechanically very intense brawler though, whether it's like hitting people with the walking cane or being able to follow up on that super, the dive in to pick someone off and then try and get away alive. That's going to be very important here. But again, sometimes the 1-for-1 in knockout can be worth it if you already have a lead. No surprise to see Maiko banned away. Sam also getting banned. Fair enough. Obviously, he's looking a lot stronger lately. I think we saw it in APAC and it was horrendous. So won't be seeing that here in this series either. The Bonnie again gets a look. It didn't look great for Juan Carlos' team either. But Alec 26 might have other plans. Gene, of course, a bit of a shoe-in when it comes to knockout.
Yeah, this is just the better pull, basically. Gray has a pull, Gene does it better. So Gene will also be able to get some good visibility inside of those bushes should things get pushed back, but the presence of the walls, especially the Indestructibles, makes a 4-5 thrower pick for Luminosity sort of viable. They're going to pick up the dog here. I think that'll be pretty effective for breaking open some walls if West Coast decide that they still want to go for a thrower or something of the sort. Sprout has been banned, so that's one more thing worth keeping in mind. But really do like the Gray here. I think that Gray can be pretty effective into whatever West Coast FA select as their last pick. Want to also remark on the Sam really briefly. This is one that I've seen a lot in scrims, actually, when watching the North American teams play.
What do they do?
Really
just run it down?
Yeah, pretty much. You're able to sit behind the Indestructible. Your enemy can't do anything about it. So you sit behind that Indestructible wall. It's on both sides of the arena and constantly heal yourself and then wait for a good moment to push in, or you just being there forces your enemy to move back.
Again, a lot of threat generated by Sam, and if he hits you with that gauntlet, you're dead. You are absolutely dead. He's got that speed, of course, as he chases it down, and also the gadget used to draw you back and lock you in place. The Ruffs is been really hotly contested as a pick in quite a few of our regions this weekend. He's just very good. And again, maybe your opponents want to play out of the sort of the vertical sight lines here, but those bouncing shots affect you if you're in the sort of horizontal part of those crosses as well. Pretty scary to deal with. Also, sandbags can have some great applications, especially against kind of this kind of composition where you don't have a lot of that cleave damage to just ignore the sandbags or blow them all up at once. Brock will be the final pick here as Shine will round it out. Very long range for West Coast FA with the pick potential of the Magic Hand. But Luminosity have a well-rounded setup with a bit of all-in of their own in the Grey.
Well, here comes the wall break immediately for Chepo. Very typical pick for the guy, Brock Chepo. There's a reason we've been saying that for years in North America. West Coast FA already breaking open that wall so that Shine can actually get some value here. It's going to be rough for Patchy. He's forced to retreat behind this obstacle because he's lacking in range by comparison to Shine. Up against Alec 26, will get the hook. Nice taps. No kill just yet. Chino lines up the last one, and it's down to a 3v2.
Charles is running field promotion here on Ruffs. That's so interesting. I guess once you have an advantage, or once the map opens up a little bit, there's more incentive to play together. That also sort of makes the late game a bit more deterministic. When your team has all this extra health, they're just super tanky. And you want to all in. So you group up behind the sandbags, get promoted, and then use the Grey super to dive in. What a nice strat.
I think also they recognize that they're not going to get any value from breaking walls of their own, considering that wall break win condition for West Coast. Nice kill there for Patchy. Chepo's the last one remaining. Charles is just going to try and get his super. He's got to be pretty close to it, but he has been getting outranged a good amount of the time. It's tough for him to get in range of enemies. He is able to ricochet his shots, but his two teammates do have the superior range and a greater chance in these long-range matchups. We see the Vengeful Spirits from Shine just to force things back. Nice.
Oh, dear.
Patchy jumps in to snipe up the kill. Another one, but he misses the tech. Jump in from Alec and a kill.
Wow, the damage is so real from Alec there on that dive. I love the idea there from Luminosity. Great way to respond to the all-in with one of your own, but the Magic Hand just throws things into chaos ready, even early in the round.
We almost saw a really good play there from Patchy, too. He just mistimed it a little bit. He got that hook with the walking cane, but he wasn't able to use the teleporter in time to get the, quote, long pull, the long hook with Gray. He still does have at least one more gadget. Missed mark there from Chino on the left side isn't amazing. Shine's working with a lot of health, and he's going to remain so. Nice damage in from Chepo. In fact, he picks up the kill onto Charles. It's disastrous for Luminosity.
How? Why? I mean, again, that skin, it can be a little bit hard sometimes to tell where the rockets are falling. But still, I mean, you probably don't want to be getting caught out by a rocket rain at this level. Frustrating for sure for Charles. Well, now it's up to the rest of Luminosity to make something happen here. You can dive in, but Patchy's low. No more field promotion available, so you can't get super tanky for the late game push, and LG are just going to pack it in by the looks of things. There's the Magic Hand. And the first set Okay, starting to look pretty scary for Luminosity, and Alec is absolutely locked in. The mastermind, the evil villain, the often friend to his Luminosity colleagues this time is starting to cause them to be afraid.
Luminosity, I feel like when we saw them get to that third round and they lost just one member of their team, they sort of fell apart. They already knew it was over and might have just started to reset and think about how this next one's going to go. We saw a lack of coordination between Patchy and I believe it was Chino that was remaining. We'll see Charles now move up around the left side, try and get in early. Already a couple of gadgets popped by Chino. Not much contact. Chepo is fairly low. Charles is going to try and take advantage of this, but they just cannot really get in range effectively.
Charles here being a real nuisance. It's very hard for Shine or Chepo to play inside that grassy area. Sandbags will give you the chance to get out when things get a little hot and heavy. Shine! Oh, what a shot from Chino. It's so easy to line it up after you hit that walking cane, and Alec will fall, leaving Chepo to do it alone. Hypercharge here for Chino. There's no way you want to waste that. I think they're going to allow Charles to try and come forward and build a super. Chepo does not want to allow that to happen at all. Unfortunately, he won't have much choice outside of jumping into the gas. Charles gets the super anyway, and that's a scary prospect for West Coast.
Yuck, Luminosity are looking scary. They've also sort of discovered the win condition here, just bum rush mid as quickly as they can. They're actually holding back this time. Seems like getting up and close and personal at mid in the first round did favor them a lot. Now that the walls have been broken open by Chepo, the story is likely a little bit different. Chino is probably looking for a good opportunity to pop the hypercharge in the super.
There it is.
On Alec 26, the highest health target. Patchy with the T.
Oh boy!
And a gank on a Shine. It's just Chepo left to fight the 1v3. And folks, we already know how this one goes. It's a game win for Luminosity.
Absolute cinema from Luminosity in that round. Again, the hypercharge basically guarantees the mark from Bell will hit, and you'll instantly have the follow-up. The dive in from Gray. They blow up that Bonnie, and they have a walking cane to secure a second kill. Beautiful. Mechanically, extremely adept. And great job here. You mentioned it, Reddy, right? The win condition for Luminosity became, run it down and blow them up as quick as we can.
Well, let's see if they do it again. They're actually holding back. Maybe something has changed. Maybe they took a little bit too much damage right off the beginning of the match. Wow, Chepo got tapped up. Only 84 health left. Has to have that rocket fuel on standby. No contact there from Chino. Got to respect the attempt. Nice pull on a Shine. There's the kill. And Charles prevents a lot of damage from Alec 26 on the right side. With the good kill for Chepo on the left. Another one on Apache. It's just Charles to fight the 1v2.
This is basically unwinnable for the Ruffs. Alec has the all-in, Chepo has this incredibly oppressive damage at range, and yeah, Charles is going to give up the ghost here. Straight away, West Coast get off to a good start. Actually poised here to sneak this set away.
Did we see Chepo get every single one of those kills as well? We saw him win the left lane and then the mid lane, and then he came over for the pinch on the right. I think Alec 26 is a little bit out of his depth also on this lane matchup on the right, because Charles can just throw down the sandbags. Chepo has a really good opportunity to break open some of those sandbags, so if he wins this left lane early, then it might even be a guaranteed win. Nice taps for Chino, and a misventral spirits for Shine. Looked a little bit hasty. So far, so good for both teams, though. No major losses.
Shine is marked, though. Dangerous. Chepo. Oh, Patchy! Just flattens him. The magic hand was going to be able to trade that kill, and here's the all-in from Alec, but the sandbags will keep Charles alive. Beautiful. Straight back through the dimensional door, and Shine was marked from beforehand, so it's going to be an easy 2v1 collapse. Luminosity so sharp, and Charles will finish the job with some bouncing shots.
Both teams still have a chance here. Just one round to decide it all. Chino does have the hypercharge and the super, though. Shine might be the ideal target to mark, but Alec 26 would be another good one. Both brawlers with a bunch of health, high priority targets. Shine does have his magic hand now, so he can get a good pull on someone. Chepo's going to end up getting marked, actually. We see a lot of wall break on the left. Shine just has really a playground to work with. He's able to chip everyone down gradually, keep them from healing. Luminosity are leveraging the terrain that they still have remaining on their own back lines. Now Charles is giving that Scooby snack, if you will, to the left side. Chino will be able to two-tap Chepo with this combo.
The Bell's in a strong position now, a marked target and the supply drop buff. Chepo has to respect this just a little more. In fairness though, Chepo not giving too much ground, still wants to try and pressure Chino away from being able to finish him off. And there's a magic hand up, so Luminosity can't get aggressive. Shine's been using it well reactively to the Grey engage. There's Shine though. Got hooked. Oh, Chino collapses. It's all over. It's all over. West Coast now trying to dive on into Alec. Wants to keep the dream alive. But the dream is dead for the first set. It's Luminosity. Take it away.
A very, very close call, and so well executed for Luminosity. They had basically no cover to work with, which is extraordinarily difficult to deal with when you're playing a brawler like Gray, for instance. But Patchy, he's just such a veteran of the Gray gameplay. He's been playing it in comp since it came out, and he seems to sort of put an extra bit of polish on it every time we see him play it.
This is generally very good Brawl Stars, though, from both sides. Chepo doing an excellent job of holding his own and holding his ground on the Brock there. See, here's that Chino hook always being used in responses to Magic Hand, but that Walking Cane is so good at setting up kills. Alec, though, gets the impact damage and just annihilates the Bell there. In this moment, of course, you can kind of see how threatening Chepo is and just snipes a free kill with that Rocket Rain. That was a huge round win.
Yeah, if I had to name MVPs for each team, I would definitely say Chepo on the Brock for West Coast FA and Patchy on the Gray for Luminosity. And sometimes it felt like they were just playing on opposite sides of the fields, working their way in to eventually face each other on opposite lanes. We saw great moments for both of them. We saw a nice kill there for Patchy as well, following the Walking Cane. He just has really good precision. The only time we saw him miss the Walking Canes was actually in the first game after they had gone down to the last round and had already lost Charles, which was basically the lose condition for them.
Here's the collapse towards the end. This was essentially all over by that point. The sandbags were pretty huge at sort of denying the Bonnie all in, being able to play from behind them and avoid those shots being thrown out. But very even stats across the board. Chino, of course, the one claiming many of those kills, but Patchy really looked to try and set them up. Really great game of Brawl. Very, very strong showing here from West Coast. You can see these teams know each other. You can see they're both really up to the task. North America, I mean, has this density of players and top teams that is going to give you these banger matches in our top 8 over and over again. And it's great to see West Coast, underrated by many, putting up a staunch resistance in the first set.
Well, when you play Luminosity first round, you got to give 100% to these 5 maps that you'll wind up playing. Luminosity seems like spirits are high over there as they're getting ready for set number 2. West Coast FA probably locked in. That was a really close one for them. It came down to just 1 round to decide that entire set.
And remember, the winner of this match will advance to play the winner of remaining 7 and real ones. I think a series that is still, I mean, undecided. One apiece here, I think, or at least it was. So very curious to see who comes out of that one still swinging. And Tribe Gaming and Space Station Gaming are waiting in that other semi-final. So some big names in North American Brawl Stars here still alive for that top 4. Luminosity are getting a great warm-up here. Not only are their chairs already warm, right? Because Space Station Gaming made sure of that. But they come in here and they look like they were ready to play straight off the bat. Competitive game, yes, but Luminosity had a great plan. Seeing the Gray picked up on knockout, not every team is going to take that risk, right? Can feel a little bit underpowered at times, outranged by a lot of other sharpshooters, not always able to get into a position, sometimes could get punished for making poor engages, but man, when you make use of him well, he's a game changer.
Yeah, and I think we saw him used really, really effectively here. I wonder if we'll see him in the upcoming sets. We're heading now into Dueling Beetles, which I wouldn't really expect to see it here, but it's totally possible. When you talk about Dueling Beetles, we're still talking about that long-range meta, but also have to acknowledge some of the wall breakers. Throwers can be very, very strong here if left unchecked, so you got to get those wall breakers in early. Some of the bans are already coming in. We see that Jesse ban from West Coast FA. Okay, so I'm glad we're both looking at it. Yeah, this one is sort of the counter to Pam, so we see it banned on both sides. Maybe Luminosity find an opportunity to pick it up. They've also banned Angelo, which is another thing worth noting.
Yeah, I mean, very strong against Pam. Also, that hypercharged turret is just extremely good against any close-range brawlers. It's like really punishing to try and walk into that. It virtually adds like a 4th brawler to your team. Scrappy in that form, it's just really, really hard. It's like, what, 9,000 HP? It's just a ridiculous amount that you can heal as well, should you, have the opportunity to do that. Amber here, popular pick on this map. Also Stu, no surprise to see it make another appearance for another hot zone map. And we know just how good Buster can be here. Montage is very relevant, especially against the Stu. And of course, being able to draw people in. Now, it's very, very powerful.
So let's break this down real quick. Some of the picks for each side. Luminosity, they go with the Stu to deal with tanks pretty effectively. We'll also see Speed Zone. I love this last pick for Charles. It's like he swapped over to Chino, kind of Team Mort here, but maybe Charles gets to take it for a spin. We see the Amber to deal with the Charlie Spiders. She's really good into Charlie, and also brawlers that just run it down. We also see Buster selected by West Coast FA because that could be a viable last pick for Luminosity. It's also really good into that Charlie. But where Buster really suffers is stuff that's really aggro into him, things that he can't 3-shot because his reload speed isn't really that good. So we'll see how this one goes. Patches decide not to run the wall break, which is pretty gutsy into the Sprout, but they do have their secret weapon, Chino, already headed directly for Shine.
Full commitment here. Chino with super up, opts not to use it, as there's been enough map control gained just by that raw Mortis aggression. Alec here, montage expires. Charles now starting to spray those flames. Patchy got to be able to come out on top there. Chepo cannot deal with the mobility of the Stu, and Luminosity off to a great start.
Wow, and the thumbs down and the spin too. They must be feeling on top of the world right now. So far, they're nearing 50% with only 6% conceded to West Coast FA. Out 26 will kick off the charge in. Nice kill there versus Chepo. It enables Shine to place down some walls on the left side. Patchy still dashing away, ends up going down without a super as he respawns. We see more walls pop down. Chepo pops his hypercharge without Luminosity really getting the chance to push in. Might have been able to wait a little bit longer on that one, but he has gotten a super as a result. He's going to put Chino also in that cocoon. He's immediately freed by Patchy, and Luminosity seem to have control over the point, but it could be fleeting.
64 and counting. Patchy going to give Alex some room, but is really favoured in the matchup unless the slow-mo replay sucks him in. The burn damage from Patchy, though, got to secure the elimination. Chino can't quite close the gap on Shine, and West Coast FA have some solo point time here, but eventually Chino's going to get involved. Doesn't build a super. Chepo able to outlast now. Great connection with the cocoon. Spiderlings off the back of that now. We're going to circle around and harass, but Patchy emerges and wins it out. Alec can't change the direction of montage mid-use, so can't do anything about the Stu, but still able to win out against the Mort.
Shine has his hypercharge now too. He might opt to use it just for the extra speed and damage instead of in combination with his super. Trying to block off the entry into mid. Out 26 getting taken down, and Chino gets to push in. Nice use of the super, but he won't be able to kill Chepo just yet. And he's out of gadgets, so he can't do much versus Patchy. Luminosity are closing in on that point of no return. Alec 26 and Shine to make the final push in, but Alec 26 doesn't look to have the damage that he needs to eliminate this. Chino swipes up a kill, and that's it. That's game number 1 for Luminosity.
Real little thing there. Mortis inside a cocoon, sort of towards the end of that round, and the Stu from Luminosity in the middle of the map just taps the Charlie with one shot. That's enough for Mort to come out and actually just one-tap her and get back into the fight very quickly. Nicely done by Luminosity. They have a great start. They're spinning, they're pinning, but it gets a little out of hand later on as Chepo is able to shut the Mortars down with consecutive cocoons, and Buster is just very powerful. Tough for Chino to dive onto that.
Certainly so. As long as Chino is able to heal up in the middle of it, then he should be fine. It gets even better if he can hit multiple targets at the same time and chain those bats together. A nice win for West Coast FA off the beginning of this game. We even get to see Shine make contact with the speed zone, and Patchy's going to have to throw down another. Could be risky for him to do so because Shine can just hit it again. This is a spawn trap for West Coast FA. This is what they really wanted, and this is ultimately the risk of Patchy not bringing wall break. It's going to fall on Chino's shoulders, this responsibility of making sure that they can take down the Sprout. He's just going to go for it, honestly, try and see if he can get a super. Wasn't able to, but he softened up the targets for Luminosity, remaining Patchy and Charles to push in.
Spiderlings here pressuring Charles down, but Amber well equipped to deal with them. Chino gets it. Nicely done. Built that super. Let's go pretty quickly. And Alec can't help. He can't help Shine. Here's Chino with the super now. A little bit of extra health. Alex says, okay. How about this one? Able to fire her off one shot with that slow reload speed, but stays alive for long enough. Luminosity, though, now just get themselves into the lead here.
Alec also popped that super right before going down. It had no effect, and now he's going to be without it the next time he pushes in. He's pushing in pretty much solo as well, as Chino farms kills on the back lines. Chepo does have a super, which he can use to freeze Chino. You might be able to allow for some play for Shine. The Luminosity seem to own this point at the moment. Chino gets 1-2 chains on the bats, but it's not enough to deal with Alec 26. He can charge in from the left side using that. Wow, it reflects the shots onto Charles. They managed to regain control of the point, but Luminosity have so much capture that it might already be done.
Patchy can't do much there. Chino has to try and face down the Buster on his own. Speed Zone thrown down in enemy territory, but Patchy can't do anything. Once more, the Buster pushes up. So hard to deal with this tanky brawler. Montage available, and Chino has the super up, but it still has to cut through the bulky, massive Buster. Chino is... okay, just hovering that super. Yeah, Luminosity know they get the job done. Beautiful Mortis play. So much pressure down on the Sprout. And even the Charlie, when she doesn't have that cocoon available, is very susceptible to Mortis running her into the ground.
All smiles on the player cams, especially Chino, and there's no better feeling than winning a set as Mortis. One of these brawlers that's so polarizing, honestly. It's either really good or it's really bad. And this is one of those moments where the Chino Mort was actually a good pick, and it actually worked. It did get close at points, but without the Mortis, I don't think Stu wall break would have really been enough. You could see just how powerful the Sprout pick was at times where they immediately won mid. I don't think we'd see a moment where Stu is allowed to get a super and is actually able to get in position to break any of these walls. So I commend the Mortis. I think this was a really good pick on the Sprout.
Did we ever get to see like a good Sprout hypercharge over the course of that set?
Not with the use of the super.
Yeah. Seems like that's a big part of the winning strategy here for West Coast if they could pull it off. Unfortunately, never had a chance to make use of it. The Mortis last pick, still as good as it ever was, Reddy. Very, very good at punishing those throwers. Chino here as well, like you see these struggles against the Buster, but sometimes there's no other target to really go for, and you need to accrue some capture percentage one way or another. But every time he runs into Chepa with that super or Shine on any day of the week, he's able to come out on top here. Tough for Shine to really get going. There was one point where we got to see the spawn trap ready. That's, you know, kind of part of the plan here for West Coast, but it was so short-lived. It wasn't nearly enough.
I think another thing we saw was just Shine burn through so many of his gadgets. It's tough to decide which gears you're going to bring to the party. This is one of those situations where you need the longevity of that hedge time. You need it up a lot of the time. 100% of the time would honestly be ideal, so going to be pursuing that as much as possible. Bringing the fourth gadget gear is probably wise. Look at the kills for Alec26. I mean, this guy was putting on a clinic with the Buster, but it was not enough to deal with Chino on that Mortis, consistently diving the back lines where Chepa was playing the Sprout.
Yeah, very, very hard to deal with. We know the Buster damage is insane on this map. And as the sole tank, there's basically no matchup one-to-one that you can't win. Especially, of course, with the star power that makes you much more durable during your super. It's hard to do anything about it. But let's move on. Let's move on to Heist, specifically. Our third set in this series and a chance for Luminosity to close things up now. West Coast looked great in set one. Set two, though, not so much. They absolutely need to find their footing here. And there's a lot of throwers being banned out across. 3 throwers removed from rotation. Even the spike taken away by Luminosity.
Yeah, this is interesting. And this is something that I said yesterday, and low-key is a line that I stole from Luminosity. It might have been Patchy that said it. That Spike is a thrower, sort of, because he can throw the super over the wall, which I respect that. Being able to throw the super over the wall onto the safe, you get almost 1,000 damage per tick. I'm sure the actual number is like 980, but it might as well be 1,000 damage there. Let's look at Luminosity and what they first selected. Like the Charlie first selection, you see
the ranked pick.
Yeah, the right pick. Okay, yeah, whatever. It's
the ranked pick.
On the away team, we've gone with Charlie. Basically does the same thing as Cordelius without taking you out of the fray for the remainder of the battle. Also, Cordelius has been banned, so this enables some aggro picks for Luminosity.
Angelo here. Very solid pick for this map. These long sidelines can do a lot of work, and if you have that map control, it's very hard to get it off Angelo when he's able to heal inside that super. The Edgar, of course, is really just all in with hypercharge, and if you have anybody else to hit with that super when you jump on in, especially if you take hard landing, which is a bit cheese, but I've seen it happen, you can really punish there. Probably Fisticuffs is the go-to star power to make sure you can stay alive in the fights. And I love the buzz on this map. It's very powerful. Being able to stop an Edgar in his tracks as well is going to be very useful.
He does fill a similar role to Cordelius at times. The only thing is that he has a lot more mobility. He can't jump over a wall, but he is able to grapple around. You're able to get mobility for free with the use of the gadget, which I should hope you're not running the other gadget, the one that lets you see inside bushes, because that is not useful here. Primo, last selection from Shine. Shine actually is a very good Primo player. We've seen him play in previous monthly finals, this Brawler. Against Chino on the Rico, it's going to be rough. If he gets some wall breakdown, like might even be running... In fact, I think it would be wise to be running the wall break gadget here as Primo. Get extra damage on the high safe. That's kind of inconsequential. Breaking down the walls that Chino is going to find very useful on the Rico, I think is a prudent decision.
El Fuego as well, a star power for El Primo, getting that extra burn damage off that super could be pretty important. But of course the Buzz Hypercharge is very powerful. The raw stats on a brawler like Buzz look a lot better than maybe even on one like Charlie. And of course being able to get your super refunded if it hits a wall means you can close the gap, basically no matter what. In goes Patchy. We're going to all in each other. I like that. It's a very lively start here to Heist. Shine gets a good bit of damage, eventually staved off, but Chepo's going to be there as well. Charles has to throw the cocoon in while Alec gets shots in from the periphery. Keep an eye on the numbers up the top here because Luminosity are falling behind. Body blocking a lot of these Angelo shots seems fine, but it can get you killed, as Chino just found out.
This Angelo's really tough to defend. Chepo also gets a good defense at his own safe. Charles and Chino double up on the lane. They get the victory versus Alec 26, but they are at a deficit, 12%. Shine's able to jump directly in. Patchy might try to grapple and
ignoring it.
Now Shine, he's out of a super. That's a gadget that it cost him too. With a hypercharge popped for Charles, it's an easy kill onto Alec 26, but Chino dies from the poison ticking damage. Now West Coast FA have to play defense, and Shine's not really able to do this effectively if he's allowed to sneak up the right side. We might even see Patchy make some moves on the bottom left with some safe damage. Pretty much allowed to move up. A good kill for Alec 26, and now damage on the safe from Shine.
But look, I mean, Luminosity had the advantage there, right? But they can't jump over the wall. They got no safe damage as a result of that last push because they have to go around. The double stun is good. Patchy trying to pressure Alec down. Here comes Chepo once more, jumping onto the safe, taking it down to 24%. Shine now on defense, but Chino blows into smithereens. Now we'll have to deal with the Angelo, but they're a long way behind Luminosity. West Coast have a great lead with a very mobile comp.
Okay, Hypercharge was popped by Primo, but it's completely nullified by Charles, putting it in the cocoon. Shine's looking for an opportunity to get that super for free. Patchy going for the free kill on Alec, now trying to get out of range. He's got a super, now grapple over to Edgar. A kill onto Chepo, not quite. A takedown into Patchy.
Good damage!
But now they got to hammer away at this safe. All of the spiders dashing on that safe. It's down to just 8%. Charles now puts it in the cocoon. 26 has to body block and Shine's out looking for a free super. He's got that charge ready to go. Luminosity have to put on a rockstar defense. Patchy's going to use his gadget, and he's going to sneak up and get the last bit of percent.
Dirty! Absolutely dirty for Luminosity. It is 60%, placed 27 at one point in that round. Luminosity behind by a huge amount, but they finally get a chance to dive on the safe. They can't go over the wall. They've got to go around, which means they need to win sometimes 2 fights in a row in order to do that. Against Edgar and against Primo, that is a pretty impressive showing.
Another thing I want to note from the last game was that we saw Patchy actually get tossed by the Primo. Chepo is running the suplex supplement here.
No way.
He managed to toss Patchy while he was getting supered by one of the stunning supers from Buzz before he got stunned. The timing on that is ridiculous. Chino over here also running all of that damage down.
Oh no.
Gadget. Patchy with a big stun, and the kill onto Alec too. He has a super to show for it as well. Shine popping Gadget. Stunned again. The disrespect.
He does not care. Those supers getting built awfully quick, and now hypercharge up for Patchy. You've got to respect Chepo at long range still. Alec here. Yeah, with a piercing gadget, he's able to scout Patchy out in those bushes, and that ticking damage is nothing to sneer at. Patchy very low, and Chino's going to get killed. Oh my goodness, Chino! That's dirty! Super and gadget both used. Chino blows him up, and now it's on for young and old. Pressure on the West Coast safe now as Chepo has to use the super to try and clear, but it's a massive lead for Luminosity.
16% remains for West Coast FA, and Patchy has infinite supers here if he pops his hypercharge. Just needs to get a super first. He's going to use the tech, popping his gadget after using the hypercharge, looking for the kill on Shine, but more importantly, the safe.
It's over.
So much damage and on the safe, and it's over. Luminosity go on to the semifinals.
Oh, these guys are so clean. That was not an easy game. West Coast are pretty legit. If they're in a different part of this bracket, they might have had their spot in the semifinals, but it is not to be. Luminosity love to play that aggressive game. They love it when you push them to the limit. That's where they seem to thrive. Starting that first round quite a long way behind, but that second was a completely different story. Chaining those Buzz supers with AoE stuns one after another. And for the boys at West Coast, veterans of the scene, this is still going to be a hard pill to swallow. Still handed a fat L at 0-3 in this quarterfinal.
This might even become one of the best played games that we've seen today.
So sick.
So much going on. The scoreline does not tell the full story, and I will even say it goes beyond just the match score. The set score as well, I don't think tells the full story. There was so much nuance going on so many of these interactions, many times where we saw the draft really, really matched up.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Both teams with very powerful setups of brawlers there. I mean, the multi-ball launcher, super combo from the Rico. When you corner him on the side of the map, I mean, you're not ready for that amount of damage. That blew the game wide open. We never even got to go to Bounty. I was kind of looking forward to seeing how that would play out here. But every player on this Luminosity squad is an absolute star. Look at his multi-stun setup here. Patchy puts the pressure down. Both teams opting to try and all in each other, but Chepo can't really do much about Charles there. Look at this, Patchy. Look at Chino, I think, in this corner. This is where it happened. Look at all that damage. It's so filthy, man. Goodness me, Rico is dirty.
Oh gosh, yeah, just pop the multi-ball launcher, you know, chuck a super around here and you got so much damage. This is where Patchy respawned with a hypercharge, and already I was like, oh no, like he has infinite mobility across the entire map. It's about how I'd react to, I mean, once he respawns with a hypercharge, then the game's basically over. They have to spread out. They can't just defend the Buzz. There are two other cracked members on the enemy team that they have to worry about.
Yeah, I love the Buzz there chaining those supers into those walls one after another to absolutely cover the map. High damage game. You can see it right here. Patchy almost hitting that 400 DPS number. Shine, well, it's a bit of a tough one for him, I think. Again, you are, you're going up against some very powerful brawlers. I think Shine was on the Angelo, right? So never really had much time to get value from that incremental long-range damage. Never really got to set up to put pressure. Never had enough room to sit back and just fire away. Really tough game for the Angelo.
Across the way, though, I'm looking at Luminosity. I'm looking at Chino having an excellent day on Rico. And sometimes it's really hard not to have a great day as Rico on pit stop. I'm really not sure how this one snuck through the bans. There must have just been bigger fish to fry, because this brawler can seriously shut down the map. The only thing that can kind of deal with him is wall break, and that's not a super high priority. You've already picked brawlers surrounding those walls being up, so sometimes it's just better to leave them up.
There's your MVP. Voted by you over at event.brawlstars.com. Chino with an incredible series throughout. We've seen fireworks in our first two matches on this mainstream in our North America monthly finals. And I like we saved the best for last already. I like that we have NA right at the end of this monthly final. Brawl is well and truly alive and kicking. In fact, it's thriving, and so are we, seeing these great quality matches. We're going to be back after the break. Quick word from our sponsors and then jumping into our semi-finals.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship, powered by Samsung Galaxy, is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Soda. My headshot. Nice solo.
This is the time. The time when dreams come true and legends are born.
Oh my word!
This is the place.
Some seriously spicy stuff. An absolute masterclass!
The place where teams from across the globe come to battle it out for their shot at glory.
Oh, you're kidding!
And a piece of up to $2 million in prizing.
No pressure, guys. No pressure.
This is the feeling.
It's beautiful!
The once-in-a-lifetime feeling of lifting the trophy at the Brawl Stars World Finals.
Here comes the push. Here's the damage. This is now the crunch time.
This is the game.
Immediately taken down.
Still not going to fall. He refuses to die.
The game you love. This is the Brawl Stars Championship. Let's get ready to brawl.
Well, the first monthly finals bracket in North America for the year of Brawl Stars Championship is starting to take shape. Our quarterfinals are done and dusted, but I tell you what, explosive and exciting matches, and to quite ready. The scoreline, not always telling that you were worried when I was going to quote you on, weren't you? Especially with what we talked about in the break, big guy. Don't worry. I'm a professional, baby. Look, that last match at 3-0 there for Luminosity, but West Coast really put up a fight. Both teams looked like ready. They had really solid drafts. The execution, though, not even lacking for West Coast, just that much better for Luminosity.
Pretty much. I think that a lot of what we saw for West Coast were responses to what LG were trying. We saw moments where, especially when I talk about like dueling beetles, that was a really, really great set because we saw moments where West Coast, they were able to get their setup and they were able to win it. But somehow we saw LG manage to claw it back. And by somehow, I really mean they brought Mortis. They knew exactly what the win condition was going to be. Chino's a great Mortis. They like playing it as well. So you know, maybe it wasn't just a pure stroke of brilliance. Maybe it was like, dude, LOL, I could Mortis here and it would probably work. Regardless, it was awesome. I really enjoyed watching it. It was a great display of skill for both teams.
Kenny, let's reset because we're about to head into our semi-finals. Get us up to speed on what our bracket has been like so far, especially those B-string games.
I got to catch remaining 7 versus real ones while y'all were on the A stream, and I'm not gonna lie, banger of a match. 3-2 came down to the final set. It was somewhat of a convincing final set, I might add, but the journey to get there had me on the edge of my seat. Real ones put on a great performance. There were several sets where they were dominant, going edge to edge with somebody like remaining 7, where it's a team last year that were very close to making LCQ. It came down to a final month, in fact. There's a world we live in where CMG of last year or Tribe Gaming maybe get eliminated in that spot. So they were right there with them. They put 2 of 6 monthly finals up last year. This is a really serious team. I think Luminosity, obviously 3-0ing West Coast that you guys covered, makes it look easy, but remaining 7 might be a little bit harder of an opponent.
Absolutely. Looking for a really close match in that second semi-final. Let's move on and talk predictions. Okay. Got any CDs on your desk ready? Because I'm seeing these predictions and something don't quite line up.
Well, you know, we'll see if you can sort of stomach these predictions because, yeah, I've definitely gone contrary to what the other folks at the desk are thinking, and maybe what a lot of people in the audience are thinking as well. What I observed last year for this roster, this SSG roster, was they actually had a winning record over Tribe. They were able to defeat Tribe 3 times, and Tribe beat them back just 2 times. I think that Space Station Gaming have probably also focused a lot of their attention on just this match versus Tribe, and the exact same thing is said for Tribe. A lot of this is me just going with my gut here. I'm sort of going off the rails saying, you know what, maybe Space Station go at this time because Tribe is kind of the correct answer here.
Again, we did see Tribe, you know, suffer at their hands on multiple occasions. I think, yeah, Toast winning, you know, 2 monthly finals, obviously back when they were with that team, when they beat Tribe. So this team is, yeah, definitely pretty scary. I don't have an issue with that pred. I think it could sort of go either way here. But let's jump in. Let's start to tee this one up a little bit. Tribe Gaming, something we haven't seen on the A stream yet this month. Kenny, as I hand it over to you guys to take it away, it feels like Tribe, they haven't really missed a beat.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tribe Gaming are in a spot where they come out the World Finals. You know, tough loss last year. That's kind of the last spot we saw them in, right? Losing to SK, it's an upset. But I'm going to counter Reddy's hot take with I don't think it's a hot take. I feel like this one at home should be pretty evenly matched. I mean, I end up picking Tribe just because they get the more consistent year last year. They've been a Brawl name for a long time. I feel like a lot of the folks at home, though, Reddy, are going to end up picking SSG like you, though.
Really, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I just had the opposite thought. I really think that a lot of people are going to put their faith in Tribe Gaming. I think Tribe Gaming has a lot of fans as well, possibly more than SSG, at least as a roster that's also this org re-entering Brawl Stars after being gone for 2 years. I believe, well, you know what, maybe we'll predict the predictions, what people in the audience think is actually going to happen. I still put my faith in SSG. I know it's going to be a close match. I know that with my entire heart. But Tribe Gaming, this is going to be a fearsome roster for SSG to face up against.
And of course, we did mention that they were on the B stream. They got through pretty convincingly, a 3-0 fashion against Real Dudes, which is a great story as well. Nala, of course, being the second woman to ever be at the top 8 stage here in North America, which is an awesome thing in and of itself. But Tribe Gaming take down and a very good roster on the other end. They're all in the same room as well. I like the background. We got Zulon as Livy, Coach Corey there on the cam as well, and a lot of Bruce the Bear supporting them.
Wow, I love this background for Tribe Gaming. You can see that they're in the Tribe Gaming office in Austin, Texas for some of that delicious Dallas ping. Let's talk about their opposition, though. Space Station Gaming. This org now re-entering Brawl Stars after several years, but the players still the same. You might even recognize them as being part of CMG last year. We're talking Toast, RBM, and Fade. These guys went to LCQ, and folks, they were in the group of death. But on top of that, they had a pretty rough time. They lost both of their matches, didn't make it to the next day, but they're back with a vigor.
Anything can happen, especially at LCQ where it's a best 2 of 3 rather than we get the 3 of 5 kind of setting. You know, we love to see it from North America. I think they had a strong representation last year. It's a team we got to talk about a little earlier today. It's somebody that you've rightfully, I think, put your faith in too. Not to mention as well Space Station Gaming. You brought up a great point, which honestly I didn't even remember or really recognize, was the rivalry last year was good, but the fact that they actually won this rivalry specifically with Tribe, I think is very telling of the skills that these guys have. So I think they are definitely in a contending spot for one of these top 2 spots in the region. Everybody, of course, on the hunt in these 5 monthly finals to go get one of those 2 guaranteed world spot, because I know after their experience last year at LCQ, they do not want to go through that again.
Not at all. We'll see what they're able to make happen as we start off on Minecart Madness. A bit of an open mid and some lanes that can lend themselves to some close-range brawlers. Okay, well, it looks like I won the prediction, Kenny, because only 23% have voted for SSG, so I guess my prediction is the underdog here.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there would be a lot more representation for SSG. I thought, you know, especially with them getting picked up by a really well-known org, I thought, you know, my hot take countering your hot take clearly did not work out. I thought this was going to be more of a 60-40 type beat, but the community at home seems to be riding with Tribe Gaming. Uninterestingly, though, and not a hot take, Angelo and Larry and Lori being banned makes complete sense to me.
Well, let's see these first picks as well. Cordelius is a classic first pick here on Minecart Madness, judging by some of the bans as well. Just getting rid of the most powerful brawlers that are here, basically. Max is an important ban for Tribe Gaming. It's a very valuable brawler to pick 2-3. Space Station Gaming have gone with the Charlie and the Bell. I think that they've taken a valuable mid for Tribe Gaming here, and they're going to have to decide what they're going to go with. Piper is always an option into the Bell, one that Tribe Gaming might be wanting to consider because they have gotten rid of one of her biggest counters, which is Max. Just things with speed in general, but now that Charlie and Bell have hypercharges, they can basically get max speed just by popping the purple button.
Starting to see some commonality here, right? You mentioned it. 3 hypercharges for 3 brawlers picked so far. Also adding up to, these are very common picks. All 3 of these brawlers are top 5 coming into this tournament from the other 3 regions. Charlie being the most picked brawler so far this weekend, and of course Belle right there with her. I do not mind an Amber though. I think Amber a pretty nice one just to spray down, get some nice control. You know, we got the minecart, and especially if you can kind of corral enemies and use the landscape of the map and the minecart to pin your enemies, Amber can just shred right through that. Meg bringing a lot of HP into the building as well. A very diverse comp, and I think they've got utility to try and get some good retakes, which we saw them perform in a gym grab set earlier today. So I think Tribe Gaming, or excuse me, I think Tribe Gaming are going to be well equipped with that.
I think they've covered a lot of bases here. The only thing that I see that they haven't addressed is wall break. Maybe Zulon can put someone in the Shadow Realm, and that's a good counterplay to a tank last pick. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked to see like the Fade Buster, though. We see some other counterplay here as well. I think Meg is going to be pretty good into the Bell. Yes, she can get marked, but Meg is just known for being fairly consistent into these. Ooh, and there's actually the Ashe, which is likely headed over to RBM. Just a great Ashe player. Looking to set up, at least from the point of view of Tribe, at the bottom left, just behind some of those obstacles, go for the spawn trap for Tribe Gaming. Let me say something else, though. I do not envy whoever has to play into that Amber. I see it very realistically going over to Tyrant, who is known to be a psychotically good Amber player. I've also heard that he fires his shots individually, which is going to have to, as he's in Austin, Texas at the moment. But it's also going to be good into the Charlie Spiders. I think another important thing to note.
Psychotically good. What a way to describe a play. I don't want to mess with that guy. You persuaded me. Ashe on the other end, though. I know how good RBM is, that brawler, but right now he's just getting sprayed down by his Livy and Zulon. It's clearly a focus for Tribe Gaming. A ton going into that one. Some healing gears, or excuse me, gadgets for two teams here. And a Cocoon, not going to quite pay off. Well, I've scratched that. That was insane. A little pop-out survival, and then countering to the enemy team, having them drop their gems, as Livy's lucky he could pick those up.
Yeah, very nice here for Fade as he picks up 4 gems total. Tyrant trying to spawn away from RBM and Fade, looking to spawn trap Toast. Getting a good mutually assured destruction there on the back lines, but that's all it really is a trade. It doesn't get them any value at mid. And I see RBM hanging out behind these walls. No wall break for Tribe Gaming. It's going to come down to Tyrant to actually deal with this. Zulon does manage to get some good damage on RBM. We see the hypercharge pop for Fade as well, as Livy marked up. It's just value on value for Space Station Gaming. They need one more gem. Tyrant gets a takedown, but Toast also gets the takedown. He's up to 8 gems. He picks up that next one. Gonna go for the other one. RBM carrying that 9th gem for them, so one more would be ideal. RBM's looking for the tree he likely won't get as he's pinched on the left side. Tries to use a minecart for cover, but no dice just yet.
And tough to overtake this Toast, a more than comparable gym carrier here. The minecart there to defend. RBM standing in their path as well. Should be easy pickings. And SSG with a little surprise game number 1.
That was also surprising for me too, because we saw such a good take for Tribe Gaming right off the beginning of the game. The other thing though is once we saw RBM get into position with Ashe, they were blocked off from entering mid for so long. All they had was really an Amber super to get some damage on him. They didn't have a Cordelia super to factor him out of the equation. I didn't see any jumping from Tyrant either, so we'll see if he does get some jumps in here, some valuable things. Maybe he's running the mute, just haven't seen the action from it just yet.
RBM playing the role really well, using a lot of enemy utility, gadgets, shots, all of that, and it's allowing Fade and Toast to kind of branch out. A nice benefit that they have too. RBM not necessarily going to be the best gym carry, at least in terms of strategy, right? You want your aggressive brawler to be able to just go up recklessly if needed, but having Toast and Charlie, who are going to be able to play a little bit longer range, stay back, and also have the Cocoon capabilities too. A nice tech with Charlie's super is if you're the gym carrier in the enemy team and get hit with a Cocoon, you drop your gym. So that's an easy way for Space Station Gaming to pick up some extras.
It's one of the biggest reasons that she's so good on gym grab. Fade's going to go for it. A miss onto his Livy, still spawns some spiders, and the takedown onto Zulon. Toast looks to get the pinch with RBM. RBM ends up feeding the super, but it's a complete miss for Tyrant. He was probably trying to get Toast into the Shadow Realm and then move behind enemy lines. Didn't factor out to anything though. RBM now having to let this minecart pass as Livy's taking major damage as well. And Fade has yet another super to make someone drop their gems.
Good news for Tribe, at least in terms of gym carrier capabilities, is this Livy has 2 lives, essentially. If you knock Meg out of the robot, at least she's going to go down to her lower form and kind of have a pistol at least to work with, but more importantly, won't necessarily drop those gems in that spot, as Tyrant picks up a very pivotal takedown here. 62 HP, Meg back in full form, a couple of gems on their side as well. They need to be careful, though. There are a lot of nest eggs on the ground. They're going to trigger the first one, but they still have 2 more they have to go against, along with this giant minecart.
That one hurts. The moment that his Livy tripped that nest egg was Fade was blocked off by that minecart. He could have used his super if it weren't blocked off, but now he's flashing. He has his hypercharge. Good shot calling on the right side. Zulon's eliminated, and Fade looks for the super. No dice, though. He's not going to get much value of this hypercharge, it looks like. Yeah, go ahead. Spawn the spiders. He can at least get some value from there. Does also manage to see those spiders taken down by Zulon. RBM now trying to run it back with all of these gems. Tyrant has Fade in the Shadow Realm, but he's going to spawn right on top of RBM. Space Station run back with this one with 18 gems over their head and a set win.
They made it look easy, all things considered, too. I think Space Station Gaming, you know, we had the early on game number 1 where one little play probably could have changed that up a little bit. We see Charlie enter Cocoon form for herself, Cocoon an enemy brawler with 200 HP, and then walk away with a bunch of gems. And after that, they were able to use the terrain of the map to their advantage. Again, playing into that minecart a little bit is a big deal. I like having Charlie in general, one, because I think she's a fantastic brawler right now, but also for that game mode specifically. Again, there's just so much that they can do. If you put the enemies in cocoons, they're dropping their gems. If you're in a tough spot, she can pop her gadget and just get out of harm's way, at least for a second, and then that buys time for minecart, for Ash to move forward, whatever it may be, to kind of hit the enemies. I just felt like Tribe Gaming were getting punched in the mouth kind of that whole set.
That's what it felt like. I think this draft was just pretty typical, is the thing. We saw the ordinary counters, and look, no complaints about the Amber. She's really good here, and she's great into Charlie, so just a good pick overall. But I think that what Tribe Gaming went with was just not good enough versus that tank last pick. Now, we saw some bans of the aggressive stuff from Tribe Gaming, but Space Station Gaming, they have one of the best tanks in North America. They have RBM. Fade is also known for being a good buster, which was also not banned. So I wonder how this one snuck through. I think that Tribe Gaming's draft was just really ordinary, and Space Station Gaming were able to predict that and use that very well.
Taking advantage of those balance changes a little bit too. I mean, the kill category, they're getting blown out of the water. Like I said, just punched in the mouth. It felt like Space Station Gaming were constantly aggressive. And a lot of the times I feel like too, especially on a gym grab game mode where positioning is a big deal, it felt like Toast, RBM, and Fabe were just pressing Tribe Gaming to their back lines. And once Zulon, as Livy, and Tyrant were falling back, where the minecart was coming at them, where RBM was coming at them with an Ash, they just could never really step up and grab kills of their own, grab gems. It felt like it was just a constant advantage for Space Station.
And it looks like draft-wise, we also started to get an idea of this just before the games had even been played. We both broke down these comps, or at least Tribe Gaming's comp, as covering basically all of the bases, just being a consistent, pretty safe composition, which is sort of the way that Tribe plays. They like to play control, and they like to play it safe. This one did not work well into them. Usually control falters at the hands of aggression, which is what Space Station decided to go with. It won them the game. Now we're moving into Knockout. This is a mode that really rewards passivity. Bell's Rock, I also know for SSG, is a pretty polarizing map in that it is one of their least favorite maps. I know Fade has recalled to me on one occasion that it is one of his least favorite maps in the game, perhaps his least favorite, as they have lost some really important maps here. So we'll see if that lends its way to more practice for Space Station Gaming, but oh my god, the Sprout first pick, they do not want his Livy to have that Sprout.
I agree. Again, Sprout has been a brawler that's a top 5 banned brawler so far this week, and it doesn't compare to the likes of somebody like Angelo or Larry and Lori that you see there, but nonetheless, other regions are clearly prioritizing this, and I think the Hypercharge is a huge contributor for that, especially with Larry taken out. You kind of have a choice, right? I think Tick and Sprout realistically are probably the 2 most likely throwers coming out here. The occasional Grom maybe, but I think Tick and Sprout a little bit better for me, and Sprout, especially in that spot, like I said, where he's the only one of those throwers I mentioned with the Hypercharge, can make a huge difference. Tribe Gaming gonna take Tick on that front, especially after the backs of the Sprout pick. I feel like they maybe could have waited on that though. I would be really surprised if Space Station Gaming had in mind 2 throwers.
Yeah, I think that might be what they go for. Look at their bans, too. I mean, they really want to pick some throwers here. They ban out 2 brawlers with pulls, one that can literally just jump over the walls and go for a thrower first pick. This is why bans are like the secret sauce. You just cannot let anyone see your bans because it 100% reveals what you're going to go for in the draft. Another thing that I observed when just watching the scrims for these teams, particularly Tribe Gaming, is they seem to get a thrower last pick really, really consistently. So with that knowledge, Space Station Gaming are probably trying to remove that possibility for them and just pick it up for themselves.
Very true, and especially like you mentioned too, as Livy very powerful with Sprout in hand. So I think just kind of knowing about your enemy, knowing how strong that brawler can be for yourself, I think the wall, especially with that Hypercharge, just adds pressure. You can see it kind of on the map too. It could be some really close quarters if you don't have any wall break, if that storm's moving in, so you can really put the pressure on the enemy team and kind of craft the map the way you want. Bell has just been nothing but consistent. The win rate pretty 50-50, but it's clearly a safe option. It's got the long range. Of course, the Hypercharge being added makes it basically a free super shot if you want to use it, adding the extra baseline stats. And then on top of that, they're going to add a monster truck right next to it in Meg. So I think this is overall, again, I'm really impressed with the Space Station Gaming comp. Despite the Sprout first overall, sometimes when you lock yourself into a thrower first, it can make it really tough and easily counterable from the enemy end, but I feel like they've covered all their bases here.
Okay, the Piper last pick from Tribe Gaming. earlier we did see RT picked, but no Piper to follow it. After the balance changes, Piper is actually 2-shot by RT if it pops the gadget immediately after, just because of that HP nerf. So some things go a long way when determining these interactions. Maybe RT sees a little bit of revival. Also just a good pick on knockout in general, because once the poison closes in, you can go into the, quote, Jackie form and get lots of damage from there. For that reason, I expect to see Bell laned up on this match, just ideal. We'll see Toast kind of cycle over to this one and opt to take the lane versus Tyrant. If Toast can get a mark on a Tyrant, that's also really, really good value. It diminishes the usual value that Tyrant gets from HP.
You brought up a great stat there with Piper. Those are the little things that balance changes can do, and especially considering pro players kind of have to make this adjustment into these balance changes with just a few days, that is a huge task to handle and very important. Those micro interactions can go a long way and really change up how you view a brawler, how you view an interaction, when to aggress and when not to, and especially in a game mode where kills are everything. That's a really important call out.
We'll see how Fade presses through this Tick. Usually Tick wins over the Sprout. That's how it's been historically. The goal here is to get to OT, meaning when the poison closes in. So far, RBM's taking a lot of shots from Zulon on the left side. Zulon has that wall break ready to go if he wants. It can jump to the skies to escape a killing blow. Fade takes a little bit of damage on the left. They're just trying to survive here. RBM tanks a shot as well with the use of the toolbox. Looking for the swipe on Zulon. It's no good. The jump away from Zulon too. Only breaking minimal walls. Fade, Toast alive on the back right. No kill there for Tyrant, as Livy's going to have to be the final one standing. RBM looks for that final shot, and there it is. That's round one for Space Station Gaming.
That would have taken some insane leaps and bounds for Tick to come out on top there. It was a really close call. If Bell had gone down a little bit earlier, maybe they could focus elsewhere. But Zulon coming in hot. Sharpshooter shots from downtown. Beautiful plays. And now Tribe Gaming all of a sudden with a super early advantage.
That's the reason there's a pecking order when it comes to sharpshooters. I'm not sure if I've named it off in order, but it goes Angelo, Nanny, Piper, and then Bell at the very bottom, because Bell gets 2-shot by Piper, and Piper gets 1-shot by Nanny, and Nanny gets 1-shot by the Angelo. That's just how it works. Yeah, quick math right there. Rattle it off right off the dome. Right now, Space Station Gamer getting kind of domed by Zulon, as they're just taking damage on the backline. Zulon would love to get a super here, but it's about the last bit of value that he can get. Fade gets taken down next to the mark, and the combination of the shot from Zulon. RBM's the last man standing. Probably the team thinking about what they're going to do in this next round.
First signs of life from Tribe Gaming, too. All it took was Zulon to just be Himothy and get an easy early kill, and I think they're going to switch up their strategy entirely as a result. Zulon this time going left-hand side. Can't quite one-shot something like a Meg here. Going to take a few even from somebody like Piper, who can really tap onto enemies. It's going to be a super in the mid as well. I'm watching for that Sprout hypercharge. I think a properly placed hypercharge / super could be huge for the SSG side.
They might even just use it to tank damage. Nice dodge of the curve there from Zulon. I don't know if it would have killed Fade, but with the extra damage from a shot from his Livy, it certainly would have sent him packing. RBM has his swipe. Not that it's super consequential, but if he moves in close range, he could get good damage on Zulon. Zulon's tapping on the left. Fade's looking for some good value there. One shot onto Zulon. His hypercharge could be valuable. There's the mark on a Tyrant. Toast looks for a big play, but he's got to play cautious. Another shot from Tyrant could be the last one that it takes to kill him. Fade's still holding on to the hypercharge. Just once this poison closes in, it becomes the win condition for Fade. We see the Tick super down. RBM's able to deal with it relatively easily. Now the poison's really starting to close everyone in as we move to OT.
A little early maybe on that Tick head, but now a hypercharge going down. It's going to connect in the mid. Zulon, Tyrant, ushered to the back lines, and the Fog's closing in as well. 3 SSG brawlers properly stance, and Zulon skipping on over into SSG territory. An easy pickup and beautiful plays overall from Space Station Gaming.
Toast is locked in. Cannot afford to show any emotion here, as you just got to stay focused up. This is game number 3 in a row for them, taking down Tribe Gaming, and it was really close. We saw such staunch opposition when it came to Tribe. I loved the way that Libby plays this Tick at mid into that Sprout, because Tick just has longer range than Sprout. What are you going to do? The thing is, Fade was always ready to 3-shot that Tick super when it came down. Now he's playing really aggressive too, taking minimal damage, as for the first time, they've actually pushed Tribe Gaming back really far into their own spawn.
I think this is a good call for SSG too. If Fade can kind of play this properly and dodge out enough of these mines to move RBM up alongside it, that's so much HP for Piper to deal with, and it's just not going to be enough. A Tick head going to do a little bit, but still going to keep RBM in perfectly fine condition to stay in the robotic form, which is definitely the best part of Meg. So going to have to take down RBM twice if they even want 1 kill, and now that it's just down to Tyrant and his Livy, that's looking more and more unlikely.
And it's looking like a rough matchup for Livy. Tyrant's still getting to fight this lane so on the left side, but now he's getting pinched by RBM as well. Fade's also looking hungry. Wants that kill on the Tyrant. As Livy said, yeah, it's chalked. Time to stay away from Fade, and Fade manages to get a super as well. We're seeing two very valuable supers for Space Station Gaming on the outset as we head into round 2.
I believe that's actually a direct quote what he said too. I think in the comms they were probably like, you know what, let's just ship it to the next one, scratch it off. Round 2 was more of Zulon's anyways last time as well, so we'll see if he can make any pop-off plays here. A huge cutoff on the right-hand side though is why it's so frustrating for sharpshooters or single-shot brawlers to play into a Sprout. I think it's showing the value of why it can be a first overall pick and make sense. It just completely cuts off Zulon or Tyrant in this spot from just landing a shot, charging supers. Overall, it's just going to give advantage to SSG.
Livy has this super down. Does Fade have enough shots? Oh my gosh, he has shots for days. As Livy can throw these shots in, but all it's going to do is sap the ammo away from Fade. If Fade makes a mistake, though, then it does work out really, really poorly for him. Fade has his super ready. RBM's out of the mech, which means he's 2-tapped for Zulon. That's a pretty bad scenario. This is made a little bit easier by Fade throwing that down, but now it just means that as Livy gets to switch lanes, and Zulon gets to try and take down Fade. Major lane switches out here. Another tap for Tyrant would mean death for Fade. He gets curved by Zulon. Now it's a 2v3. This is not looking good for SSG. RBM takes that tick super as well. It's a 1 game for Tribe Gaming. GG go next. If RBM can't get his last damage in, that was huge for him. He got them both to very low health. Tribe Gaming take the round regardless.
It was kind of a close call there, honestly. It came down, they each had about 1,500 HP, and the fog hits just about at that number, so maybe 1 tick of fog, and that could have been a different story there. They brought it down to the wire, and obviously when you're playing Meg, using the super in that spot, I feel like is pretty fair. I think it was a hero's effort, and it was actually way closer than I thought it was going to be, so I don't really mind that call from him.
Neither do I. I thought it was about to cast something that just straight up didn't exist. Tribe Gaming almost got clutched up on there. We'll see as Livy pop down this super, though. It's going to be Toast's responsibility. Thankfully, he had the ammo for it. Hypercharge, it misses on a Tyrant. That's a disaster. What a win condition now wasted. And the whole hypercharge that he worked those 2 last rounds for also just going into the dust. Space Station Gaming are all the way backed up. They could go on to set number 3 with 2 sets under their belt, but at the moment, it looks like Tribe Gaming might do that. Instead, bring us to a game 3 of this set.
Major advantage here for Tribe Gaming, not just in positioning, but now in numbers as well. The Fog looking to assist, make this even quicker. Zulon 1 tap away from taking down RBM, who will fade to the Fog, and Tyrant cleans up the rest. It's going to be Tribe Gaming putting 1 up on the board.
Big difference maker this game was actually Zulon, I think. I think he was the single biggest difference. Another thing is that we actually saw some slip-ups from SSG. We saw the missed mark for Toast just a moment ago, where he didn't connect the hypercharge. He aimed it really directly, and then it curved into the wall instead of actually hitting Tyrant. We'll see the lane switch also that gets the early lane advantage for Tribe Gaming. This looks a lot better for them. They can keep Piper on the Bell lane, and things look very good for them. Space Station would like to change this if they can. We see the EU curve, if you will, for Toast. Oh, and Fade falls early. This is a really bad look for SSG.
Very bad, and Toast low HP. Zulon connects RBM with a little extra, and that's all about he can muster. I think that was a little bit of a misstep maybe from Fade, maybe thinking he could be a little more aggressive than he was. He's been stepping up really early on, and that time round as Livy just made it a focus, landed enough mines, they got the follow-through shots, and I think the rest is history. I think that was just maybe a little bit of an overstep.
Look how the lanes have switched now, and look how much better Space Station Gaming are doing. They just cannot have the Bell on the lane versus Piper. It is not a good matchup. RBM taking major damage. Going to walk through all these shots. Now demeched. He's pursuing as Livy still might even be able to get a kill if Fade can chime in. Ooh, looks for the bounce shot as Livy forced to pop that gadget to stay alive, even though it didn't hit him, but Zulon's also dropped to dangerously low health. We'll see no recovery of that wall for Fade. Until now, breaking down some of the bushes. They have Tribe Gaming on the ropes. RBM couldn't get back in the mech in time, and now the 3v2 ensues for Tribe.
Tribe with a lot of really good little plays there. They've cut off Toast as well, which may be a questionable decision as Zulon's able to hold on. The dodges are good enough, dancing through the enemies. Sprout, the last one standing. Tyrant, though, not afraid. Too much HP. Space Station Gaming can't hang, and Tribe Gaming even things out.
Note that Fade didn't even fight for that last one, just in the set as soon as possible. Let's set our sights on the next one, take our focus off of losing this set, because they were so close to victory. They're locked in at the moment. What a nice set victory there for Tribe. They really did bring themselves back from nearly losing. And I attribute a good amount of that to Zulon popping off in Game 2 and Game 3. He was hitting his curves. He was hitting some good shots without the curve as well. You saw that lane diff as well. That wasn't just Piper being better than Bell. That was the 1v1. Each of them were one shot towards the end of that last round, and Toast unfortunately fell to Zulon, and it was pretty much decided from there.
Zulon did a lot of little things right there towards the end. I'm hoping our replay cam maybe catches that, but especially in that final round that we saw, Zulon was hovering over that super button. He could have faded off and tried to put his enemies in a bad spot, but he holds on, doesn't elect to use it, dodges instead, and I think just uses some great mechanics there. This is a spot, though, where all you could do is really hop into the enemy territory. Really early, good start there from Space Station Gaming. I think they're still very much in this. It's felt very even the whole way through. A little more one-sided, of course, in our first set, but Zulon, I think, really came alive there. We saw him give a big advantage to Tribe Gaming in the first game overall that they took. And I think that's just a big thing with Piper as well. You kind of gave the pecking order of sharpshooters right now and even displayed some math behind it, which I might add is impressive. But it's very true. Piper, the fact that they got that later on than Bell also helps. And a missed damage amplifier from Toast. We saw what they could do with that brawler and how it clutched up for them in their first match of the day. And I think missing that can be very, kind of leading to a worse result than they would have liked.
It's time for me to reveal a little bit more knowledge that I have that I didn't share because I didn't think it would matter too much. I've been seeing some Piper selections in the Tribe Gaming scrims that were obviously not the first pick. And so enabling that Piper pick for yourself as a last pick seems to be something that they've been practicing, and it worked out. I like the way that Space Station Gaming really did make this close, though, with a Sprout first pick. Usually something like that is a total throw, but the bans were just right to nearly get them the victory. They're only one round away from winning this entire set with a Sprout first pick.
5 for his Livy, 8 for Zulon. I mean, just looking at the kill count, honestly, it was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. It makes the stat make it look way more one-sided, I believe, than it does than what I had originally thought. But Space Station Gaming, I mean, in a game mode of kills, they just simply couldn't keep up. I think the 8 is certainly something that stands out to me as well. That was really impressive stuff. And now we're hopping into another game mode, relying on kills. A very different map, of course. This is going to be Excel, but no surprise, Angelo off the board, Charlie off the board, and Larry off the board for Tribe Gaming. And yeah, I expected as a result Space Station Gaming would have that first overall pick.
Still some important brawlers left open. We see that Piper left open, Bell, of course, left open. I look more to Space Station Gaming's bans to reveal what they're thinking of here. I see that Ruff's pretty frequently played by Tribe Gaming. The Sprout is Livy favorite. The Jessie one, it doesn't really mystify me because she is a good brawler. She has a hypercharge. She can place the turret behind walls and deny a lot of value for you. I think another thing is just on this map, the nature of how people play it. You can ricochet those shots off of enemies quite effectively, since they might be crowded around mid pretty tightly. Zulon on the Gray, I think, is a great option. A pull here is super valuable. That's why you see Toast go for the Gene. And then Zulon also goes for basically the next best thing when it comes to the pull game. But he also has good teleport game when it comes to delivering an opponent to the enemy side. It enables a last pick for them that could be a tank or something if they so desire.
Gray always stands out to me on this map in particular, too. I think at a pro level, Gray really starts to shine because he does have that sharpshooter, single shot kind of capability, right? But on top of that, he has the dimensional door and he has the walking cane. So he's got capabilities of taking down throwers. And I think the combinations that he has on this map, on the B stream of EMEA yesterday, I got to catch a Jackie and Gray combination that actually ended up working out pretty good here. So you can usually use that as like your final pick as a flex spot, if you will. You know, they take the Bell here as another safe sharpshooter, but I think at the end, depending on what SSG pick, they could get really aggressive with maybe not necessarily Jackie, but pick your favorite aggressive kind of brawler that's up in your face, or they could just go for something standard. And well, it looks like the other side is really believing in the Ashe. They've gone this several times today, Reddy, and it's really the only team across the world that's done so.
Yeah, I do want to point out real quickly that as soon as you start to see this stuff, I mean, it's basically going to be a thrower or a Rico last pick for Tribe Gaming. It's as Livy on the Rico, possibly. We've seen it King Zoo on that Rico as well, but I feel like this is an as Livy brawler. You see RBM and Fade on that amazing combo. Yep, it is Rico Livy today. Space Station Gaming, though, I really do like the Max. Toast has to zoom out of there early. I think one of the mentalities here with Max is I have a lot of speed. I can get that blue star. Now, they're going to have to play aggro into Tribe Gaming, which was probably their plan anyway. Look how RBM gets almost all of his rage off of just a single hit versus Tyrant. That is what this Ashe buff has done in the second to last set of balance changes. Unfortunately for Space Station Gaming, it hasn't worked out so well so far.
Still a good day, though. The fact that we're seeing some personality come out of the draft picks and everybody kind of staying true to themselves, even though I think somebody like Rico, very popular in this map, love to see Rico for his Livy, love to see Ash for RBM. It's kind of awesome to see some of these more throwback brawlers for these guys still stay true. And Tyrant, I think, in a great spot as well. We do have the aggressive RBM on Ash, but Tyrant has a teleport. If he's in a bad spot, he can just run away. He's also going to be able to open up the map, some perfect shots connecting there, a teleport in, a follow-through as well, and a 7-0 lead from Tribe Gaming.
Definitely misplay there for Zulon just a moment ago. He used his hypercharge in a super, but didn't manage to make contact. Probably just a slip of the finger. Did pop that hyper for additional speed and probably look to connect with an enemy later on. RBM's hovering over this teleport exit for Tyrant. He was eliminated by him last time he ventured over to this area. Little bit of damage from his Livy with the use of the gadget. Fade's looking for a pull, but he needs someone at his side to fully facilitate it. Tyrant's going to go for it again. Another free kill with the use of the teleport. It's 0-11 in favor of Tribe Gaming.
I mean, if they keep this rate up, it's going to be a 20-0. There's still 30 seconds to go, and SSG aren't even on the board. They couldn't even grab the blue star at the beginning. Even with the extra speed coming in from Max, they're going to have to pull off something impressive as Livy, with gadgets to spare as well, working these angles very carefully into somebody like Gene, who can only hit for chip shots, so it's going to have to rely on Toast here to come in and help out. Another teleport already charged for Tyrant. He's looking for more, though, going for a perfect star rank. 17 now, and they finish the job here. Not just a team wipe, a complete 20 bomb coming in from Tribe Gaming.
Wow, and was almost 20-0 if RBM hadn't gotten that last second kill onto a defenseless Tyrant. That is bad for SSG. I'll tell it like it is. They obviously expected this to go differently because Rico is such a typical pick on this map that you sometimes even see it as a first pick. The only thing it leaves you vulnerable to is stuff like throwers or maybe a Miko, which was not banned out here, so I can see why it was safe till last. And that's why I think Space Station Gaming also expected this to be a last pick. They knew exactly what they were signing up for, but their math is not working out.
Tyrant's just been unbelievable on Gray, too. Walking Canes connecting, teleport for follow-throughs, the kill confirms, another one going through as well. RBM just trying to walk up the map, but he's playing this right-hand lane, which has been completely erased because it's wide open now, making it easier for Bell. Another one for Tyrant as well. Zulon with the follow-through, and Toast just trying to fend for his life against his Livy, who has all the angles in the world.
Minute 15 on the clock. We already see Tyrant's completely out of gadgets. Space Station Gaming boasting an Ash that's marked up on the right. It's easy pickings for Zulon and Tyrant if he ventures in range, which he's gonna have to if he wants to get any value. He has to eat all of his rage also to heal up, and Tyrant continues to look for the poke. As Livy's gonna get pulled here, that's an easy kill for Toast. He's still looking for his next speed to appropriately push in. It's 4-3 with Tribe Gaming in the lead.
Dominant game number one, much different story here in game number two. One kill now being grabbed for Space Station Gaming, which only puts him down one. A marked up RBM could make a difference, though. Uses a super, connects RBM, low HP, the damage amplifier putting in a lot of work, and the ricocheting shots coming in from his Livy, adding up here. Now all of a sudden they've expanded to 9-3. Little more safety for Tribe Gaming.
Okay, missed shots there for Zulon as Fade managed to graze past them. RBM looking for the aggression. A little bit of slowing action onto Toast. Free kill onto RBM. Toast also free kill for Tyrant, but as Livy gets the last shot, Fade is the last one standing on the right side. We got 15 seconds for another push in for Space Station Gaming, and the math is kind of adding up. If they can get a team wipe, they can make it happen. Everyone's backing up. They're looking for the last second clutch. 5 seconds left. Now the hypercharge is popped as Livy picks up 1-2 kills. A full team wipe in response, and Tribe Gaming take a flawless set.
All right, now I'm nervous. SSG started so strong, and that set right there was some peak Tribe Gaming action. Like you mentioned earlier, last year this roster actually took more against Tribe than Tribe took against them. That's a really big deal and some great insight. But that set number 3 was unbelievable, and everybody doing their part too, I might add. Game number 1, that was a Gray's world to live, and we just lived in it. But Zulon popped off, had a bunch of stars on his noggin for the second one, as Livy on the Rico, a comfort pick, some great choices. That's just a map that's Rico's playground, man. Even if you try and tear up the map with Gray, some walking canes go through, there's enough angles and random walls in the middle of the map where you can make it work. Great draft, and even more importantly, better mechanics.
Mechanics looking on point. I think we did see some valuable stuff in there. I think we saw Space Station get what they wanted, at least in, okay, scoreline aside, forget about the stars, forget about the kills. I think they got the ability combinations that they wanted. We saw them frequently get that speed onto Fade, onto RBM. In theory, this is a really good combo because max speed plus Gene equals a free pull. It's really hard to not hit it, honestly, when you have all that speed. RBM just playing Ashe with the speed. Any tank with speed is going to be good. Ashe is also just a comfort pick for RBM. I think we saw some good ideas from Space Station Gaming. The problem is that this was a rough draft for them. I think once they got to that 4-5 pick, they knew what they had to do, but it was not going to win them the game, considering they were still going to play into as Livy on that Rico.
Sensational stats coming in for Tribe Gaming too. 2 brawlers, 400 plus DPS. Like I said, everybody doing their part. 6s across the board, and on the enemy side, they could only muster up 2 kills in 2 games. 50 DPS, 75 DPS, and on the other end, the grass is greener. Tribe Gaming putting on a clinic. Goodness gracious.
Every single one of them, we saw good mechanics. We saw Zulon lining up the shots onto Ashe on the right lane once Tyrant had opened them up, hitting just about every single walking cane, as Livy was holding it down on the other side of the arena where the walls weren't broken open. Just the synergy between these brawlers and between the teammates was looking on point in this last set. If they can replicate this kind of thing in a safe zone, then they're in for a victory.
An impressive one, to say the least. The stats showed it, the gameplay showed it. It was a lot of fun to watch, but would love to see SSG step back up to more what we saw from them earlier. This is a good team. That set does not show who they are. They're going to have to hold on here, though. They've given the advantage to Tribe Gaming, who are up 2-1. And as we enter safe zone, no Chuck and no Angelo. Those are the first 2 brawlers that come to mind for me, leading me to believe that Tribe Gaming might have the first overall pick, considering what our band stages are.
Yeah, just looking at these, I mean, they scream first pick. We'll see what the first selection is. Zulon picking up that Nanny. With Piper open, it kind of denies the Piper. They might still be forced to run it anyway. I think it's just a good selection when it comes to Heist in general. I look to Nanny to do better on Bridge Too Far than on Safe Zone, though. So I think they're going to have to get a bit of wall break in here to make it super effective. There's a Bonnie. Oh, I predicted Space Station Gaming to win here, and they're selecting the Bonnie. I really want to trust in the math, but we just have not seen Bonnie do well so far. So I might actually have to vote against them this time.
Does make me a little nervous too. Bonnie has about a 42% win rate from the other 3 regions combined this weekend, and definitely a decent amount of plays. Obviously, monthly files in general, just 1 month, 1 smaller sample size, but I'm with you. I get it though. Has a lot of HP, can dive into the safe, paired with something safe, secure like a Bell. Understood, but I definitely think they're going to have to look for something with a lot of DPS that can quickly get to a heist safe. I feel like one of the common mistakes we see in general on heist maps is not equipping yourself with quick retakes, with quick damage. And somebody like Nani, Brock, if they had decided to show up with that, has the rocket rain. There's a lot of quick and easy ways to have access to a high safe that I don't necessarily feel like outside of the dive coming in from Bonnie that they really have yet.
Okay, next selection is Eve. I'm definitely supportive of this one. Just a good, consistent pick on this map. You're able to float over the water. You're able to hold down that right lane, assuming you're the home team, very effectively, because you can just float right over it. Those unbreakable walls were installed some time ago, and honestly, it might even be a distant memory that they were ever not there. Here's the 8-bit pick from Tribe Gaming. I think that this one isn't amazing into Bell, but still has a lot of durability. And also, one of his major counters is also taken out. We see that Colette has now been factored out of the equation. So I think that, honestly, this should be okay into the Bell. There's the fade, Sam. This could honestly be RBM. I think we've seen RBM play the Bell quite frequently, but I do put my faith in fade also to run up some Sam. So it's going to come down to Zulon to actually break a wall to make that Sam less effective, I think.
There's definitely 2 polar opposites of comps, though. We've got Sam, who's going to be looking to get up close and personal with some of these brawlers. Tyrant, on the other hand, is one of the slowest ones out there. Now I'm switching to Zulon, of course, but 8-bit is just slow and steady. He's got a lot of HP, but in order to get him set up and properly dishing out damage on that high safe, you really have to establish him up top, and it doesn't help when one of your teammates has gone down. He relies on control, and now he sees both of his teammates disappear, all SSG right now.
RBM's equipped with the super. No wall break just yet. He might just have to go for it. He's on no health. A little bit of damage. No, actually not even a scrap of damage. Fade's going to try and hold over here. We see Nanny on the back lines. So Tribe Gaming are just going to be forced to work around this wall unless Nanny decides to go for an explosion on this 2x2. Fade has lots of area to work around. He's taking a ton of damage in the meanwhile, too, as Livy firing away at this safe, doing so much already below 40%, rather above 40%, now even above 70% damage dealt to the safe by Tribe.
everything's coming crumbling down for SSG as Livy was able to put in so much work and get so much value out of his life that Zulon on the other end was able to take some shots as well. Fade falling once again too. Fade really is only going to get value out of this brawler if he's making the enemy waste shots, if he's getting to the other end, if he's gaining his teammates' positioning. So the fact that they've been able to take him out and eradicate him so quickly, it's just adding up for Tribe domination.
Fade threw his knuckle busters away from the wall. He wasn't able to get them over the water, meaning he couldn't even have a chance of taking down Zulon. We're below 10% left on the safe. Zulon looks for the final hammering shots to take it down. And Tribe Gaming are going on to match point.
Match point for Tribe over a rival of last year, somebody who got the best of them multiple times, that took monthly finals away for them. They're looking for revenge. This one's a little bit of a grudge match and a lot of respect between these two teams, but the last couple sets, man, it's been all Tribe Gaming. They have woken up. They had a bitter end to last year in 2023, and they're looking to start 2024 a little better. A trip to the grand finals would definitely be that.
Tribe Gaming looking good. They've been cooking in the offseason, and they're replicating that success here and now. Good takedown to Fade early on. Another one for Livy. And here comes what's likely a teleport. Yes, even using the Warp Blast so that RPM couldn't get any damage, and a takedown after Bonnie had landed. We've not seen any value for RBM on the Bonnie here. He just has not connected with the safe. He's always dead on arrival after he supers.
And now they're already on enemy's territory as well. RBM diving in, does manage to get the pick up here this time. Fade now expanding his path as well, juggling the heals, trying to get as much space for his team as possible. This one much more neck and neck, only 6% being the difference maker here. Some nest eggs getting set up as well. They want to trip up Tribe Gaming as much as possible here, and Fade in prime position to cause a ruckus. Not going to be able to do much other than get Tyrant for now. On the other end is Livy. Again, another game of just causing so much damage. That's that quick heist save damage I was talking about in our pre-game analysis.
Colossal connections anytime Livy's able to get on that safe, and he's able to do it using the gadget, which makes it almost free. He just has to get a super, which isn't too challenging as Nanny, especially when you outrange every single target you're up against. Okay, there's a connection from Toast, managed to hit that hypercharge, which isn't particularly challenging, but it is important that they've marked Zulon does fall in the middle of his hypercharge. RBM is out of his depth. He can't deal with all of these hatchlings. We see also the teleport back from 8-Bit. Just a few more percent to go. Is Livy 3 shots from him would seal the deal. Zulon's got it. The teleport over. No one to defend. Toast tries to face tank, but it's no good. Tribe Gaming are going on to the semifinals.
That was pretty slick right there, Reddy. An unpredictable 8-bit turret. Most of the time, they're going to put it by those posts by the pond on the right-hand side. Instead, though, predicts the Bonnie jump, throws it on the enemy side, and free shots to secure the set. Those last two sets, it's going to be tough for anybody to take down Tribe Gaming if they play like that.
Unfortunate outcome for SSG here. I still do think the Bonnie, it just has not worked this month when it comes to the finals. But it's not even that. This was a really, really well-played match from them. They got out-drafted, I think, in the last set. They got out-drafted here as well, but I think they might have out-drafted themselves. All things said, though, at least our first couple of sets, I think indisputably well-matched sets that were a huge display of skill for both teams.
I think SSG certainly have brighter days. They've shown they compete with Tribe Gaming as well, and I think it's just gonna, kind of leave a bitter taste in their mouths after these last two sets, but I think they can hold their head up high on some of the other ones. I think they've certainly competitive. I certainly think they're in the mix. This is a team that's consistently improved every year. They just got to get over the hump and try and take over a region, and getting one of those top 2 spots in NA, especially now that it's no more NA East, NA West, they got to be the top dogs in all of North America.
Well, let's talk over some of these replays from the last set. We saw some good moves in from Space Station Gaming. We saw them get that Sam into position early on in the first game, but it quickly began to fall apart. I want to point out the way that Zulon's playing the 8-Bit. A lot of times you see this run up mid, and sometimes it can be challenging to play a Nanny at mid because her shot has to fan out before it comes back together to deal full damage. The way that 8-Bit was placed here, or was played here, was kind of unorthodox. A lot of uses of the teleport using the cheat cartridge, and interesting placement. Boosted Booster just gave Tyrant a really, really small window that he was able to fire through. Check out the DPS for Tribe Gaming, though. Of course, they are facing against a Sam that is constantly trying to bombard them and feeding them damage, but it's still a lot of kills. That is a lot of time that you are disabling an enemy opponent.
as Livy with, I'm going to say, not only 258 damage, I'm saying that like it's a bad thing because, in comparison, it's 409 and 309. I mean, some insane stats. I think the reason he's lower in the kill category is because he was obliterating a high safe on the other end. Everybody was just in full force coming in through that set on Tribe Gaming's side. And again, some of the DPS numbers are nice for Toast and RPM, but the kill category is just too much of an outclass from Tribe Gaming in order to do much. I think the Sam pick ultimately didn't work out. I feel like that was a very particular brawler that they wanted it, and we kind of saw that throughout the match too. SSG are going to do what SSG do, and I respect that, but sometimes it's not going to work out. MVP though going Zulon's way, and I think especially after the Piper gameplay we saw for him, I think it's going to make sense.
Well, have to hand it to the guy. And of course, that was voted for you guys on event.brawlstars.com, where I would highly encourage you guys to go to vote for your MVP, get some cool in-game rewards, blah, 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 star drops, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's it for our very last qualification to the next match. So we're going to be headed to the next one very, very shortly. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship, powered by Samsung Galaxy, is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Welcome back, folks, to the Brawl Stars Championship powered by the Snapdragon Pro Series. That's right, the yappings will continue until morale improves. We are back, and our second semi-final is on the docket. Remaining 7 esports had a close one to get them here. Luminosity also were put to the test, but had a much cleaner scoreline coming out of their quarterfinal. We just saw Tribe Gaming advance to the grand final, so we now know what is on the line for both of these two. But ready, set, let's get refreshed on this lower side of our bracket.
Now we're talking remaining 7 esports going up against Luminosity. Remaining 7 versus Real Ones was played off stream. Those are some players that you might be familiar with. We didn't introduce the roster, but there are some players that we've seen make monthly finals before. It was a close match with remaining 7 coming out on top off stream. We did get to watch Luminosity versus West Coast FA, and while it was a really good match with such nuanced mechanics, it was a total sweep for Luminosity, earning them their spot in the semifinals.
Thank you very much. That sets the stage for this next game. It'll be Luminosity Gaming. Again, a team many expect to have featured in the grand final here, Kenny, going up against remaining 7, who is scrappy, full of players that have been around for a decent while as well. It's Zeus, Killer, and Luffy.
Reddy shared a fun fact earlier. I'll share one as well. Remaining 7 have just as many 2023 monthly finals victories as Tribe Gaming and CMG at the time, now Space Station Gaming. It came down to the end, but everybody from those 3 teams took 2 monthly finals. These guys are legit. They were a little challenged by Real Ones. This was a match that I got to catch after Uber and I finished our first one, but I was watching a lot of this B-Stream, man, and it was a pretty good opposition coming in from Real Ones. These are some guys that have been around for a little bit too, but R7 are definitely used to the big stage. I think they're a good team, but they've got the top dogs from last year's NA West on the other end who looked very convincing in their opening match.
Kit, Poco, and Pam? All right, remaining 7 aren't afraid to mix it up a little bit. That is fun. And this was, of course, footage from, that Real Ones game that ended up going sort of all the way. I get a chance to see some of this for the first time here. Still plenty of Sam being picked up, but the Jesse somehow made it through the bands there. That's been a big part of the winning strategy for many different teams, even some Pearl. Nice to see that one as well. So remaining 7 clearly have a couple different things up their sleeves in terms of some of these compositions here, but they're going up against the boys, Patchy, Chino, and Charles, who came out of their quarterfinal, a match that was pretty close, but on paper ended up being relatively one-sided. It was a good game, very high skill from both sides, but ready, set, we just felt like Luminosity were a couple steps ahead.
Yes, I think you could really see it too. And it's revealed also by just the way that that match turned out. If you look at the score, it was fairly dominant for Luminosity, even though there was a lot to look at beneath the surface. I had the chance also to talk with the guys, like who do you see as your biggest opponents here? And they consider that first round, the quarterfinals, to sort of be the warm-up here for remaining 7 esports. Remaining 7, they know, are a strong team. They've won a couple monthly finals last year, so they definitely have earned their stripes. But Luminosity absolutely have their sights set on a grand finals. At the time, they expected to be either versus Tribe or versus Space Station Gaming. Now we know it's going to be Tribe, so we know exactly what awaits them after this match if they manage to make it past remaining 7.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun, and we'll be able to dig a little bit into that head-to-head between Tribe and Luminosity, two rosters that remain essentially unchanged from last year, which can be a rarity at this level of play. But Luminosity and Remaining 7 respectively having stuck together as these core units for that period of time. It's a big difference maker. Ready, we're going to catch up with you after this, but for now, it's myself and Kenny jumping into Brawl Ball. Pinball Dreams is going to be on the docket once again. And we're looking at the picks and bans after your predictions here. Many of you over at event.brawlstars.com have Luminosity favoured to win out on this one. And Kenny, we can't really argue with that. I think we all had our predictions in that direction as well.
I think especially after their showing at the World Finals, how close they were to taking down Zeta Division, who ended up being the world champion. I think a lot of the people at home are going to side with Luminosity, and maybe even if they get as far as Tribe Gaming, could surprise some people as well in terms of predictions. No surprise on these bans, though. It's going to be a Charlie, who's the first overall selection for Patchy in the pick stage as a result. Ash being banned, Miko being banned, Cordelius being banned. So clearly Luminosity know their opponents well enough to know they love to get aggressive.
The truth is, you can't ban out all of the power brawlers right now. They are going to get through. We've even seen Sandy at times banned on this particular map. But Jessie being picked up here, her hypercharge really makes her, I mean, rather scrappy, an extremely formidable foe. Pretty strong core to build off of here, but the Charlie being able to take someone out of the fight, a map like Brawl Ball, is a big deal.
I love having Jessie and Sandy on this map, too. That's a pretty strong 1-2 punch coming in from Remaining 7. Jessie right now in a wonderful state in the game. I think having Scrappy at 9,900 HP is a menace to deal with. You have to really focus it down, and Charlie definitely, at least as the only selection overall for Luminosity so far. Well, then they decide to get crazy with it. All right, Gray Jackie going to be able to take down Scrappy pretty quickly. But where I was going with that is that's another extra, essentially, brawler on the field. I mean, that's a mini Frank that's just deployed on the map with machine gun fire. A fun one on the other end, though, Dynamite. I don't feel like going to do too particularly well on paper in this matchup, though. Jackie normally going to be able to handle the Dynamite pretty well, and Gray the same.
I feel like Jackie's being picked to dissuade Remaining 7 from rounding out their comp with a Buster. They just don't want to have to deal with that one here. So take the Jackie. Still more than serviceable in her own right, and obviously around these boxes she can be a real threat. We're off to the races here. Pinball Dreams is Luminosity at the top of your screen now. Have that Charlie, that Gray as well for the dive potential should it be required.
R7 going to start out with some pretty strong positioning here too. Chino trying to ward them off. Luffy lobbing up Dynamite as well as Patchy looks for the long range shots. A kick forward. And they're able to defend this well enough to where they might be able to take over in the middle. That kill is going to be very important to teleport through. Killer looking to get a takedown, manages to do so, but Chino has so much HP to work with, and now a cocoon for their other friend. This is going to be a prime position for Chino to walk this in.
Oh, no way! I like the play there. The Sweet Dreams gadget, used by the Sandy just to stop the Jackie for a moment while one of the remaining 7 players was caught inside a cocoon. It wasn't for long enough, though. She just got over the line. But look at that wall break. Look at that goal. Luffy responds very quickly.
Lightning response there. Really impressive stuff from R7 just to shake that off. It's a war of attrition for sure. Jackie with 10k. Charles can put people in a cocoon. A hypercharge.
Oh, it's over.
Now just a lone Zeus.
It's over.
An easy walk-in for Chino. Beautiful stuff coming in from Luminosity. And I feel like this composition is just so fierce and just a struggle to go against.
Yeah, they're wasting zero time there. The Gray all in against the Dynamite could happen anytime he has that super up. And especially with a walking game gadget, there is no way that Dynamite is walking away in one piece. Nicely done and well played, I think, by Patchy to realize that I can just get an insta-kill here and have the player advantage.
I think Luffy, again, is just really going to struggle into this, too. Jackie and Gray as a combination is going to do really well, but they may have left a wide open net.
Sorry!
And a huge mistake coming in from LG. The focus was elsewhere, but it should have been on the ball.
Beautiful stuff. Luffy sneaks one through. That's going to give remaining 7 a bit of a buffer heading into this next round. Patchy is mad and he wants them to know about it. Nice shot with the walking cane now. Another TP in and Luffy gets flattened. Luminosity now just styling on remaining 7.
They've awoken the beast.
Oh. There's a super here for Chino. That could be nasty. Zeus just gets blown up anyway. Man, this is a mismatch. Compositionally, it's a gigantic gap.
And an easy one for Charles. They've awoken the beast, like I said. I mean, they're playing angry Brawl Ball right now. Fending off a Jackie, a great teleport. You can see in that interaction there, too. Luffy doesn't stand a chance with the great teleport. He was able to supers very easily. And now Luminosity dancing on the graves of their opponents with a wide open net in the mid. Fires one from mid-map. And an easy set lining up. for Luminosity Gaming.
Credit where it's due. Luffy finds an opening to get a sneaky goal there, but Luminosity run it down. What a dominant showing from this team, and it all starts in those picks and bans. The Dynamite, questionable. He attempted to make use of the stun gadget on multiple occasions, but there was no connection. There was some wall break. It allowed remaining 7 to open the map up and find a goal in that first round. But oh, buddy, after that, it was all Luminosity all the way.
Appreciate Killer as well for representing the everyday man like us who are just playing on the phone as well. Every single Brawl Stars player feels like they're playing at some facility now. They got the iPads. That man's representing all of us here at home as well, and I have mad respect for that.
Oh, you don't play on an iPad, bro? Are you a serious gamer or what?
I mean, I am a serious gamer, but I'll keep it a buck with you. I have a very hand-me-down one. It's my brother's 9-year-old tablet, so I'm doing my best out here. I like the bigger screen.
I mean, I don't play on an iPad, brother. I don't, so you're all good. Yeah, not a chance. I'm thinking of upgrading, though. I'm just putting it out there. Look at the things that these guys can do. I mean, I know I won't be able to even with an iPad, but I'm just saying it's aspirational. Very, very scary stuff for Luminosity. These guys aren't playing on iPads, they're playing on plasma screen TVs by the looks of things, because they see it all.
I was going to say, LG probably playing on some Samsung devices the way they're playing right now. Impressive stuff for sure. A celebration as well. And easy stuff. I mean, again, they just were unfazed. I feel like the draft went through very well. I mean, the kill category kind of adds up there too. Didn't really feel like R7 had a leg in the race.
There's just something about Qualcomm's Snapdragon processor that seems to give Luminosity a distinct edge. They are tapping like wild, and their jukes have been absolutely on point. Plenty of damage here on the side of remaining 7, right? But these were short rounds. Very, very short. Hard to make it out. I think of that onslaught once, again, the Jackie decides to turn up. She walked into the root sands and just popped the super. Found 2 players, took them out instantly. Everyone on Luminosity was taking these 1v1s and coming out on top.
I think the biggest part of that for me, and the mechanics are a big deal. Again, I don't really understand the Dynamite. I know he's great on that map, but once you saw the Jackie and Gray come through as picks 4 and 5, that's such a hard thing to deal with for a Dynamite. Even if you use the Dyna jump, you can get a harm's way a little bit, but 10,000 HP is going to be waiting for you in Jackie. They've got the walking cane. They've got the teleport. I mean, they were just able to make that look so easy, and especially considering how aggressive and upfront Luminosity like to play, I feel like you just can't let stuff like that slide through.
No way. No how. Charlie, though, is, back on the menu once more. Luminosity, she is so powerful here in Gem Grab. You guys discussed it earlier. But forcing someone to drop all their gems when they get cocooned is, it's pretty messed up. You just walk up there, you have a 3v2, take the gems, just a couple, doesn't really matter. And it also very, very important when it comes to interrupting that countdown. Pearl here again, another pick that remaining 7 have definitely preferred to go for. Shines most in those rounds that drag out, and she can really build up that heat. Here she's going to have to bring it early and often.
Before the weekend, Leon was a brawler I was definitely looking at being a really popular one, but haven't really seen that this weekend. Maybe that's because pro players have figured out other better brawlers. Maybe the nerf to him with the longer distance shots tailing off a little bit more made a bigger difference than I thought it would, but the hypercharge for Leon is one of the best in the business. I love the fact that he can just enter limbo, shoot shots while healing if you use Invisi-Heal, and also just stay invisible throughout it. He's the ultimate assassin. I love where Pearl's at in the game in general too, but I do think the kind of tuning of her damage does make a difference. That was probably the biggest feature for her for me, but I still think she's pretty solid. 8-Bit and Charlie, though, that's a pretty tough combination to beat.
Absolutely. Chino as a gem carrier is extremely safe. Cheat cartridge can get you out of trouble. And of course, just, benefiting from the damage amplifier in general is very, very powerful. Charles also gives the team a bit of all-in potential here, taking the Carl when we need to dive in. Separate the gems from the carrier, it's really important. Also, if you ever hit a cocoon, Charles just supers in. Just go for it. You have a 3v2.
Several opportunities for Luminosity to kind of thieve some gems, right? We've got a teleport with 8-Bit. We've got Charlie's Cocoon, which a feature with that is if it hits an enemy gem carrier, they spill the gems out immediately when it connects. But the response from Reigning 7, sticking to their guns. These guys love a tank or two. I think pairing the Pearl with the Leon makes a lot of sense to me too, because somebody like Pearl's shot or Pam's shot, when it fans out as much as it does and Leon's invisible, you can do a much easier scouting report than, say, a single shot brawler, somebody like a Piper or a Bell, for example. So I think pairing that actually makes a lot of sense, and Buster as just a way to move up the map. It is a wide open map, though. I am a little bit concerned, but I think that might be an answer to somebody like a Carl, and if you can get up close to an 8-Bit, I think somebody like Buster's a pretty good response.
How are you going to get that close, though? That's the hard part. All of Luminosity's comp really wants to keep you at arm's length in general. We'll see what Luffy can do. He'll have to play alongside Zeus to try and charge that super up. Okay, that's how you get up close. You just walk at them. Nicely done. Charles gets caught, but that's one gadget activation down.
Seems that Pearl is going to be the designated gym carrier too, which I think makes a lot of sense. Leon looking for up-close interactions. Buster, like you saw there, is going to want to walk up the map and kind of fend enemies off. But Patchy back in business now too. Chino is certainly somebody that can get in the mix as well with the tailspin, or if he uses a flying hook gadget, if he's carrying it, could definitely do so here too. Killer in a lot of trouble. Chino bolstering a lot of HP, and Leon just can't get the damage quickly enough. So the red roster going to take over mid entirely.
And if there's protected pirouette online, Chino will have even more durability when it comes time to start the fight properly with an engage. Here's a montage. Patchy doesn't mind too much. Oh, okay, there it is. Another slow-mo replay catches out the Carl here. Patchy still with the gems. Killer also picking one up, which is a little awkward. Chino back into the fight there with that flying hook.
And Charles playing with a yo-yo and a hypercharge right now. Gonna be able to mess with Luffy a little bit. The extra spawner is going to help out. But I love that gadget choice, and Gino diving in immediately shut down. I think it's all going to end up okay here for R7, all things considered. They do lose their gym carrier, and they definitely don't want it to be Luffy. They're gonna have to play around this a little bit, but I think keeping Zeus glued to Luffy could be a good call here in order to make sure that their gym carrier is extra protected.
Montage will just make some space here. So the lollipop drop being used, but Chino wants to dive into it. Gets picked off, but that's fine. He can basically run it down. Killer tries to jump on Charles, but there's going to be the cocoon. You don't have the 3v2 here. You got someone coming off spawn. Charles just wins it out against the Leon. That is pretty big. With hypercharge available here, it's getting a little bit dangerous for R7.
Zeus deploying a gadget as well. This is back and forth right now. 10 gems though in the back of Luminosity's pockets. Red roster hanging on right now as a hypercharge goes down on the right hand end. Luffy picks up a 9th. 10 seconds to go. They can pick up one or take down Patchy. Either or works. The hypercharge big up here, and Luffy has to get the extra distance. Does go down. Killer there to scoop all these up though. Only gets 9. Patchy with 7 HP does go down. A flying hook, and Charles is now gonna have.
What's happening?
Zeus does enough damage, and a misplay there from Luminosity. Zeus grabs just enough and dips.
Now it's going to be a full all-in for Luminosity with only the Charlie Super remaining. 7 gems picked up by Patchy, but that is not going to be enough. Killer more than happy to die here to waste some time. Chino looking at Zeus right now, but that Pearl Super is up and you cannot engage into them when it's available. But he's low enough for Chino to make the full dive. All of a sudden now 19 gems to your name. You want to try and walk away. Killer was hoping to cut off the retreat with the invisibility, but Luminosity are getting away with absolute bloody murder. 7 seconds left in the round. Damage amplifier set up in the back line, and the remaining 7 can only look on in dismay as this round slips through their hands.
That's a punch in the gut right there, Uber. R7 had that. That was a huge misplay opportunity from LG. They could have walked away with every single one of those, and instead, Luminosity, ice in their veins, just clutch up there at the end. They needed one frag. Leon invisible and all alone. Not much he can do at that point. They're able to walk it all the way home. Definitely some mistakes from both ends there, but nonetheless, I think the Buster pick is the biggest thing that stood out to me in that first game.
Getting the gems on the Buster was awkward too. Luffy, so much damage from this 8-bit here. Patchy is just constantly chunking people down. Luffy, though, is able to close the gap on Patchy, but 8-bit is very healthy. Slowly, he's able to love her out of trouble. Chino there definitely knows his goose was cooked. Down to 400 HP inside. Even that protected pirouette won't be enough.
Pearl once again, now able to grab these gems as well. An important interaction last time, Luffy was forced to pick up the gems, and oftentimes you don't want Leon or Buster to be the one with the gems in their hands because they're the ones trying to get aggressive. They've had such an advantage against Carl with Luffy, grabbing him in the middle of a tailspin and just ending that immediately. It's a great interaction and favorable for R7. So Zeus, as a result, able to have 5 comfortably here, heal up a little bit, and is going to take advantage of that lollipop drop for some surprise shots.
Luffy switching to the right lane here. Killer opting out of that Charlie matchup here because he's obviously very favored against the Carl. Patchy though, the taps are good. God, they're good. Killer falls now, but Zeus still holds the gems. Here they come. Charles trying to slow things down, throwing out the cocoon, but nobody caught by it. Hypercharge up now for the Pearl and also for the Charlie.
Charles was one successfully landed cocoon away from winning them that set right there. It was dangerously close, but just a slight miss shot there. Killer, though, popping a hypercharge, ends up staying alive, and now in an aggressive stance here as well. Squaring away on the left-hand end as Zeus is on the right. They've now shifted sides. Luffy has to play the mid. He's worrying about Chino. He's worrying about Patchy. All he can do is grab an 8th gem and run home for now, though.
Still the lead, though. Kenny for remaining 7. Patchy now equalizes. Killer pushes up now under invisibility. Luminosity knows something a bit fishy. Great connection there with the hook by Chino, and he wants to go in. Flying hook used forward. Can't press the advantage yet, but they're so low. Luffy picks up the 9th. Luminosity, though, will have the next gem with all this map control available to them. Chino has tailspin up. Charles can use the spiderlings to break up some of the shots coming in here. And Luminosity gain enough map control to get to 10. This is scary. What do you do about this? Chino's going to get sucked in. Charles able to back up a little bit. Patchy still holding 11.
They don't have anywhere to walk. They ignore the gyms at home. They finally picked them up too. They kept it close, but they need an 11th and LG with just enough here to catch a win. Dangerously close to walking a fine line and losing that one. But Luminosity make a hero's effort in games 1 and 2 and hold on.
Bit of an alternate win condition on Gem Grab there. Luminosity take their map control, they turn it into, getting those 2 consecutive gems after being neck and neck for much of the round. That's really what gives them the win. At no point, really, were remaining 7 able to get aggressive enough. They did not get the 8-bit kill at all. They tried to also obviously jump on him at the start of the round, but that did not work out, even with the slow-mo replay drawing them in. That's one of the bonuses of playing a slow brawler like 8-bit. You hit very hard and you are very, very tanky. Close, the first round especially, that was absolute chaos. And it seemed tough for Carl to find value consistently over the map, but eventually Chino ran it down enough to open it up for Luminosity.
Great veteran play there too. Most people would just try and grab all those gyms there, but he knew he didn't need them all. He only needed to steal a couple there to take a 2 to 3 gym advantage, make sure that the enemy team and Luminosity couldn't pick them up for the mid, and force Luminosity to make a play, which unfortunately for the side of remaining 7, they absolutely did. They clutch up game number 1, and then game number 2, they fight their way through it, winning 11 to 10 in the gym count. One thing I will give R7 credit for, though, I think that Buster selection shut down Carl entirely. Chino just didn't have a chance in that matchup due to the gadget coming in from Luffy. The biggest problem I found R7 running into is, well, they did have some great aggression. They picked some solid brawlers in Leon and Buster who were aggressive, who were causing problems. If either of those guys ended up getting gyms, it changed their role entirely into one that they're not really built for, and I think that was their biggest downfall.
Yeah, great point, right? At some point, you are able to catch the Pearl in the middle part of the map. When the tank's carrying the gems, he can't really do his job. That was, well, what choice do you have? You cannot leave them standing out there. You need to go and pick them up. Patchy, 471 DPS. That is unbelievable. And again, those 8-bit taps were something special.
I guess that's pretty good. 471.
Yeah.
We might get our first, we might get a 500 bomb today, the way things are going. Uber in A. Showing out a little bit in 2024. We love to see it. And Luminosity certainly showing out so far today. I expect better things from R7. I thought this would be a little more competitive, but considering R7 struggle in their quarterfinal a little much and Luminosity high flying on the first one as well, I think Luminosity are just gearing and ready to go. If they end up winning this next set, they'll be going to a grand finals, which would be pretty awesome considering that would be last year's NA East versus NA West top tier matchup.
Here's the issue. Killer has had to move from the comfort of the bed now to get that phone charged up. You know what I mean? That can always hurt. Make sure you are full battery before jumping in. Bounty comes up next, folks. It will be Hideout here, and the last chance for remaining 7 to give a good account of themselves and keep it competitive against Luminosity, who has swept the competition today away.
All business for remaining 7 now. No more everyday man nonsense. Time to lock in. Love the selection of RT here. I actually think it's a pretty solid one, again, for a lot of reasons that we said earlier on broadcast as well, but this time it's going to be on Bounty versus something maybe like Knockout, but the point still stands. You've got these L-shaped walls in the mid. You can get really aggressive in the back spawn lines as well if you need to give them a little bit of static from the legs in that Jackie-esque form. Just a little bit of a Swiss Army knife, if you will, with RT pick.
Yeah, good range. I mean, it just very versatile brawler in general. Operates pretty well on both modes. If there's an all-in, you have some protection, and you also can dive on it yourself and find big damage. The band's here. Charlie taken away. Gray, yeah, a good pick. We've seen Luminosity especially really make good use of Gray. They don't miss a beat. Mr. P, the first pick for Patchy.
It's the first pick, but I think ultimately they wanted Gene, and as a result, they're going to pair it with Mr. P, who's going to do well into the other end if they chose sharpshooters, but they decided to go the complete opposite. Miko and Kit combo is actually a pretty spicy one. If Kit is on the back of Miko, Miko's going to be able to jump around and dance as a monkey, and then on top of that, they're going to be throwing yarn bombs down from Kit if they get on the backs of Miko, and both of those brawlers while in the air would be indestructible.
It's insane how much damage that Yarn Bomb does. It is brutal. Kit obviously has some invisibility available, and the healing is crucial part of his kit. So let's see how it plays out. Some wall break already here now. Open up the map a little bit, maybe make it harder to sneak up as Luffy trying to do just that on the right.
A fun pick at the end here, too. The Colt showing up. Love to see it. A brawler with a hypercharge as well. And here comes the combination I was talking about here. The slowdown coming in. An adjustment. No sharpshooters. Instead, they're going to punch him right in the mouth. It's going to be a fall down here for Luminosity. And on the other end, Yarn Bombs left and right for Killer and Luffy. This is a very fun one. I'm curious to see how this interaction plays out because I actually think it's going to favor them on paper for the R7 side.
Yeah, it's very powerful. There's just not much you can do about the Miko. Buffed up by that kit. Killer, though, needs to build super in order to attach to teammates. That can be the hard part. But already that gem lead achieved by remaining 7 now as Luffy backs away from this Mr. P pressure. We're back together again. Luffy, though, taking a bit more damage this time around. We've opened up the mat, so it's harder for Miko to approach here unseen. And that's a big pick off, at least turned into a trade. The Yarn Bomb claims Patchy.
Beautiful plays from the Kit there. Diving away. The friend went down and just decided to go to another. Lands successive shots as well, and it ends up picking them up an extra kill there too. But now the red roster. Firm stance. Enemy team in their back spawn. Zeus with nowhere to go. Luffy trying to make a counterplay though. He knows that they can try and grab a kill here, or he can be patient. He can wait around. He can slow them down with a gadget and bring back Zeus, so this is a fair fight. 1-star advantage for remaining 7 who are trying to do something about it and expand their lead here. Patchy in a lot of trouble, but doesn't go down quite yet. The hypercharge going through there too. Difficult situation to be here.
Luminosity got to go for it. Porter's now starting to get involved. Zeus has got to respect this damage. Luffy over the wall. Zeus gets caught eventually now. The star lead for Luminosity. Luffy's got to come forward, but this is not the position you want to be in as Miko. Oh my goodness, a great start for remaining 7 with a bit of an egregious composition. They get worn down at the end of the round. Luminosity cool, calm, collected under that level of pressure.
Love that kind of veteran gameplay from them too. Staying poised, still stancing up, even though, again, on paper, the Miko Kit combo is actually going to be pretty deadly into somebody like Luminosity, but they're just going to try and open up the map as much as possible and play it to their advantage. At least the R7 side has Zeus, who can kind of use that here, but Miko already causing some shenanigans here. One takedown, make it a second here as Killer looks to line up some shots as well, clawing his way to an extra kill. 5-0 here for remaining 7. This time, an even more dominant start for them.
The slow gadget, Kenny, absolutely devastating there, and there's really nothing Mr. P can do. Completely countered by Miko at close range. You see that as the damage being utterly ignored. The Yarn Bombs combined with the slow gadget. That is gross! Chino trying to back away, but blown to smithereens by Zeus on that left-hand side. We are 9 of 20 already.
Absolutely filthy stuff coming in from R7. I think just making a great adjustment in the draft. I'm not sure this is what they wanted to go for, but Luminosity kind of left the door open for it. An underrated combination here, and so far so good for them. We're going to see a serious pop-off here. Some beautiful shots coming in from the 6th shooter of Chino. Now some extra spawners going down too. Going to make things a little tougher, but the heals already being deployed for Luffy. Kit hops on the back, and they're back in business.
Here they come. Slow gadget used once more. Oh my, from downtown, the Yarn Bomb claims one. Zeus, though, falling amidst that fighting. Remaining 7 have such a huge buffer and no real reason to get too aggressive. They are giving up a lot of the map, though. One potential cause for concern, but no supers available until the magic hand gets built up. Zeus is good. Gonna need a lot more than that, though. Kit's the one with all the stars, Luffy with the blue one.
Killer with all the stars, but no super to show for it here too. Now finally gets one charged up. Going to be able to run onto the back of Miko here, who's expanding their position here. They have to get out of this corner in the final seconds if they want a chance here. Chino pop on again! Luminosity! All the stars now and a blue one at that as well. Luffy, Killer rushing down the map here just to try and give themselves a chance.
He's coming.
Deploy enough static. They get one. They need it.
He's coming.
Luffy putting in work. Now a second as well. The buzzer beater. It goes Luminosity's way.
Unreal! What a game! What a game! Oh, I don't blame you for getting up in the camera like that. Remaining 7 had to full commit, Kenny, in those last few moments. Kit Miko absolutely terrifying. But the Colt hypercharge gets popped. The super's there. There's a hell of a lot of damage. And, well, it's a self-destruction for remaining 7, sending Luminosity to your grand finals.
I love the adjustment from them in the draft too. I think that combination ended up paying off. It was a very solid one, but ultimately the gameplay from Luminosity, just enough to squeeze by in that set. Really impressed with this team. We saw it the other day in EMEA. It was the first team in a long time in SK Gaming that went 3-0, 3-0 across the board. I don't know if Luminosity is going to be able to do it against the likes of Tribe Gaming, but man, this Grand Finals is shaping up to be something special.
Absolutely. Two teams that are very well equipped and ready to fight for the title of Kings of NA in March. See, even plays like this, Little Magic Hand, it doesn't even give you the lead, but slowly. Luminosity, again, they play for that long game. Mr. P, the fact that you, as Patchy, are able to pilot Mr. P through this is hell on earth to try and get out of this situation. So hard to catch these two. The slow gadget makes it impossible. You can see the Yarn Bomb doing some serious damage there. But remaining 7, they gave up so much map control, Kenny. They play right at the bottom, and that ends up undoing them. They take a lot of unnecessary damage, sometimes losing plays there. And here's that final push where they try and win it.
The bullet storm from Machino just put him in the grave right there. That was just incredible shooting coming in from Colt. That's a big deal as well, especially in a moment where they easily could have folded that up. Again, a very difficult matchup for them. And nonetheless, it's still Chino with 7 kills, 276 DPS. Unbelievable stuff. And I'm excited to see how they can perform here one more time today.
Oh, it's so sick from Luminosity. And that one ended up being quick, and it felt quick, to be fair. Remaining 7 had some really frightening looking compositions on a couple of these sets, but they can't make them work. It's not enough to rattle the veterans of Luminosity with that iron will, determined again to ascend to the top of their region. And so far, so good. One more step remaining for them. And Chino is going to come away with your MVP. Much deserved.
Much deserved, especially after you see the stat lines there. It was very clear that he was a major factor there. A little mingling between two teams as well here, I believe. SSG cheering on their fellow roommates here all the way down in Texas. 3-0 again, though, still very impressive. These guys have not been phased too much today. 2 straight matches against 2 powerful opponents to get them here. But the final boss, Tribe Gaming on the other end. I'd be really impressed if they do that again.
Absolutely. I'm excited for this final either way. We've definitely found the 2 best teams in NA to battle it out for this monthly finals championship. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll of course have a moment to experience a bit of a teaser for this upcoming documentary called Grudge Match around SK Gaming. It is a banger, so check that out. Get excited for that. We'll see you on the other side of this for some more exciting stuff in the form of our grand final.
Unbelievable scenes here. SK falling like cards.
Don't be scared to try something. We have nothing to lose.
I'm not going to back down from what I said.
It felt like a punch in the face.
It's SK Gaming running away with it. What do you have to say now? This is the peak of Brawl Stars Esports, I'll be honest.
The Brawl Stars Championship. In 2023, one team entered the season with massive expectations.
This team is in complete chaos.
And a bitter rival standing in their way.
They both had huge points to prove.
At the end of the season, only one team can lift the World Finals trophy. But are there other ways to measure greatness?
Not suffering no SK, right? Like what they say.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship, powered by Samsung Galaxy, is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Brawl Stars Championship powered by the Snapdragon Pro Series. And if you like what you saw there, a little teaser of Grudge Match, the upcoming SK documentary, make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/Brawl Stars Esports so you can be notified of the premiere of that when it goes up. Well worth waiting for, folks. Trust me on that one. And I tell you what, this grand final is similar. I've been hyped for it now. The wait is almost over. Ready, set. Again, bracket boy. Let's run it back. Get us up to speed on where we've been and where we're headed.
Is that all I am to you? Just a guy who talks about the bracket? Fine. You know,
you don't want the answer to that question, brother.
Tribe Gaming.
Why
Okay,
ask?
they made it through real dudes in the quarterfinals. That was pretty much a breeze for them. They completely swept that team. Then moving into the semifinals, they had a bit of a rough match versus Space Station Gaming in the first couple of sets. They brought it back at the end of set number 2 and managed to clutch it out towards the end with some dominating drafts. That earned them their spot in the grand final. Luminosity, it's a story of what Tribe Gaming accomplished in the quarterfinals multiplied by 2. They breezed past remaining 7 esports with some flashy plays, and man, I am excited for this grand finals because I think really Luminosity had their focus on the grand finals. I think this is where most of their preparation has gone, and versus an opponent like Tribe Gaming or like Space Station Gaming like I think they expected, they've probably been putting in some serious prep, so expect to see the unexpected.
North America this month has been a story of the old gods defending their territory. Let's have a look at our predictions so far. Myself and Kenny, squeaky clean all the way through, as we did have Tribe Gaming overcoming Space Station. But we differ here in our grand finals predictions. Kenny, you have Tribe taking it.
I do have Tribe taking it, and honestly, I think in fairness, Luminosity Gaming could probably be considered favorites here based on what we've seen from them today. They've been unfazed. They were very strong in last year's NA West. Their loss at the World Finals was to the Ultimate Champion of 2023. However, a few things added up for me here. I had a theory. The thumbnail for YouTube at Brawl Esports has had the winning team all but SA, so my theory got ruined there, but I thought the scriptwriter might be giving us a hint. They had as Livy in the thumbnail this weekend, so I'm sticking to my theory here, and also Tribe Gaming are really good, so.
Yeah, I'm sure one of those is weighted a little bit more than the other, but I'm glad you presented us with both of your reasoning. Luminosity, I think, I don't know, they look really, really good today. They just dominated that last game. Even in their first matchup, they were very, very clean. So we are getting the very best of North America here in this grand final. And we wouldn't have it any other way. Zulaners, Livy, Tyrant, Patchy, Chino, Charles. Old foes renewing the rivalry once more. And I feel kind of bad already thinking about it, betting against King Zoo, because Tribe Gaming looked pretty darn good coming out of their semis too.
Yeah, I do feel bad about it as well because, you know, after being in Brawl Stars for a while, you get to talk with these people and they're all great guys, and betting against them, it never feels nice. But look, I like to win, and I think Luminosity is going to go all the way. That would make it so that your predictions are perfect, which I would be a little bit tilted about, but I'm chill with it as long as I can get the grand finals right.
Here it is, King Zoo in the background there. Yeah, also, not only do we feel bad about betting against them, they let us know. Like, yes, in person, they let us know. Like, remember the time back in March when you predicted against us and then we won? Well, suck it. So, yeah, I'm expecting that to come up again here if Tribe Gaming are able to triumph. But again, they looked a little shaky at times today. That's all I will say. They did find their feet, I think, against Space Station Gaming. And the way they came alive in that series, they looked like a very different team in the later sets of that series as opposed to the first ones. And if that's a trend that is going to continue, we have every reason to feel confident in them. But let's look over at Luminosity. Patchy, Chino, Charles. Now, Kenny, you did not predict them, but you've got to imagine at the very least this one's going to be a banger.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to get in the heads of the Brawl Stars community, and I really am curious about this one. I thought Space Station Gaming was going to get more votes against Tribe, especially given the fun fact that Reddy shared with us, but I actually think Luminosity are maybe even favorites by a little bit. I mean, I feel like they walked through NA West last year pretty well. I mean, S-Team on the other end gave them some trouble there too, but this is kind of going to be a deciding of how 2024 could really shape up and start. I mean, this is a possible rivalry that we did not get last year that could certainly be prevalent this year. I think these are going to be some of the consistent top dogs in this region. I think Luminosity, like I said earlier, they eat, breathe, and sleep Brawl Stars, which is something I love for the young guns here. I feel like they have a really good chance at this one, and again, even though I didn't pick them, I feel like Tribe Gaming needs some representation considering how good they are on the desk. I really do feel like this is going to be a pretty fair fight.
Yeah, it's been a long road and a huge improvement for that Dog Walkers squad, but the question is, can they collar the beast that is Tribe Gaming, that have been around for about as long as I can remember, at the very least, to Coach Corey back in the hot seat. We're going to say goodbye to Kenny for now, catch up with him on the other side of this. Reddy said it's New Horizons. It's time for Knockout to kick off our grand final of our North American monthly final.
It's time. Let's talk about some draft here, what brawlers are going to be good. It's always the sharpshooter meta here on New Horizons, but we have seen some things sneak through. I look to Buster Kit as being one of those funny things that sometimes occurs. I saw it in the monthly qualifiers. We saw it in another region, sort of the troll comp. We do see the Kit ban from Tribe Gaming, which is just so awesome. They knew that Luminosity might have this one up their sleeve. And hey, they might have very well been concealing this one for a while. It was certainly missing from the scrims. First selection from Tribe Gaming, the Meg, just good, consistent. One of those that's not super good into the extremely passive, like waiting to pounce with the kit. So I think this is a solid first pick for them, but they have ignored some sharpshooters that would be pretty good here, like Nanny or like Piper. That's why the Meg is here. I think she'll be good into them.
Should be able to soak up plenty of those shots, shrug them off. In fact, we've seen Bell into Meg a lot recently. And obviously being able to mark the Meg is a good start, but she has 2 health pools effectively, and her power spike occurs at the start of the round. Buster does get through eventually. Chino saying, we want a bit of this action, and we might be starting to see a little bit more of a compact composition developing from Luminosity.
This is the exact composition, at least draft-wise so far, from Luminosity that I saw run by a team that almost took down Tribe Gaming in the monthly qualifiers. It was a team called Homeless, and it's Evex, Tacos, and Steel. One that I think, honestly, could have made it to the monthly qualifiers had the seeding been just a little bit different. The only thing is that they had Kit in their composition, and Luminosity has last pick. They also don't have the option of picking Kit, so maybe they go for an option like Max or something. But Tribe Gaming picking up that Gray is going to prevent these guys from hiding in the bushes too effectively, because Gray can easily throw out a hook and pull them through the wall, break those walls over time.
Give you the dive potential if you need it here. Gray, obviously something that Luminosity lent on quite a lot, so that's also been taken away from them. Pretty robust composition developing from Tribe Gaming, I've got to say. And there it is, it's going to be rounded out with the Piper.
We saw this already. I mean, Tribe Gaming just availing themselves a Piper towards the end of the draft. It's, I'll say it again, something that I saw in their scrims is them having a Piper when it was quite clear that they did not have the first pick. Now, Luminosity have their final selection. They're going to have to think about something into that Piper. Do they go for the Nanny? I know that Fade has told me on some occasions that this is just the brawler to play into Piper. Now, Fade was in the room with him. He's obviously not on one of the devices playing. There's the Carl. I like the Carl into Piper. I think this is actually forces Piper, if she wasn't already planning on running into the Buster, to run Auto Aimer, the one that knocks you back in close range, which prevents her ability to kill confirm at long range. One of the usual better things to run as Piper on a long range map.
Yeah, homemade recipe, not really an option anymore. There's just too much engaged potential here on Luminosity. They can either run at you or they can bring you to them with that magic hand. Pretty strong setups on both sides, I've got to say. Much more of a longer range composition, and Tribe are hoping that the Meg kind of dissuades any sort of all-in from Luminosity. Let's get this one started, baby. It's our grand finals, our best of 5. We start here on New Horizons.
Okay, Tyrant's already popped a gadget. He's looking for it. He was fishing for Chino.
Hello.
Chino takes advantage of this. There's the auto aimer onto Chino. Keeps him back for just a moment longer. Zulon knows it's going to be tough to poke around that right corner. And a takedown from Charles onto Tyrant. It's just as Livy and Zulon remaining. Zulon would love to break down some of these walls. If he could just hit a shot, it would be fantastic. It would get him a bit closer to his super as Livy's looking to push things down. Zulon knows that if he goes to the bottom for a pinch, then he might just end up getting pulled by Jean, who has it available now. Charles is going to sit on it. If they can, they'll hold on to it, but they might just go for the easy win, as Livy would be the ideal target. He's begging to be pulled because he doesn't want them to have it. They're in a 3-2. It's already a winning situation for them.
Has Super, wants to present himself as the optimal target. They don't end up using the magic hand. They just get the kill for free. Oh, buddy. Zulon's in trouble. You've got to try and juke. Yeah, with that Super. But magic hand is still up, and Zulon says, you know, I'm going to hit the showers.
I love the way that Evs Livy was basically saying, please, please pull me, please break the wall, please use the Jean Super, because they were already in 2v3. It was already a lost round. Big damage there from the Vengeful Spirits. We see the push forward, yank on a Chino. He's forced to super backwards, and he's basically disabled for now until he can get in a safe place. Big pull again onto Chino. Tyrant has only one more of these, so he's got to play it carefully. They're only on the second round.
It breaks up the map, though. That walking cane, there's not a lot of wall break outside of that, unless you count the Piper Super, which she has to get close enough to use, which would put her at risk of getting hooked in by Charles. That would be an easy one. Patchy yanked. Again, Magic Puff's working overtime here to keep this Luminosity squad nice and topped up. Patchy Patchy going to be building a super in the next few moments. Has the body block here. Oh, he gets it just too late. Charles falls. Patchy has to come forward. Does D-Mech as Livy, but LG fall to pieces.
Wow, I really do think LG should have won that one. We just saw someone get pulled out of position. It was Patchy on that buster that got pulled out of position. Luminosity have an opportunity to pull someone, never mind. Now that there's been so much damage dealt to Charles,
map's so open.
Back up. With all of this so open, it's going to be tough for them to secure a pull or any control for that matter.
They're grouping up, trying to build another montage here. That's the only way they can survive in the open for any stretch of time. Charles poking here. Again, only hitting opponents with the very edges of that shot means this super will be painfully slow to build. Charles again has to expose himself to Tyrant in the middle of the map here to take these kind of shots. Tribe have no intention of giving Luminosity what they want here. They all have supers, they're all very comfortable, and they have the stronger positioning.
Nice move there from Charles. He saw his Livy getting a little close there on the right side. Okay, here's a super forward. We got to see Charles get a super. He is quite possibly very close. Now Chino in with the gadget. He saved his super so he wasn't stunned out of it by Zulon, so he hands up now to escape. Zulon almost taken down, jumping all the way to the right side. Big pull onto his Livy. D-Mech in so much protection from that montage. Tyrant looking for the kill. Zulon trying to tap things up. Patchy didn't have enough damage or enough health to close it out. And Tribe Gaming take game number 1.
I mean, we're seeing Tribe Gaming's composition just being a little stronger, especially later on in the round. When the map starts to get broken up, consecutive uses of Walking Cane to remove a lot of those parts of the map. Eventually the sharpshooters start to win out. That was pretty picture perfect from Tribe.
Love seeing the way that this Piper is played by Zulon. It was the win condition versus SSG when it came down to knockout. Now we're in knockout again, and Zulon's doing the same old thing. He's tapping when Luminosity are trying to juke him. Nice use of that gadget, and he even gets the wall break out of it. Very intelligently played. The walls aren't entirely broken open, but they're about as broken open as they're going to be from a single Piper super. A missed hook for Tyrant, and a big pull for Charles. Narrows this down to a 3v2 once more.
Tribe again have to play for rounds 2 and 3 here. Break the map open as much as they can. Tyrant might even use a gadget to that effect if it's available, and it's not. Patchy brings him down, so Luminosity with a good start here. A big pull sets off a chain reaction.
I like the micro play also from Tyrant, making sure that he got the kill onto Charles before he could get a super, but Charles is going to get it anyway. There's the yank. Charles might go down. In fact, he does. He's not even able to get that pull, which in many ways is the free kill that Luminosity needs so badly. Patchy swiped by his Livy. It's just Chino left. And all that can really happen here is, yep, Zulon gets a wall break. His Livy maybe gets a super. Chino just trying to stay away from Zulon so he can't get yet another one. Staying on low health intentionally, trying to get the kill onto Tyrant. Tyrant just ends his misery because obviously Zulon's not going to get a shot off that.
Yeah, you don't want to let them build their super up while you're keeping them around. The map is now open enough for these sharpshooters to become truly oppressive. There's very little for Patchy and Co to hide behind. You can see the jukes here. Luminosity having to work a lot harder than Tribe Gaming here. Tyrant just backs off, says, okay, you want to hide behind a box and a barrel? Be my guest. Thank God for that healing from the Gene, otherwise this would have been over already. Zulon has got no reason to move from this position now. And Tribe are just going to want to drag it out.
And I think Luminosity also want the poison to force Tribe a little bit closer. Zulon's such a menace at long range. They don't really have anything to deal with it besides Chino. And if Chino does go over there, Tyrant can teleport as Livy has counterplay. Chino's just going to go and he's going to bait out some abilities, but he couldn't get the teleport away from Tyrant. You see some decent damage on his Livy with the use of Vengeful Spirits. Patchy might be forced to just go ahead and pop this super. And Charles is looking for an ideal target to pull. It's really just his Livy that they can pull, and he has so much health.
There's Livy losing the super, but that's really not a big deal here. Some of these shots being sent back towards Zulon. Now here comes the gas pop and use. Patchy trying to soak the damage to the front line. Zulon taken down to the background, but Tyrant and his Livy are there. And Tribe Gaming, all right, subvert our expectations. Their composition as they break the map open, it pays off. They look weak in round 1 each time, but they're still able to take the dub.
But that's also just how this comp works, okay? Once those walls are broken open, then what Luminosity is running is going to lose so much of its value. The problem that they ran into was literally just that Piper selection from Tribe Gaming. Zulon on the Piper is always going to be a menace. There's a reason that he has history with this brawler going back the years that he has been in North American Brawl Esports. But additionally, that wall break is just a game ender for the enemy team. We saw him consistently farming them. We even saw him getting gutsy enough to move into close range range because he knew that since he brought that auto-aimer, he was going to be able to knock someone back, get the super, and break the wall all at the same time as escaping.
Yeah, I mean, most of the wall break was incidental, right? You know, Zulan using his super to get away and able to break wall as a result of that. And the same you could say of the walking cane here, right? This is where the map is broken open. This is the second round of that sort of first game, and there's just nothing you can really do. Once the gas closes in, maybe you have an opportunity, but as Livy knows, he just has to soak damage there. Tyrant's very healthy. Patchy eventually gets brought down. Consistent chip damage. And this again, this is you need to push up. You need to hope that people shoot the montage. You need to hit the magic hand. There's just a lot that you're expected to be able to do. This got a little closer. Note that Charles never really had a chance to make use of magic hand. It just gets outranged by Tribe until it is completely irrelevant.
I have to wonder if this is the comp that Luminosity actually wanted, or if Tribe Gaming just guessed that they were going to be running the kit, considering that this was tested and ended up being something that actually kind of worked versus them, just didn't go all the way in the qualifiers. Check out these stats, though. Tyrant with a lot of kills. You would expect from a Gray, but also Zulon with a bunch of numbers on the board. The most DPS really gives you a good idea of how many supers per second, supers per minute, however you want to call it, that he's farming up and why it was so tough for Luminosity to deal with this. They need walls to survive. Zulon breaks them all because he's dealing so much damage. That's just the math.
Absolutely. Credit to Zulon for being able to do this when Luminosity spent much of the time hiding behind the terrain, or what terrain existed there. But eventually they had to move out into the open. They had to face the Grey Piper combination. At that point, the Meg is just there to soak a little bit, body block, and punish you for getting too close. You see how multiple times, like, the Carl was just, it was odd. So often the Carl just really struggled to get close enough. There was like a couple tailspins used to try and bait abilities. That didn't really work. I mean, they weren't able to bait out the Grey teleport. They used that super. Yeah, awkward. Not a great look here for Luminosity, as they can't quite get the draft maybe that they were looking for, but they put it out of their minds, as shall we, as we head over to Bridge Too Far.
Bridge Too Far. Let's talk about picks for this map. One that always stands out to me is something like Chuck, which just has to be banned out if you have first pick. The enemy can 2-3 it really easily. We actually see Chuck not banned out, so it's a possibility that this is run. It's one of those that's actually very straightforward to counter. One thing that I see also not banned out here is Colette. Colette's also a complicated one to run because while she does deal a lot of damage, she is challenging to play into matchups where you're outrange. We see Luminosity start things out with the Nanny. This is a brawler that can teleport onto the enemy safe and rack up tons of damage. Also one that gets good damage at long range, diffs most long range lanes. The major challenge is that she cannot play mid lane very effectively. You're getting like about 1,000 damage per shot if you hit that high precision projectile. It's much better to play a left or right lane.
We have our draft finalizing now. Amber comes in for Chino. It's an interesting choice, pretty strong in a straight up and down lane. Obviously being able to clear out those bushes is pretty important. Maybe you get someone like a Charlie, you can have some impact here, but Tribe generally have fairly strong mid to range brawlers already locked in. The Nani's going to be fun to watch. Patchy, of course, always has the option if there's an all-in availability to use the Warp Blast, jump to where the peep was and start nailing that safe down. Also very strong in lane, and the bow pick, you can't argue with it. Very, very strong for much the same reason.
I do like the bow pick. I think that he does get outranged just a little bit, but he gets good consistent damage. You're talking about 3,000 plus damage in one clip. The Amber as well is in a lot of ways to deal with that Charlie, also to prevent something aggressive from just running it down. If there's an aggressive brawler running you down, then you can literally just hold down auto aim and kill them. Once you're in Amber's auto range, then you might as well call it. But breaking the side lane bushes is also valuable. Now with Tyrant going on that 8-bit, I don't really see anything on Luminosity that's phenomenal into the 8-bit with the exception of Amber having some good play. Since he's pretty slow, you just have to juke your way into his range, which is pretty tough versus someone like Tyrant, of course, assuming that he is going to be playing that brawler.
A lot of sharpshooters banned there. 3 of them, in fact. So Tyrant on the signature pick, handing it over to Zulan. It's going to be showing us what the 8-bit can do now in this right side lane. Already, we're seeing Charles suffer as a result of being outranged against the 8-bit.
Woof. Big takedown there onto Patchy. He was not able to get any damage versus Tyrant or his Livy on those lanes. He was trapped behind the barrel, and as soon as he dared to move, got smacked up one time after the other. Teleport in from Chino, and a huge kill. As Livy's going to keep him at bay with a little bit of suppressing fire, but Chino's all damage geared up. He does 7% per shot, so it's a huge number to keep in mind. Tyrant, though, will still be facing off against him on the mid lane. A little bit of wall break would honestly go a long way for Nanny. This is sort of the struggle that I was trying to paint a picture of, is you're only able to really shoot a couple of shots. You see that Chino's trying to line them up so that he has a couple of projectiles. Nice little cocoon there on the left side for his Livy. This could be a kill versus Charles. As Livy gets to move forward.
Here comes Peep. Okay, it's not headed for Tyrant. Oh, yeah, another Warp Blast here. It looks like he's going to be diving onto the safe. Keep an eye on those numbers up in the top right corner of your screen. Fanani starting to pressure it down. Is Livy coming back off spawn? A successful defense for LG, but Tyrant is still in his mid lane, poking away. That incendiary field, ticking at the safe. So annoying to try and remove this Brock, who's damage boosted from the equation.
Well, now he's not damage boosted because those mines took them out. Zulan's going to have to trip these one by one if he plans on getting in range of that safe. Still one more mine remaining on sort of a good position for Zulan, but he might just decide not to go over there and instead focus on winning his lane. In the meantime, it's basically a standstill on the other two lanes. Charles is on also a pretty ideal lane versus the Charlie. She can't really get any value with the spiders. Charles is able to easily fire through these and almost get a kill on his Livy. Charles might just wait for him to pop out of the cocoon and then get the easy kill from there, looking for the jukes in the meantime. Now he has the super, possibly to get a takedown to Tyrant, and even more likely just to deal with Zulan, who's now moved over to the left side to defend.
In general, Tribe look like they're playing a little more defensively. Tyrant can't really pressure Patchy enough. Okay, Patchy takes 2 shots here, so all of a sudden Tyrant has a lot more room now in the mid. Could even start to threaten Chino. Chino knows it. Here's the Peep. Zulan's low. Okay, Warp Blast comes on in there just to make sure that's a kill confirmed, as Livy here's got his hands full. Damage amp is still going to be there, so when Zulan comes off spawn, he's going to be hitting hard, but down to 36 and counting. 34 in the safe. Luminosity almost got there, but Tribe, in their last surge, have 2 players up to push the safe.
That Tyrant lane the entire game was just menacing. And the only reasons the lanes honestly swapped was because Zulan had to defend an empty lane on the left after Tyrant had moved off of it. This guy is a terrifying player to face. That's what I've heard from the pros, is that everyone detests facing this guy. And this is also a really good lane for him on the right side. You're playing a max range Brock. You have explosion rays to work with. Nice use of the gadget for Charles to try and speed past this. But look at how the lanes are actually asymmetrical on this map. On the left lane, it's actually a tile wider than it is on the right side, giving Charles less room to juke and basically guaranteeing Tyrant some hits.
Zulan here, forcing Patchy away once more. Tribe have a pretty nasty composition. As Livy, twinkle toes, dodging a lot of these Nani shots. Zulan free to completely exploit the range advantage, and now pop the gadget, extra credits, start to pour the damage onto the safe.
Charles still looking for some value. He's able to get some damage onto his Livy. Chino now on the right side getting massive jukes. His Livy still catches him, now into the cocoon. Yeah, a little pink there, as he knows he's safe, and Charles has to retreat on the lane. Here's a swap as well from Tyrant. So it looks like Tyrant really does want to fight into Charles on the lane, because they are, in a way, playing musical lanes, continuously swapping. As Livy cocoon on the left, now opening the doors for Zulan to pop extra credits and get so much damage on the safe. We see the next Peep coming in, though. Zulan largely ignoring it, is Livy also tasked with defending this. He has spiders to deal with it. Actually looking for the nothing personnel kid, teleports behind you on the Tyrant. And a hypercharge popped for his Livy to go aggro once more.
Now there was Livy positioned with that hypercharge to put a couple of shots onto the safe. It's a good lead here for Tribe Gaming, but it's not insurmountable. There's Livy hanging on for quite some time here. Patchy, ooh, Patchy, that's not ideal as well. Got yo yeeted out of there. Chino's still able to trade, and once more comes the beat. Tyrant, though, eats that one. Chino's going to settle for the kill.
Looked like Chino really did want that one, because he could have just piloted around it. It's important for them to open up the lane versus Tyrant, considering how much of a problem he's been. He has higher mobility than Zulan, so he's able to change lanes more effectively. He's a good player, and also he's playing a brawler that's keeping them at max range consistently. Chino eats a lot of damage from that super from Tyrant. They've only got 20 seconds to deal a boatload of damage, 36% in order to tie up this game. It's looking impossible. Zulan's hammering away on the left side, no one to defend him. Chino cannot get into a position where he's able to super onto the enemy safe. He's going to give it a try anyway, but he'll be lucky to reach it there in time.
I mean, they just haven't answered the question of Zulan. It ends up being a trade as Chino goes in with that Warp Blast. And it will be Tribe Gaming taking another set. With the whistle. Why don't you, Wes Livy? There must be thirsty work out there. Swiftly dispatching Luminosity in those first 2 sets. And we're headed to a rather early match point.
Honestly, I agree with what Kenny was saying earlier before we headed into this match, that Luminosity are the favorites coming into this one. Tribe Gaming are doing such a good job. I will say that Luminosity had a lot of pretty fearsome opponents coming into this one, and you can see the preparation from Tribe is very, very clear. I think they're calling some of Luminosity's bluffs. I think they're also predicting some of their comps that they're trying to go for accurately. That kit ban, I think, was very, very targeted.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with that. We got a little bit of a taste of that from remaining 7. While they didn't win, we can see the potential that it holds, especially on this kind of map. You can really collapse into one of those side lanes, cause a lot of problems when it comes to the safe. I'm going to say, man, they did not do a damn thing about Zulan. It was impossible for LG to shift the 8-bit from whatever lane he was in. Tyrant was just annoying, wouldn't go away, but look at Patchy get absolutely nuked down by this. Zulan, so often able to come forward with a degree of confidence and long range pepper down that safe.
It was a very challenging matchup there for Luminosity. I think we saw some pretty good jukes there for Patchy as well, but Zulan plays this brawler a lot. He knows how to strafe. He knows how people are going to juke against the 8-bit. It's very clear in the way that he is playing, because typically you're not going to be getting that much damage with this brawler. It's one that he's comfortable on. It's one that's great on this map. We saw some trades here. Honestly, the main times that we actually saw kills onto 8-bit were when Chino forced himself in range with the use of that teleport. We can see he's actually done it quite a bit, getting the most DPS and the most kills on his side. Tribe Gaming getting, by and large, more kills as well, as they're able to hold those lanes consistently and then generate that into some high safe damage.
We saw that on multiple occasions where, as Livy, having to play defensively, could just pop the gadget and hide inside a cocoon for a while, and we saw the Amber have to just walk away. Say like, well, I can't do anything about this. I can't waste my ammunition on trying to work down this cocoon that Charlie's hiding inside. So I need to, and there's another player coming off spawn, so I just need to walk away. A very, very powerful composition. No surprise to see Zulan headlining in that set. Because again, you don't have a way to deal with the 8-bit. Center stage is coming up next, Brawl Ball, for what may well be the final stage in this grand final, because Tribe, frankly, are taking 0 prisoners.
All right, center stage. It's time for some aggro picks, honestly. I'm hoping to see a Jessie ban, maybe a Sandy ban in here as well. We'll get an idea of some of those bans. Yep, we do see the Sandy ban and the Jessie ban. So 2 for 2 at the moment. This is bridge too far that we're seeing on screen, but we are headed into center stage. Zulan first picks that Charlie. They love picking up that Charlie. I think also what they did in that last set was pretty intelligent. They played into the Amber and realized that, oh, Amber loses like a lot of her value if we just don't run spiders. So instead they swapped it over to his Livy, as Livy popped in the cocoon to heal, and Amber, in fact, was actually pretty weak into it. She didn't have enough ammo to go for the kill onto Charlie after she was all the way healed up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot you can do to improve your reload speed as Amber, gadget-wise and also star power-wise, but yeah, trying to deal with that cocoon or any of those sort of larger targets can be quite a challenge, especially when people are not grouped up for you. Poco picked here. Okay, 30% win rate on center stage, by the way. This is the first time in North America we see a Poco come out. I think, unless we saw it on one of the off-stream games, either way, it is a tank-heavy meta, so this is where Poco can indeed shine.
They have a last pick as well. This might be the moment that we see the hypercharged Jackie make its appearance. It is going to be tough to play into that Charlie. The other possibility is that they've actually just caused Tribe Gaming to play defensively and they decide to not opt for that tank. A lot of times teams will plan the draft that they want to have and then try and get their bans so that the enemy team picks accordingly. Final selection, Shelly. They have completely baited Tribe Gaming into Rosa, and that Rosa is going to S-U-C-K suck into Luminosity's comp. You have 2 tank counters. You have a Poco that is going to be getting free healing for the entire game, and you, my friends, have wall break from Shelly. That's that's going to be diminishing a lot of the value from Rico. I think this is a very intelligent draft from Luminosity. I don't think it will necessarily be hard for them to lose with this because this isn't something that we see all over the place and have practiced a bunch. This is obviously one that they've been concealing for the monthly finals.
This is out there. Once again, I mean, it feels like every year the super secret sauce is playing Shelly. Every year. At least we got to it early this time around.
Let's see what they're able to muster. Right off the beginning is Livy. He pops a gadget but ends up falling. Zuelan's trying to bait some people into his reach. Charles gets an easy kill.
Man.
Now Patchy at Chino's flank, getting some of that healing onto him. Walks it right through the left side with the perfect combo of the wall break. That's goal 1 for Luminosity.
Does Livy have the right gadget here?
He's not using heal.
Okay, interesting. Chino picked off here. Patchy struggling. A lot of damage available now from Tribe. Zuelan can walk this one straight the heck in.
Yeah, it's not looking good. It almost does look like he's not using it. It seems like he popped in a situation where he needed to heal rather than use the multi-ball launcher, which is actually good value, but not really against some of these enemy brawlers. They're not going to be trying to get that close to you with the exception of Chino, and by the time Chino's close to you, you're already dead. Let's see what Patchy's able to get on the left side. Tyrant is getting some great value off of Patchy. Patchy is ultimately going to go down. The ball makes its way over to Charles. Chino now in with the hypercharge. Massive.
Run away!
Popped, and the super into the goal.
Hypercharged Shelly, baby. She hits like an absolute Mack truck. Not a whole lot you can do about there. Being forced away by the double barrel. Her cone of ultimate is much, much wider. Luminosity with the old bait and switch. The Rosa. I mean, God, there was unfriendly bushes into strong stuff. And you just got muted instantly by the Otis. Brutal. That is absolutely brutal stuff.
So what does Livy does now? Actually opts to, well, use the multiple launcher as intended. Early super here for Chino. He's looking for the kill on his Livy. Kind of a whiff of a super for his Livy. And a good bait from Chino and Patchy, already popping one of his gadgets. This is a high octane composition from Luminosity as they use these gadgets very, very quickly. So they're going to have to make them count in the beginning of the match. Otherwise, they're going to be left high and dry towards the end.
Is Livy not in a great place here to get good damage? Map doesn't really favor it. Chino there with a super. Healing is good. Cocoon not going to connect. Patchy here can't come forward right now. Zuelan is way too healthy. Full defense here for Tribe Gaming as they look for an opening. They found one. Poco down.
Zuelan has the super. His best chance of making it into the goal is here and now, as Livy can kind of get them into their own spawn. Patchy is going to be the only one at spawn, it looks like. Here it comes. Zuelan, he's ready to receive a pass, and there is a connection of Tyrant's super onto the win condition, the ultimate counter that Luminosity possesses. If Tribe Gaming adapts to this situation and are able to consistently put Chino inside that cocoon, then he can't use his super.
And that means that Chino can't be blowing people away and punishing this pick of the Rosa. Zuelan comes forward again. Are you good for 2? You better believe it. Nicely done. Hypercharge, you said. The old grasping roots go a long way. And we'll slot that one in. A comfortable fight back here from Tribe. He's like, don't worry about it, boys. We got this.
One more match point for Tribe Gaming. We saw that Rosa also towards the end, sort of spinning around in the bushes. That's just Rosa, not necessarily trying to bait, but just waiting for the opportunity to heal up fully and go in for the goal, knowing that Otis is not going to be able to chew through all of that health and perhaps actually trying to bait out some of those shots. But Charles wasn't biting. He wasn't able to get in front of the goal to defend either. Seems like his Livy moving over to the left and managing to get that multiple launcher down the enemy defenses is actually working okay. Now Luminosity, though, are able to push forward. A super in from his Livy. Actually, that's the kill onto Chino, which gives Zuelan the green light to push in. That's 1, 2 kills. Pass it to Zuelan, and he has the super combo. Charles can try his best to knock him down, but he still gets a pass through.
Nicely done by Tribe there. They wait for an opportunity. They use 2 unfriendly bushes charges to really make sure they can take some control. Gadget from Poco there. Patchy threw the heels down. Was not enough. Now, Tribe Gaming are happy to revert to playing a more defensive game. They're ahead, and the style of play is always suited them anyway.
Okay, see the multiple launcher down. Super over to the right side. Charles still trying to push up here. Chino has that super. He's just going to use it to wall break. Didn't get the free kill onto his Livy with the clay pigeons like he might have expected.
Dangerous.
A kill on the right side. Zuelan looks for Patchy, but he's not able to get the kill. In fact, it will be Tyrant. Since Tribe Gaming are in the lead, they can certainly afford to corner this on the left side. And it looks like that might just be what they do.
Tribe Gaming here on the precipice of being your March champions. It's been quite a while since this team has had a tournament win. August 2023, last occasion. Chino is down. Zulan wants to step forward here. Patchy has to try and use the super for extra health, but Zulan is so healthy. And there's no reason for Tribe to take any unnecessary risks here. They move the battle lines up, ready, set, and they plant their feet.
Chino on the left side taking so much damage. Luminosity's only way out of spawn, it seems, is breaking some walls. Tyrant also has that super. He can lock someone in a cocoon. It's just Tribe Gaming farming these guys for kills. They might have some killer stats after this, but they still gotta make sure that they do not falter on this line. Chino has a super that he might just have to use.
Oh god, Rico, it's close here!
Oh, using it versus as Livy as well. All of the walls are broken open. Charles will be the last one to fall. Their spawns are going to be staggered. Luminosity have to make a hero play here. Just 20 seconds left. Chino has a hypercharge. He's just going to have to pop it and go for whatever he can get.
All right, here we go. As Livy's down, there's an opening. Zulan, seen better days. Tyrant's going to pop the hypercharge here. More to dissuade them than anything else. Patchy, though, healthy enough after the super, and Tyrant is in trouble. Oh, the cocoon! It's massive! The ball's caught in the left-hand corner now, 3 seconds left. Tribe Gaming, for the first time since August, have got themselves a tournament win. And as the regions recombine, they renew their rivalry against Luminosity. Bust the guns out, King Zoo, you earned it.
They ain't believing us. They ain't believing us. 2/3 of the casting desk is wrong. Yeah.
Oh, come
take some shots too. Barium too. Oh man. Okay, well.
Wait, do we have the grocery cart?
Hit him with a, do we?
You got that one? You got the sprinkler? No? Okay. Oh man, that one hurts. Luminosity hyped up coming into this game, but Tribe, these guys are impossible to rattle. They are so solid. They are a defensive team. And again, like we've seen these comps, they look kind of flashy from Luminosity. Like, I like what they did there. They pick up the Shelly, bait the Rosa pick. Tribe are the best in this region at making use of what they have and adapting, coming up with an answer.
I think this is a return to just identity for Tribe. When we look at the World Finals, I don't think Tribe got as far as they wanted. They got taken down by SK in the top 8, and it just didn't seem like they were really themselves that day. Today, it seems like they have resumed that form. We are just in North America at the moment, but they still have their sights set on the world, as at the moment, they have the most points in the region, which would qualify them for a World Finals if it were next month.
Yeah, brilliant. That is very true. Ready, so yeah. Were we just to cut off the rest of the schedule, and instead of just losing one monthly final, lose like 6, then we would be right there. But again, there's echoes of that 2020 form there from Tribe Gaming, because that, at the end of the day, wasn't particularly close. I love how you bring up that El Clasico loss that they suffered at the hands of an SK Gaming, who were really just turning everyone's expectations on their head at the World Finals. Back in 2020, they won 2021, excuse me, they won 4 monthly finals in that year. Quite a one for them last year. But we see the regions come back together, and all of a sudden Tribe and Luminosity are getting to go head-to-head. Tribe were the kings of the Eastern region last year, but they want it all. They want the whole damn country. And they say to Luminosity, this whole country ain't big enough for the two of us. We'll take it from here.
And the Wild West tried to rejoin, and they just were not able to contend today. What a showing from Tribe Gaming. Far from my expectations. If anything, I expected it to at least be a more even match. Did I see a shush there from Ms. Livy? Was that a reference to the Patchy player cam after they beat remaining 7? It quite possibly was. And check out these stats. Now, okay, let's remind ourselves that they were low-key farming KD at the end of that game before Luminosity really went for their final gambit and made it all the way to the ball on the enemy side, but didn't get much further. Wow, I think this was intelligent drafting from Luminosity, and it seems like anytime Luminosity just gets some good draft that seems like it's a win condition, it works at first and then it runs out of steam. Because Tribe Gaming, if they're known for anything going back years, is that they are incredible defensive and passive control players. They are able to drag these out so consistently.
Have a look at this. You're right. Bit of stat padding towards the end there. But Tribe Gaming had every reason to drag out the celebration just a little bit more. Getting that early goal and then cornering the ball and then waiting it out. And it was not a damn thing that Luminosity could do. The streak continues for Patchy, who has never managed to beat Tribe Gaming. And here's your boy, King Z. Zulan coming out as your MVP. The 8-bit play was pretty darn incredible. Really, really hard to shift whenever he was able to pick that up. It was terrifying. He dominated the lane. He was in full control. We have a special chance here to catch up with the boys, catch up with the team themselves. We're going to head over and have a chat with Tribe Gaming. What's up, gang? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
What's good?
What's up?
Good. Better now see you guys. You must be feeling pretty good after that. We bring the regions back together in North America. You get to take on the best from the West last year, but how does it feel to be the king of the whole pile, at least right now in March?
I guess they're going to make me talk. It feels pretty good, to be honest. Obviously, the first month's the most important, so good to get this one out of the way.
Absolutely. Hey, yeah, I see you there, Big Z. You're not getting away with not talking, my guy. I want to talk to you specifically. You guys get paired into SK Gaming in the quarterfinals, world finals. It's an El Clasico. Everyone's excited about it. You guys, though, pull up short, and I know the disappointment on your face. We talked about it afterwards, a tough loss to take. What was the rebuilding process like? Because we know you guys are the kind of team that don't just throw players in and out. You don't just make these changes. You don't just wipe the slate clean and try again. You stick together as a unit. What's the rebuilding been like up until this point?
So I think that after that loss, which I hate you for bringing that up, by the way. But,
I love you, buddy.
I just felt that out of the game, we just had to, I don't know, build our chem more and just be friends again. I feel like that got lost last year. And we just had a big talk. And yeah, we're just trying to get our friendship as it was before.
You know, I'm seeing that even just looking in the room. You guys really feel like a unit in and out of the game. I want to talk quickly about the series. Zulan, you get MVP. Obviously, great showing on the 8-bit in general. But do you guys, going into that draft, do you expect to see a Shelly pick last there? Because obviously you guys take Rosa. Maybe you're expecting to see another tank. Like, what's going on through that draft for Brawl Ball?
Well, when I picked Rosa, I felt like Patchy was going to tank too, because he's a great tank in NA. And I was kind of hoping for that tanky-tank matchup. And I kind of got scared when I saw Chino with the Shelly, because he's really good at Shelly. But as we got star player with Rico, he made sure I didn't get walked up by a Shelly. So thank you, Azubi.
Nicely done. Great call. Corey, great to see you back with the boys. Doesn't feel the same without you at the helm, man. How you guys feeling about the rest of this year? Is the meta in a favourable place for you guys? And how do you kind of feel about this North American region as it stacks up against the rest of the world? Are we going all the way this year, finally?
I mean, that's the goal, right? That's what we want this year. I mean, we kept the same squad. We've gotten close a couple times. And so this year, that's the aim, right? It's always World Finals and to win it this year. We're feeling pretty good. I mean, first month, solid. We looked really good. And I do definitely believe in this roster, and I do think we can win Worlds. So we're just going to have to keep sharpening up and hope for the best.
So far, so good. I think a 3-0 over Luminosity is a great opening. Tribe Gaming, everybody. More than just a team, it's a family. Love to see the friendship and the vibes in the room, guys. Thanks for joining me, and good luck next month.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. A victorious Tribe Gaming. Always a pleasure to hang out with them in person, chat to them as well. Each of them's got a great story, and hopefully we get to tease them out of them a little bit more over the course of the year. But the story so far, Kenny, you obviously sat back, enjoyed the show. Tribe Gaming, whoo-wee, look at this team. They have to get through Space Station Gaming and Luminosity on their way here. They are, taking down the Titans of this region and cementing their place as #1 for March.
Pretty darn close to perfect for these fellas. Nearly a clean sweep across 3 straight matches, which is a very difficult feat to do, especially against NA West champion last year in Luminosity, a fellow world contender in Luminosity. Space Station Gaming gave these guys a lot of trouble last year too, and they handled them 3-1, all things considered. Real dudes, a victory off stream there. These guys looked pretty darn solid today, and we kind of expected that, right? We expected them to be a threat. I did not foresee them winning 3-0 against Luminosity, though. That was an insane performance.
Luminosity, man, the kind of team that can look incredible one moment and then struggle the next. All right, already said. Okay, how about you? Let's talk about these predictions, because you and I kind of stumbled here at the end. We both had Luminosity go through. Jeez, we were way off.
Sad. I'm so sad. SSG lose, Luminosity lose. Why does everything bad happen to me? Why does it all have to happen to me? But regardless, I do believe in these teams still. I think that really what has reshaped today is what I know about Tribe Gaming. I got the chance to catch up with the SSG guys and the Luminosity guys, but I haven't been in touch with the Tribe Gaming guys to see what's going on behind the scenes. And it seems there that what they've really done is they've rebuilt their their camaraderie. That's something that I really do applaud Luminosity in particular for, is their camaraderie and their ability to communicate. I think that makes them at the next level. That's why I predicted them over Tribe Gaming. So now, outside of the game, they're an even match.
Big time. Yeah, I mean, apparently, Reddy won't talk to you unless you turn up at his house, everybody. Just keep that in mind. Here's your leaderboard now. Tribe Gaming, of course, victorious here in North America, just to be clear. Coming out on top there in that grand final over Luminosity. Kenny, let's talk leaderboard. Let's talk the grand scheme of this year. Just how important is these standings going forward?
Very important. I think a really important one that's not going to show here today is STMN, which is a team that got second in the World Finals last year. We're competing with LG all year long in NA West. It's a household Brawl name with some household players. I expect bigger things from them next month. But Tribe Gaming, with a lead here coming out of the upper bracket as well, will put them at a solid chunk of points there. And that's a huge deal. Keep in mind, too, only 5 monthly finals here. So the likes of Tribe Gaming, for Luminosity, a little bit of an edge, Space Station Gaming, and remaining 7 putting themselves in a good spot. And a lot of the pack being at that 50-point threshold. They're going to have to separate themselves somehow, and they've only got 4 months to do it.
Yeah, that's not a long time at all. Kenny, we're going to keep you in the hot seat right now because we have got our play of the day. And there were quite a few to choose from, but this is the one that made the cut.
And we were on the mic for this one, too. It was incredible stuff right here. Things looking bleak. RBM less than 2k HP. What a shot going through there, too. The damage amplifier already existing as well, and Pain is able to pop a shot and a gadget alongside us. That's one of the reasons that RT can be very valuable in Knockout, in Bounty. It's for the kill confirmation, which is something that can't be underestimated here. Look at that. A double tap lands every single one of those shots, and then follows through with a click of the gadget for a freebie there. RBM doing all the hard work for his team, leading to a nice victory there. A really good match as well, I might add, but that one stood out to me as a play of the day.
Yeah, just insane clutch moment there. Really love to see that. And it's kind of what paved the way and set the tone for what the grand final ended up being. Let's head over and thank our friends for being a part of this show and, of course, for making this all possible. Without them, couldn't be done. Big shout out, thank you to Qualcomm, Snapdragon, Elite Gaming, keeping us with the very best technology, processors especially, to have our gaming dreams realized. Big shout out as well to Samsung Galaxy. That's right, powering, of course, the Brawl Stars Championship alongside the rest of our fantastic partners. Monster Energy, keeping us up nice and late, nice and turned on for those APAC games. Great to have them on board this year as well. Energy to keep gaming as long as you need to. And of course, when you really need to send it, get on board with DHL. Thanks once more to all of our partners for being a part of our monthly finals so far. That's it. We are done with our March monthly finals. It's over in a flash, but don't worry. We're not too far away. April 26 at 6 a.m. UTC. You're probably going to see us knuckleheads back for our APAC monthly finals for April. It only gets better here at the Brawl Stars Championship, powered by the Snapdragon Pro Series. And we'll see you guys for the next one. It's going to be in April 26. Don't miss it. Until then, have fun and keep rolling.
I'm talking about, like,
the fade was a good one for that, too. All right, now he's just showing off the biceps.
Space Station Game, you have the space here, but don't know if they have the option to get a gem equalization, so they've got to fully commit here. There's Pain, able to use the super, but he falls. Get out when things get a little hot and heavy. Shine. Oh, what a shot from Chino. It's so easy to line it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
Oh, Patchy just flattens him. The Magic Hand was going to be able to trade that kill, and here's the all-in from Alec, but the sandbags. Luminosity, so sharp.
Plays there. They've cut off Toast as well, which may be a questionable decision as Zulon's able to hold on. The dodges are good enough. Dancing through the enemies. Sprout, the last one standing.
Tribe Gaming are going on to the semifinals.
They have to get out of this corner in the final seconds if they want a chance here. Chino popping on again. Luminosity. All the stars now, and a blue one at that as well.
Here comes the gas pop and use. Patty trying to soak the damage to the front line. Zulon taken down to the background, but Tyron and Livy are there. And Tribe Gaming. All right, subvert our expectations. More to dissuade them than anything else. Patchy, though, healthy enough after the super, and Tyrant is in trouble. Oh, the cocoon! It's massive! The ball's caught in the left-hand corner now, and 3 seconds left. Tribe Gaming, for the first time since August, have got themselves a tournament win. And as the regions recombine, they renew their rivalry against Luminosity. Bust the guns out, King Zoo. You earned it.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.